Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kumar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kumar.
Welcome to the party.
And Simon.
Yes, hello.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. But first, Kumar, were there any new patrons?
Why, thank you, Brother Matt. Hello to all the listeners and welcome to new listeners. This is the point of the show where I list off the most important people in the world to me, the Patreons. This week's no different. This week we want to give a big shout out to Ben P.
Way to go, Ben.
Thank you,
Thanks
Simon.
for coming along. Why were you staring him down like that, man?
Well, I was waiting for him to say Ben, but he was like, nope.
Well, I was
Not gonna do it.
expecting more. He was like Ben P, and then I was waiting for another one, but there wasn't.
You were
so-
waiting for him to fuck up the name, and it didn't happen. It was impossible.
Like maybe it was Ben Pernitsky or something. I mean, who knows?
No, it was just a P, which I'm sure stands for big penis because you're a Patreon.
Now, are we certain we didn't miss another one last week?
No, we're never certain about anything, man.
Okay. Let me get
That's
my
how the
phone.
show flows.
Let me get my
Why,
phone.
did someone write in? Oh, and another thing to all the Patreons, people comment and stuff, and sometimes I'm not sure if it's a question or a statement, but if you put a question mark, for sure we'll address it. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, Matt?
yeah,
Sometimes it seems like it's a question in the form of a statement.
Yeah, I never know if people want respond. I never know what to do.
But if you do a question mark, for sure we'll respond to it. So just that little grammatical error.
Okay, let me just clear this up.
Normal, common punctuation.
I just want to clear this up real quick here, Kumar, because I thought I saw Hunter. Did we get Hunter Plaze?
Ooh,
June 21st?
ooh, that's a nice pull.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Hunter
Okay, so he gets a double shout out.
Hunter Plaze, welcome to the team.
Yeah, he gets a double shout out.
Thank you, Hunter. Did you say Blase?
Maybe he misspelled his name.
No, Plozay. Like
Oh.
Ploszay. Plozay?
Yeah, I guess that one really snuck in.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Plozay.
Kumar just didn't want to have to try to pronounce his last name. So.
Plozai.
You know, anyone named Hunter is cool, except for Biden.
Okay.
Well,
well,
you
there
know
go.
two hunters, this guy and Biden.
And this is the coolest Hunter I know.
Okay, so thank you to the new patrons. We appreciate the shit out of you. Kumar, how was your week?
Oh, man. Well, let's start off. I'll go back in time. You know today's July 4th. Happy July 4th to all our American
Oh, yeah, I
listeners.
forgot. Yeah, happy July 4th.
Happy-
I mean, they'll get this on like July
Day
6th. So
of Independence.
But they'll know we cared.
Okay.
But I watched the Nathan's hot dog eating contest was on today.
Ugh. Oh, yeah.
The guy ate 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
Yeah, they also dunk them in water though, and that's so fucking disgusting.
But you can't dunk it for more than 5 seconds. They had all the rules. They had commentators, and it doesn't matter if you dunk it in water. He takes the bun, squishes it after soaked,
Oh my god,
puts it in
that's
his
so
mouth,
it's
and then forces 2 hot dogs at a time.
that's so fucking foul. It's unreal.
76 times,
Oh, God.
and it sort of put me off hot dogs. But yeah,
Is it really a hot dog at that point? Like after
puts
you've
me off of
stuck it
people.
in water and then scrunched it into a
Yeah.
ball? Like
yeah, I think they should
Well, I
go
mean,
back
it
to
is still, yeah.
you don't have to put condiments on it, but you got to eat the hot dog like a human being. I think that should
Yeah,
be
I
the
think
thing.
that should be the yeah.
And if you ate 25 in 10 minutes, I'd still tip my hat to you.
Like if you have a pizza eating contest and I just roll the pizzas up and cram them up my anus like 3 at a time, does that still count? Like
You
I'm-
are ingesting them, Matt, so I'm gonna give that a pass.
Okay, so there we go.
But on Monday, this is a weird thing. Crazy sports. We were talking about the soccer games.
Yeah.
And then we were waiting to watch the Montreal game. So we put on the Untouchables. Classic.
Costner.
Classic.
Sean Connery. Costner, is that what we're talking
All the boys. And while we're watching it, there's a squirrel in a tree. We have like either a chestnut or a walnut tree. And this guy is eating. They come in like a green. It looks like a mini avocado. So the squirrel up there eats it off and then throws down like quarter-sized pieces onto us. And it started to get annoying, so he went to get the BB gun to shoot it. We were watching The Untouchables, just got caught up in the gangsterism. And I don't know if you know, but a lot of cops hang out near my place, especially at the hospital.
Well, yeah, I know. There's always a lot of cops at hospitals.
But
Yeah.
always also across the street, there's a government building, and they always stay there. And for some reason, as soon as we got the gun out, the cops pulled up. We thought it would not be a smart idea because it's one of those BB guns that looks like real. There's no orange on it or anything.
My buddy in Toronto spent 3 months in jail for doing that, shooting squirrels with a BB gun. His neighbor called it in. It was like someone's shooting a gun off their balcony. They came. He had like some prior, and he
Well,
just
you can't
disappeared for
shoot
3 months.
squirrels. It's not okay.
No, I was just there for the ride. I was shooting cans just for target practice, but the gun felt good. Have you ever held a gun like?
Dude, Simon and I, at my cottage, that's all we did for like a whole week.
I can see why Americans love guns.
Yeah, oh,
That's
yeah.
all. You know what I mean? I don't want one, but it felt good having it on the table there.
It's nice too, and you hit the target from a distance. That's always fun.
It's all fun.
Pop the can. Ping.
That was my week painting the building the most environmental building in the city that doesn't have air conditioning. Wee bit of an oversight, if you ask me. So I was just dying. I lost 10 pounds.
Oh, nothing wrong there.
No, a lot more to go.
So, Simon, how was your week?
My week was fine, Matt. I came totally unprepared today, and I have no.
You don't even know how your week was?
I don't know how my week was.
You have to prepare for that.
Usually, I prepare for it. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So you're gonna get nothing because
Okay.
I don't know how my week was.
Oh, I have one more thing.
This fucking guy.
Sorry.
Your time's over.
Well, no, I'm trying to supplement what your time is in. Sorry. I'll do it next week.
Oh, go ahead.
I've been requested to host the first week the Comedy Club opens.
Oh, there you go. That's great news, isn't it?
It was quite the honor bestowed on me, but we don't know when that is. So
Oh.
I look forward to it.
Well, there you go. At least you have something to look forward to. Are you writing new material?
Oh, well, I have to try out all the material I've written before I write more material.
You never know. You should always be writing stuff.
No, I really have a big chunk about the soccer right now, so that's what I'm. And I don't think. I mean, you don't know, but I don't think people want to hear too much about COVID jokes.
I don't think people want to hear too much about soccer jokes.
Well, the soccer jokes tie into another thing I have, so it's just sort of expanded it.
You know what's crazy to me about soccer? Not so much international, because international almost completely alleviates this issue. But it's crazy to me that if you're a referee running around like a Premier League game, we'll use that as an example. Think of how many fucking languages are on that field at any given time.
Yelling at you.
Yeah,
Especially for the VAR.
That's what I'm saying. You're being cursed at in potentially like 22 different languages.
No, what I'm doing is comparing the South American to European soccer.
Oh, of course.
And that's always funny to do comparisons.
Yeah, the announcers especially.
The announcers especially.
Golazo, go, 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 go. They're fucking nuts.
Tossing a little bit of an exaggeration, you just might have yourself a joke.
Meanwhile, the English are just like, oh, it was an absolutely stunning
Sipping
ball.
tea. Oh, subliminal execution. How's your week, Matt?
Meanwhile, they had whole fucking like underground world dedicated to hooliganism.
Yeah, of course.
But they've eradicated
Let's throw darts at the opposing players' teams. So, Kamar, my week, interesting enough, you were mentioning the games Monday. I lost, not like a ton of money, but like I lost what I put on to Bodog betting on those games. Nothing went my way ever. And then the Spain game, I put $40. I won $540.
Jesus, why do you retire?
Next game, I put $100. I win $1,200.
What?
The night before the Denmark Czech game, I put down like $150 in bets on that game. I wake up super late. Like I woke up at like 1 and I was like, oh my God, the game's like, it was already 2-1 and I had already won another $1,500.
What?
Yeah.
It sounds like you could become a professional soccer gambler.
Well, we'll see when the year starts back up. But yeah, it's crazy. I made the same bet on all 3 games and it hit. Here's what's really nuts.
Oh, okay. Wait a second. These aren't bets on one game. You need a.
No, this was a prop.
happen?
Yeah, these were prop bets. So I bet both teams to score and each team 2 corners in each half.
Oh, so winner doesn't even matter.
No, winner doesn't even matter.
Oh.
What was
You
I
become
gonna
a
say?
student of the game.
What's crazy though is this: I bet on the Denmark Czech game. I bet a plus 10,000. I bet $5 and it hit.
And what was that?
It's $500.
No, it was 10,000 that there would be 2 penalty shots
it's
or something.
Each team to score, both teams 3 corners in each half. And it was a plus 10,000. I think they fucked up the odds.
That doesn't seem that crazy.
Yeah, I
Three
think-
corners a piece and a goal.
Simon,
And a half.
I'm certain they fucked
And a
up.
big fucking deal.
This is what I think the bet was supposed to be, Simon. I think they fucked up because they do that occasionally. I think it was supposed to be both teams score in each half and both teams 3 corners or more in each half.
Okay, that's harder.
Because listen to this. The other bet I hit on that game was the same bet I said. 1 goal, each team scores, each team 2 corners in each half. That's a plus 1,000. You add 1 corner for each team in each half, and it becomes a plus 10,000.
There
Doesn't
must
make any
be an
sense.
average of 2 corners per game or something.
Well, there hasn't been a lot.
On
I
the
will
long
say
run.
this: in the Euros, there's been hardly any corners.
How much would it have made for Mbappe to miss the penalty?
I don't know if you can bet. I don't know if you can bet that. You can bet that live, I think, but I'm not sure.
That would have been a big one.
Oh,
Best player in the world.
watching that was brutal.
Did you see how he looked around like, wait a second, that wasn't the shot, was what? I mean,
I felt bad for that Vargas kid too for Switzerland when he missed because he's young and Switzerland, they don't make it there often. Like,
Ronaldo missed, man. It happens.
yeah,
The
it
nerves.
does, yeah. So
Ball
my
gets
week
away from
was
you.
pretty good.
That's a great week.
Yeah.
And a great week of Joe, no less.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, there's one that just that's going to drag the average down substantially.
Let's get into it. Full disclosure, I couldn't do notes on one of them. I mean, I
that's fine.
tried.
Sure.
I tried to squeeze blood from a stone, but it was...
No, there are no notes. That we're not going to talk about it for longer than 10 minutes.
There's
nothing to talk about. It's fine.
I think we all agree it's the same one.
Man, I always came in pages full.
What a prick.
Wow.
There's nothing. I'm with you. If you had more than 2 notes on it, I would have slapped you in the
Like, I
face.
tried. I squeezed.
No.
But I have substantial notes on the 2 other great guests this week. Let's get into it.
All right. Well, let's go over the guests and then we'll rate the week. How's that sound?
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
I changed my mind. I want my time back for my week. No, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
Oh, go for it.
What did you do Canada Day, Simon? What did you do Canada Day, Kamar?
Watch the soccer.
Yeah, I didn't do jack shit.
Yeah, that was about it.
Well, I worked. And then the guy I worked with was like, I don't want to work anymore. I was like, okay, we don't work.
And you were okay with that, obviously?
I was very okay with that.
Yeah.
I watched soccer and then watched this. The first one, 1675.
Were you doing a job that had a deadline?
Every job has a deadline.
Okay.
1675, Quentin Tarantino, no fan of Linda Lee.
Clearly not. Although Linda Lee came out this week and was like, I'm tired of white men talking.
Followed
it
up
was
by
hilarious.
1676, the pig cooker, Jesse Griffiths.
This might be one of the worst we're ever going to have to cover.
I don't
going,
know.
though.
I don't
Keep
know.
going.
Finish off by
The Shining
house
Light.
favorite, 1677, Tim Dillon. What didn't they talk about? What didn't they touch on? Really ended the week well for a nice short sweep. Because I'm wondering what Joe's doing that he only did 3 this week.
It was 4th of July.
Of course, long weekend. Because the Tim Dillon, he posted, everyone posts on
I
Instagram.
saw, yeah,
like
because I told Simon it was coming up, yeah.
Wednesday or Thursday.
I think Joe took time off, took the family somewhere. COVID's not as prevalent. They maybe went to the lake.
Went to go eat some hot dogs, blow up some fireworks.
Because Joe also has he's playing Vegas next week, and he has the UFC. So next week's going to be a short one too, I assume. That's just my opinion. It's a
Very
guess.
interesting. But I really felt that Quentin Tarantino was almost a Matrix moment.
You know, this is insane, and I don't know if someone maybe had some insight. The day before Quentin Tarantino dropped, someone on the Reddit, the Joe Rogan Reddit, not ours, they often do guest requests. It's to no one, obviously. It's just, this is someone I would like to see on. And someone did Quentin Tarantino, and the next day he was on. Isn't that interesting? Someone willed it to happen.
The only thing that disappointed me was that he was on Mark Maron on Monday.
Yeah, you were telling me that, yeah.
Inferior podcast compared to this one. Mm-hmm. He talked a lot about his dad issues, as Maron will bring someone out to do.
Interesting. I don't want to hear that.
No, definitely not.
All right, well, do we want to rate the week? Simon, you seem like you're good and ready.
Oh, I'm not ready.
Okay, Kamar, let's move on to you. I'm ready. I'll give it a 3. I know the week gets a 3 for me. I'm rounding down slightly. It's probably like a 3.2, but it's going to be a 3.
I'll slide over there. Just give it a 3.3.
Price is Right me. Cool.
I won't tell you what podcast got what mark, okay?
Okay.
And you can just give me my average.
Let's see if I can guess for you. Okay.
It was 2 4s
Yeah. And a half.
and a half.
Yeah. So 8.5 divided by 3. So it's just shy of 3.
3.3.
No. Because 9
2.8?
divided by 3 is 3. Yeah.
2.8?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's basically this.
I like that.
2.6.
I like 3.3, 33. There we go. That's what we're going
No,
with.
it's not, though. It's not 3 point. Okay, fine.
Then I'll give the guy a 0.7 to fucking
That still
try
doesn't
and
do
make
it, but that's
work.
okay. That's fine. You give it a 3.3, Simon. Okay.
Do you guys all feel like we invented Diablo Avocado?
I've never heard it anywhere else.
I hear it.
So,
Bisbing used it yesterday or 2 days ago. Like I'm hearing it all over the place.
What?
no
Yeah.
way.
Wait. Well, he said devil's avocado, but still, I'm telling you.
That's a little different.
Okay, it's a bit of a stretch, but I still feel.
I mean, devil's avocado.
Well,
That's
devil's advocate, devil's avocado. That's an easy.
we're just
Diablo
we're
avocado.
throwing a little bit of Spanish caliente on
Some
it. That's all we're
flavor.
doing. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. So if you hear somebody say Diablo avocado, I would be like, yeah, okay, that's weird. But devil avocado.
I'm half with you. Kumar,
I've heard
at least.
Diablo avocado as well.
No fucking way.
I can't remember where.
By the way, I started documenting all the times people say online. I'm getting a nice little video collection of.
The jury will always be able to, that's like abortion, religion.
You'll
It's like on
never be
accident.
able to stop working. It'll just take up your time forever.
All right, well let's get into it, Kumar, if you don't mind.
1675. You said you might be disappointed. I'm really interested to see Quentin Tarantino.
Well, here's the thing. I can separate the art from the man. I don't like Quentin Tarantino. I love his work. I think I find him to be like a pompous, like,
Oh yes. He's very. I think all directors have to be sort of that.
I find him extra abrasive.
3.5 times.
No, I listened to this on regular speed,
Wow, really
which
getting
almost is
into
like
it,
you're
eh?
in fucking quicksand.
What are your feelings on Quentin Tarantino, Simon?
I thought that Joe asked all the right questions for once. That was kind of cool. Like he didn't pussyfoot away from the whole Bruce Lee shit.
Harvey.
Harvey, well, I mean, he didn't go as in depth as I would have liked there, but still. But no, I mean, Quentin Tarantino's kind of like he's kind of a douchey guy, but I thought he was good on this. I thought.
I mean, listen,
all
I
the
rate this
times I've
episode
seen
high,
him,
but
I thought he seemed like a kind of a guy I would chill with.
I think he's a little bit full of himself or whatever, but his resume would allow him. It'd be weird if he was humble, like, oh, I just make movies. People like it. Like
It would be like Michael Jordan telling you, "Yeah, I'm okay at basketball." You know?
no, that's not what I'm talking about, though. I just mean his general, like, I don't know, just the way he is bothers me.
And I was thinking, listen, he may be the most influential director of our generation, if I include us all in the same generation.
Him putting himself in his movies is a douchey maneuver.
But Stan Lee put himself in every
the
Avengers.
worst.
Is that douchey?
Stan Lee puts himself in, and then it became like a running gag. You know what I mean? Tarantino gives himself.
Stan Lee
like,
didn't
roles.
direct those movies.
That's also
That was-
true.
That's even
No,
worse.
that's a
no,
director's
it's an
choice.
homage to
That's
Stan
the
Lee,
director's
yeah.
choice, saying we're just going to. Also, I've read many conspiracies, not conspiracies, but theories that he's the Overwatch, that he plays the Overwatcher. Is that the?
And that's why he shows up.
That's why he's in all of them,
That's
yeah.
interesting. That's
And
interesting.
you think it's just an
Matthew.
ego flex of him putting himself in the movies?
Hold on, listen.
Tarantino? Well, he's no Overwatcher.
It's the biggest flex ever. I'll say this, okay? Let's use Pulp Fiction as an example. I don't hate that one, although he definitely writes himself in dropping the N-bomb, which I find is an interesting choice. His part in Django is absolutely obscene.
I couldn't tell you what it was.
His part in Reservoir Dogs is okay.
Sure. What's wrong?
I was going to say, can you guys name all 9 of his movies?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I could, yeah. Do you want me to?
Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill 2. Are we putting in Dusk Till Dawn? And
He didn't direct that.
Okay, no.
Hateful Eight.
It's his 9 that he did.
Okay, Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
To Django.
Django, yeah. How many are we at here?
You're missing Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards, yeah.
And
Well, I don't even know the running count we have right now.
Well, we should have done them in order. That was
okay,
where-
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, that's
Pulp
one.
Fiction.
2.
Kill Bill. Kill Bill 2.
That's 4.
Inglorious Bastards. Once Upon a Time in
Hate-
Hollywood.
Hateful
Hateful
Eight.
Eight.
You're
Yeah, I
going-
know I'm going in. I'm
He
just
counts
quickly.
the Kill Bill as one.
You doing his
He
last.
counts the Kill Bill as one.
Well, they-
You're
They've been talking
doing
about
his
this.
last movie first.
Okay, either way, we're 3 short right now.
Inglorious Bastards.
I put that on there.
Hateful Eight. You put that on there. Django. You didn't put Django on there.
It's Django.
What else? Hold on a sec.
It's the one. I knew it might be.
Oh, Jackie Brown.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
That's 8. So you're saying there are 9. We're
Yep.
missing one. What are we missing?
Death Proof.
Oh, I don't even consider that one of his movies. It's a double movie with another guy.
He shouldn't consider it as one of his movies.
Yeah, I agree.
He shouldn't. He owes us 2 movies.
The way they talked about it, I decided to watch it silent while I listened to this, and was like, "You're killing me."
We need
Yeah.
to start a petition. Quentin Tarantino owes us 2 more movies.
Well, it's just crazy that like think about it. True Romance not considered
I don't
a Tarantino
at all
movie.
consider it a Tarantino movie.
This is just directing, because he is a guest director in 4 Rooms,
Right.
but that doesn't count.
But you can tell that, like, what's it called? True Romance. Amazing movie in every regard. Like, I'm not taking anything away from it, but you can tell that it doesn't have that, like, Tarantino director-ness to it.
This is where I disagree. If you were to right now sit down, just with a clean mind, and watch Reservoir Dogs and True Romance side by side, I think you would see a lot of similarity. It's just his super early work, right? Like as a young filmmaker, I'm not sure True Romance would have been that different.
so dialogue heavy. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you could tell it was written by him. Like all the, like when Christian Slater goes to see Gary Oldman, what's his character's name? Fuck.
the pimp.
Yeah, the pimp. Yeah, like that.
It'll come to me in 2 seconds.
The scene with Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper, like.
It just doesn't have that same, I don't know, je ne sais quoi of everything coming together. I don't know.
But again, he wrote it, so it's still like you
he
can't.
wrote it.
It has
yeah.
the violence. It has everything.
Anyways.
I mean, again, Alabama War League takes a shit kicking in that from James
beats the
Gandolfini.
shit-
He
Oh.
beats the absolute piss out of her.
Such a shit kicking. That's crazy.
That's like the most impactful movie. I remember being 16 or 17, seeing that.
Did you watch, speaking of Gandolfini, did you watch the trailer for the Sopranos movie?
Of course.
Oh, dude, that looks awesome. My one,
It's just a shame it's a film.
I was just going to say the same thing. That has to be a series. What dum-dum
I know.
at HBO, after everything they've done, you don't make movies, HBO. You don't make movies. You make fucking series.
Now, keep in mind, I'm going to go in with an open mind. It could be an incredible film.
They did the Deadwood movie. It was very good. But again, I would have, give me like a prequel to
but
Deadwood.
doing a movie,
or,
you're literally like series finales are movies, lengthwise.
yeah, sure.
Well, this is my point.
But
is
you
you're
love
giving-
the trailer, but you don't like that HBO's making it?
No,
No,
I
he's
like
saying-
the trailer. It's going to be a great movie. I'm going to love it. But they
Stay in your
should have
lane.
given us a series about pre-Sopranos, not a movie about pre-Sopranos.
Just think about how much they could have done.
So much, Matt. Like, maybe they will, though. Maybe this is like the lead off to a
I
series.
doubt it.
Everyone's too old, but I always wanted there to be a prequel to Reservoir Dogs.
I gotta say, I love
What
the
they
idea.
all did before.
Well, why
I
not
love
do it
the
with
idea.
different actors?
I love the idea of him redoing it himself with different actors. 'Cause
Oh, very cool.
We spoke about your idea of like taking a script and having 5 different filmmakers
Yes.
interpret that script.
Wait, how do you remember these things? I don't even remember saying that. What a great idea I had.
Yeah.
It's like the money of
You forget that I have to edit this
filmmaking.
thing, so
Ooh.
I got to listen and listen again. I think that's a great idea, but I also like the idea of a filmmaker because he mentioned something really interesting, and it made me think of like Clerks. When you're a young filmmaker with very limited funds, your biggest problem is special effects and location. So you can't have any special effects because that's your whole budget, and location. You really want like a Clerks where you can just
or a Reservoir Dogs. It
exactly.
all
But
takes
this is what I'm
place
saying.
in
In
two
that
locales.
This is the thing. Like, there's a few shots they use. When Steve Buscemi's running down the street, but
it's pretty much
simple.
stock footage,
Well, no, like I mean, him running from the cop. But that's easy stuff to do. I'm with you. It's a lot of B-roll, and it's
He doesn't have to rent out downtown
It's literally
LA
a
to do
diner
it.
scene, an office, and then that fucking warehouse. And it's just interesting how when you're young,
and Buddy's apartment.
Yeah.
The cop's
Yeah.
apartment, just for all that.
because I remember hearing Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson said he always wanted to make Godzilla, and he had to make Lord of the Rings in order to make Godzilla, because he was like,
Okay.
I'm never gonna have the money to make Godzilla the way I want to make it. So he had to like,
Interesting.
So
What were we just talking about before that?
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
No, you do. Come on. 2 seconds before.
Well, just Quentin Tarantino. I don't know.
3 scenes, easy budget to do.
Oh, Reservoir Dogs.
cheap.
Truth.
Clerks. So what was so funny about that is, so he makes Clerks for whatever,
20 grand, 50 grand,
15
whatever it
grand,
was, yeah.
maxing out 2 credit cards. And then they give him like millions of dollars to do Mallrats.
Yeah.
Which is it's like one of my favorite movies, but it's such a stupid movie. Like there's nothing to it. They didn't need to spend any money on that movie, but you can see like, oh yeah, we'll just give him a Batman belt and he's going to propel himself to the roof. He just blew it. It's funny, man.
But sometimes though, that's how those companies work. Like I remember Blink 182. They had a video where the record label gave them $1 million to make a music video, and they were like, you have to make this music, and they just spent the $1 million giving stuff away.
Oh, really?
So like they went to a skate park with a van filled with blank decks and just like around this, you know what I mean? So
I was thinking more like they give you $1 million, and if you don't spend it, then the next time they give you less. So you got to spend it no matter what.
Of course.
That's probably why they blow these huge budgets.
Because I got to say, when Tarantino was like, it cost me $95 million to make
That was
Once Upon a
crazy.
Time in Hollywood, I was like, holy mother of God.
Movie Game, I would have never guessed 95 million.
Really? But
The highest I would have gone
the way
for
you
is
describe-
50.
But
I would have guessed like, oh yeah. I mean,
did you wonder how
just
they made it
actors.
look like it was the 70s? And
I would have just thought actors needed to get paid, so I would have said
Again,
40 mil.
Yeah, like I said, 50.
Yeah.
You know, you got DiCaprio, Bruce Willis. You
And I
have,
assumed a lot of those guys did him favors, because they're fucking buddies of Tarantino.
Bruce Willis was in Once Upon a Time. in
sorry,
Hollywood.
Brad Pitt. My apologies. Yeah,
He was
Bruce
in
Willis
Pulp
killed it.
Fiction.
He was amazing.
You know what's interesting though is when Tarantino talks about it, it's Rick.
What do you mean it's
Like
real?
he doesn't say DiCaprio once. He didn't say Brad Pitt once. He is so invested in the actual characters.
Oh yeah, okay, sure.
Wasn't it crazy that he said that Travolta was originally slated to play the Eric Stoltz part?
And Madsen was supposed to be
his
him.
career would have never had that rebound had he got that, because that part, it would have been good. You would have been like, hey, John Travolta, but you wouldn't have given a fuck about it.
What's
know?
really crazy is like I wonder how Michael Madsen feels.
Well-
Because I want to know what movie he went to do.
Wyatt Earp.
He told you.
Oh, it was Wyatt Earp.
And
Okay,
it's a
'cause-
piece of shit movie.
But this is what I'm saying. I mean, in his defense, Quentin Tarantino at that point hasn't.
But
he's-
then, yeah, sorry.
he's
go ahead.
done Reservoir Dogs. Wyatt Earp is a big budget film. If you're Michael Madsen, you're
And he loves Madsen anyways, because he goes on to write the
But I
whole
was-
character of in Kill Bill for Madsen.
I was gonna say in hip hop, there's always like who's the most underrated MC ever, and for me, like in acting, Tom Sizemore and Michael Madsen are like two of my favorite.
That's funny because they both play pretty much the same
I know.
role. you have a type.
Michael Madsen though, there's some when he smokes a cigarette, there's no one on film that makes me want a cigarette more than when Michael Madsen smokes one.
I feel like there were nobodies till Reservoir Dogs, and that blew them up, and it was like the worst thing to happen to them because they both just went Hollywood crazy. I think I don't know actually, but it just seems like, you know how Vince Vaughn doesn't look like Vince Vaughn, the Swingers.
Yeah.
The years have not been nice to Sizemore or Madsen.
Madsen, you always believe. Like, I believe that he's a badass. So when he smokes a cigarette, I believe he's smoking a cigarette. That's why I think you.
Listen, the scene in Kill
Relate
Bill,
to
like
him.
he's the best part of Kill Bill, like when he's in that trailer. You know what I mean? When he's living in the trailer and she goes to see him and he's like some greasy, he just plays that so well.
Plays himself.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the 80s, the worst movies.
Yes, without a doubt.
Do you think that because everyone was on cocaine?
Keep in mind though, there are some movies that came out of the 80s. Like Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a fucking incredible film.
Oh no, it can't be every single movie
I get
made
it.
ever.
But I agreed with him. Yeah, it was popcorn.
Just
in
the
80s.
80s, like 80s music is suspect.
Yeah, the 80s in general was
it was so
neon and cocaine and
cotton candy.
oh, it was terrible.
That's why Reservoir Dogs, Menace Society, Boys in the Hood, anything that was like gripping and heroes dying appealed to for me when I was a young person. Like,
It's funny you say this, though,
Realism.
because if you go back and watch, like I was mentioning this with Heat last week, if you go back and watch a lot of those gritty early 90s movies, they're gritty and they're great. And they like, a lot of them stand the test of time. But if you watch them now with like, comedic eyes, there's a lot of 80s cheese that has still found its way in. And again, I probably blame the studios.
well, we talked about this last. I think most of it is overacting from Al Pacino. Just
Oh, and Heat. Oh, she's
shines-
got a
shines-
great ass. Yeah.
But I mean, according to Tarantino, he changed everything. You know what I mean? And I really think he did. Like, just like everything changed when Smells Like Teen Spirit came out. It just changed culture.
But to say it changed it, like, was Martin Scorsese dead?
No, but all young filmmakers wanted to be like Quentin Tarantino. It's a Tarantino. Before he existed, it'd be a Scorsese or a Coppola.
But this is what I'm saying is he didn't like. I know he looks at himself as this groundbreaking. Like there were people making those gritty films before Tarantino. He put his own spin on it for sure. And he
Like who? You're saying like
well, Scorsese is a perfect fucking example. Like even in the '90s, he made Goodfellas, which is to this day.
But
one of-
Scorsese's one of the best directors ever.
I get it. I'm saying I think Quentin Tarantino is one of the best directors of all time. He's
don't
top
like him.
3. I don't like him as a person. Yeah, I can separate the man and the art for sure. But other than Kill Bill, I don't think he has and Death Proof. I don't think he has a movie I really don't like.
you don't like Kill Bill?
I did not like Kill Bill. No,
I mean, it's not my favorite movie, but it's fun.
Feels like it's a comic book movie.
this is the thing. It's weird because
Sure.
I liked the aesthetic of it, like the RZA did the music. It had that sort of a mix of like spaghetti westerns, old kung fu movies. I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't like it. No.
And when he talks about Kill Bill, talking about the characters, because I feel like Kamar was saying he like lives all his characters.
Yeah.
You know, he builds these lives for them far beyond the movie, which is probably why these books work and why the plays will work, because it's kind of like Star Wars, right? Where you can
Yeah, you could build a fucking
build out on any storyline. Anyways, I totally forgot where I was going.
Kill
with
Bill.
this.
Yeah, you're talking about
Characters.
Kill Bill.
Kill Bill.
I said it was terrible.
Yeah, no, it's I don't even know why I was talking about it. I'm sorry.
Well, that's another plus for him, though. The reason why he was on doing podcasts is to sell the book, which is like a supplemental piece to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I don't feel like he really hawked it or anything. Like it,
No.
it came up organically in conversation, but it didn't feel like. Buy
I
this book.
honestly didn't know. If you hadn't said he was selling on a book tour, I don't even know if I would have noticed. To be genuinely,
Oh, I didn't even realize
Yeah,
that,
see,
that
there
he
you
was
go.
hawking the book. I just thought he was talking about a book that he had,
No, he's written a
had
book
written.
that is supplemental that has a whole bunch of other
I
stuff.
think it's brilliant. Oh yeah, living the lives. He goes so deep into the characters. Like when he was talking, sorry, that's what I was talking about. When he was talking about Kill Bill, he was like talking about doing a Kill Bill 3 and having the daughter and people still being alive, and he just knew how like everybody ended up. And I don't know. I think it would be really interesting then to see another Kill Bill.
the fact that he wrote 20 pages of Rick and Timothy Oliphant, because that's the one time
My man.
just a conversation in a bar that he never put in the movie, and he said, and I learned a lot more about them. It's almost schizophrenia. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like he becomes a conversation and decides he's two other people. It's really a feat.
I mean, I loved that he was ready to tap out. And then he was like, historically speaking, directors don't get better with age. And, you wouldn't want him making 3 duds at the end and then having that kind of.
It's interesting because he said he seemed like way more, this is it with Joe. But on Marin, he sounded like it was way more wide open.
Well,
It's a contract that he
also-
has for 10 movies.
I'll say this. With Joe, it sounded like he was definitely done with movies, but it sounded like he still had, like he said he wanted to do a play, which is absolutely fucking beyond me. But
I think that would be super rad, man. Like to see one of his.
I mean, just
works.
he said he wants to do The Hateful Eight, so he's already really written that.
He said
It's
he
not-
would do Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, he's not writing a new play. He's making one of his movies into a play. I think it's cool.
Because it's such a different beast, right?
A play?
Because it's done every single night and anything
Oh, and it's
can
just
happen.
and just the blocking. Everything's different.
For me, like if you're gonna do that, I'd rather see you do something original. We've already seen those.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I said I'd be down to see a remake of Reservoir Dogs, so I guess a play, fine. But
The remake of Reservoir Dogs would be very cool. Like, it would be stupid for anybody else to do it, I guess. Unless
would be
we
a-
were doing my 5 directors all doing the same movie. But him doing it and using all different actors, like, you're not reusing any of the same dudes.
I just wonder, like, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if you can. I just wonder how people will accept that. Like, anyone who grew up with Reservoir Dogs, like us.
Well, you would have to change all, like, the dialogue and stuff. It would just be the same.
But even then, that's such a bastard, because anyone who's seen it would.
This is what I wanted to say, guys. Earlier, his speech in the diner,
Yeah, but Madonna
Is-
and Like a Virgin.
like,
Yeah,
and it's one of the best.
He gave himself the best fucking monologue in the whole movie. He could have given that to any of those other actors.
Well, it's
and
rivaled by I Don't Tip.
again, like, he's giving himself gold to work with. You know what I mean?
You wrote it though. I guess I never looked at it like that.
I'm a fan.
Listen, I'm a huge fan. I don't assume I would love to hang out with him, and I don't like that he puts himself in his movies. That's it.
I don't like that he puts himself in his movies. That's my one complaint. But I thought he was really good on Rogan. I thought he was like, wasn't holding back. I thought his answers to most things were like they seem pretty honest.
Yeah.
I felt like Joe. It was almost deep waters for Joe to get into
Well, it would be like if Joe had Tom Brady on.
to talk about football.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Joe, I mean, sorry, that's too unfair because Joe knows nothing about football. Joe's seen, I assume Joe has seen at least every Quentin Tarantino movie, so he has some point of reference. But you can tell that, this is what I was going to say. The problem that I had is Quentin Tarantino is so deep into his craft that it's almost tough for anyone who's not like inside the actor's studio to interview him.
He's so deep.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's almost seems like the questions that Joe's asking are like softballed, or I don't want to say softball but I just like Joe doesn't understand the craft enough to ask him, you know.
I don't know what it's called, but like when you find out you know something that someone else doesn't know, you feel like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I found out that Joe saw Pulp Fiction before, didn't even know Reservoir Dogs existed, I was like, you can't say you're a movie fan.
In my defense, Pulp Fiction came out in like 94. I was 11. So I'm pretty sure I saw Pulp Fiction first.
Well, no, there's no defense for Joe.
No, Joe was like
It's a whole-
36
like,
at the time.
Reservoir Dogs was like, that was one of those movies you watch every night when it came out, or when you got it on video. You know what I
I
mean?
remember.
I saw Reservoir Dogs double feature with Pulp
Mayfair.
Fiction at the Mayfair, so I didn't see it until, like, I didn't know that existed until Pulp Fiction came out.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember I went to the It store at Billingsbridge and stole Pulp Fiction and then had to like hide it in my house. And then I remember being like, okay, I need a 3-hour window where no one's here where I can watch this because it was like a you're not
the
supposed
age
to.
gap comes in. That's so interesting.
Well, yeah, because how old were you when in 94 when Pulp Fiction came out?
17.
Yeah, way different. Yeah. Because by 17, you're watching.
Because like I was trying to say before, like True Romance blew my mind,
Yeah.
and also Train Spotting.
Oh,
I was like
so
I was like
amazing.
16 or 17.
Yeah, I remember
Saw it
Trainspotting
at
fucked me up.
the Bytown. You have both True Romance and Trainspotting. I had no idea who any of the actors were, what it was possibly about, and walked like you leave the theater and you walk with your mouth agape.
I will say
what
that
did I just see?
That's something that this generation will absolutely never know or understand. I don't think. Maybe some filmmaker will do that, but everything leaks. There's too many trailers. Like, you know what I mean? I remember seeing a lot of movies like that where you hadn't seen a trailer, you didn't know a single person who was in it, and you just went, and it was, even.
And it's a special time because any of those movies, all of a sudden Ewan McGregor is Ewan McGregor, but they were all nobodies.
Dude, Independence Day.
Kenobi.
Now.
Independence Day, I didn't know Will Smith was in that movie until I saw the film. Like, I remember the ads were all insane. There was a million ads, but it was all the ship coming in. They didn't tell you anyone was in it. There was no movie poster that said Will Smith. It was just ID4.
I think you're right. Sorry, Simon.
I was going to say, what must have been one of those movies, not for me because I wasn't born yet, but The Warriors. That must have been one of those movies for like a generation where people were like, oh, fuck, this is super gritty. Yeah.
I will say, though, I think that was like a cult classic. Like, I think that was a super underground movie until long after it was released. I could be wrong, but To me, that seems like a cult classic.
I was going to say I agree with you about movies because they need to create hype. No studio wants to say, yeah, we're going to put this movie out and we don't want anyone to know about it and just hope they come.
Because nothing's good enough anymore.
Well, but the problem then was there was so many good independent films back then, or small budget. Harvey Weinstein made independent movies for a long time.
That's the wildest thing about this whole thing.
We'll get to that.
That was a crazy part, man.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second. I mean,
well, let's get to it right now.
well, no, what I was gonna say is the guy that owns the Mayfair, he made a movie, and Harvey Weinstein gave him $1 million to make that movie. Jenny Lee was in it. Smash cut.
Really?
Yeah, that was a Harvey Weinstein film. So I mean,
There's so much culture that is attributed to Harvey Weinstein.
yeah.
That is very impactful in my life.
That was a weird moment, though, when he was trying to defend his position, and it was odd for a second there.
I will say though, we always bitch and moan about he was honest. I'll give him that.
Well, the only part I'm not sure he was honest about was he said he didn't know. He knew that Harvey was like a player, but he didn't know there was rape going on.
He lied though. 2 seconds later, he was like, "Anyone close knew."
This is what
anyone close knew, and
Maybe
as
on
soon as
the
he
rape.
said that, I was
And
just
he was as close as it came. So that it will be my one complaint about Quentin in this episode.
I mean, I will say this though. Again, this is one of those things where if it hadn't come up, we all would have been like, it would have been like the Scientology Ethan Suplee thing.
Who was in Mallrats?
Oh no! It yes, he was. He was staring at the magic eye.
But you know what I mean? So the fact
And
that
so is Jason Lee. They're
Yeah.
both Scientologists. That whole movie, and Shannon Doherty, I think, is a Scientologist.
She got crooked eyes. She gets a pass.
I wonder if Kevin Smith is a fucking secret Scientologist.
well, none of them are secret. They're all open about it. He probably is.
No, I don't think he is.
I think he was prepared, though, because he'd already been interviewed about it. I said that New York Times
Sure.
had interviewed him, so he already had a stock explanation for his position.
I think he also knows that he's uncancelable. People have tried to cancel him many times.
Well,
He's
that
such
was-
an epic filmmaker that
so-
no one gives a shit.
So Joe's been saying it over and over and over again. I don't think anyone could do that. Like he
totally
said
disagree.
flat out, I don't believe in that statement.
I don't either.
Who were they? If you do it, you do it. And there's someone out there. I mean, I can't even understand his buddy that convinced him to let me shop around Reservoir Dogs. Like, if I had a script, would you know? If I gave you 3 months, would you know where to go to get me the money?
No.
I don't even understand that, but there's people who do.
Yeah, but when you're in LA, I think it's way different. When you grow up in LA,
Yeah,
I think the degrees of separation of getting a script in someone's hand.
everyone knows someone who's a PA. Well, still, Toronto's not far away. I bet you are 6 degrees from someone who knows movies, but you just don't think about it as being a thing. Definitely if you're in LA, Hollywood.
But I also think if tomorrow you had a finished script, I actually think it would be easier for you to maybe have someone see it than you'd think as well. I'm not saying it would be as easy as Quentin Tarantino, and we're not in LA, of course, but
Hey, remember when this happened, he was just a dude working in a movie store.
Yeah.
He wasn't Quentin Tarantino, which is the coolest thing. Quick thing, Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. I loved his
that was an interesting
idea
analogy,
about how
yeah.
Bill Murray changes from the douchebag to the movie, which I think gave people licenses to be assholes in life. You know what I mean? But Chevy Chase is just Chevy Chase all the way through, and he's really marred his legacy by being an asshole, I guess, on Community.
I mean, the weird thing though is Bill Murray. That's almost his true to life person. Like he is this kind of curmudgeon-y guy, but at the end of the day, he shows up at people's house parties and does the dishes. Or, he goes to the Pro-Am golf and is fucking yucks it up and is hilarious. Like he comes off as that sort of,
I
bald.
thought that was Chevy Chase until the whole Community shit. I didn't, you know what I mean?
You
I thought Chevy Chase was this happy-go-lucky Bill Murray type of great guy, and then you find out all the shit about Community, and you're like, oh, well, he's just...
I think we just don't realize how big he was, like with Family Vacation and all that stuff.
oh, yeah.
Dude, forget Family Caddyshack.
Yeah,
Well, Family Vacations
Caddyshack is one of the
is-
movies for the 80s that...
But
I
I'm
guess-
saying Caddyshack is that's regarded as one of the comedy movies of all time.
Caddyshack is probably 79.
True.
It's probably a year before the...
And
I
you
think
got
that might
Rodney
be- yeah.
Dangerfield carrying the show. Because I don't find Chevy Chase that impressive. Fletch is what...
Fletch is
Bill
one
Murray,
of my favorite.
Bill Murray was really funny.
Bill
in it.
Murray's great.
I was going to name my kid Fletch.
No, you're gonna name him Agent. Don't
Well,
fucking do this.
That also.
Don't do this.
Agent Fletch Anisman.
Back to the Harvey Weinstein. It was interesting that like Harvey, this pathological rapist, was like thinking the torture scene was too much, which it is.
But that's almost like the Bill Cosby.
It is in Reservoir Dogs if that scene doesn't happen, right?
It isn't, I agree, but I also think as much as he's a weird rapist, he thought a lot about money. And for him, he was like, I want to sell this movie. I'd like a return on my investment. Little did he know that the ear being cut off would end up being a piece of like, not folklore, but like pop culture.
It's huge.
Or maybe he was trying to flex a little as the producer, you know what I mean? And like that was the only part of the movie he could to say, hey, you know, I'm the boss.
Did you watch Entourage?
I have watched Entourage.
But the whole thing?
Yes, the whole thing.
Because did you remember there was a whole, in one of the seasons, there was like 3 episodes where I guess Mark Wahlberg had it out with Harvey, like in real life, because there's like 2 or 3 episodes where they
Doesn't
go to
he punch him out or something?
I can't. They go to Cannes Film Festival or something, and they curse him out. I can't remember what it is, but there's Sundance.
There's Easter eggs all along.
Oh no, it's Brad Pitt. I was in real life. Brad Pitt punches him out because of what he did to
Jennifer Aniston.
No,
Angelina Jolie.
No, one more before that. The blonde Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yes.
Yep. Apparently, he tried to put the moves on Gwyneth.
Yeah.
Who's obviously a total prude and wasn't having any of it. And
Sorry, she's a total prude because she would fuck Harvey Weinstein.
Sorry. She probably didn't want to fuck Harvey Weinstein because he's disgusting. I imagine she's also a total prude.
I mean, I can get behind. I imagine she's a total prude. Yes.
Good backpedal, Simon. Thank you.
Way to work that one out.
Yeah, and then Brad went in and just fucking cold cocked him.
As he would, as Glenn would.
Brad Pitt also in True Romance, just to bring it full circle.
Yeah,
Who does he play?
There's definitely a circle that...
He plays, Earl? No, what's his name? Don't condescend me, man. Floyd.
Kamar knew. Yeah.
Doing the baseball signals. The guy, he's over there.
Floyd.
It was interesting how... I don't know if I think he sort of put it like a minor way to defend Harvey, the Shaw Brothers studio, where they give a little tour, and there's this head of the studio seat watching the film room, and then there's a literal bedroom.
Yeah, Harvey didn't even bother. He just fucked him right in the same room he was interviewing him.
He got 2 big for his britches, and I
So this might be an unpopular opinion, but I got to give Quentin Tarantino a little bit of credit in that it's a very tough thing to go on this platform and try to defend at all Harvey Weinstein, who's done all of this for you. Like, he only has a career because of Harvey Weinstein. So I will give Quentin Tarantino that, and that he's a little bit ride or die. Like, there's a lot of people in Hollywood that would have come on this podcast and been like, never knew anything. I'm fucking disgusted. You know what I mean? Especially in this climate.
That's way riskier, though.
He never helped me. He was inconsequential.
Yeah, he actually really, other than giving me some money, I didn't have a lot of...
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think it takes a lot of gusto. Again, I think he knows who he is and that he's like, I can't be canceled.
I think way too many people know too much about him, and he'd get crucified
if he
tried to lie.
I haven't heard anybody saying that the scene from Pulp Fiction should be annexed.
Which scene?
The
I shot Marv in the face.
N-bomb scene.
Yeah. Did you when you pulled up? Did you see a sign on my lawn that said?
Yeah, this is what I mean. This goes on for like 15 minutes. So they want to cancel Huckleberry Finn, but nobody wants to cancel Pulp Fiction.
I think because Django.
Nobody wants to. Yeah, it's true. Why?
Maybe it's because he didn't want that scene canceled, so he's like, I'm gonna make a slave movie and just outdo my fucking self.
I'm gonna make a movie where every 4th word is the N-bomb, and that way they'll never come after.
And it's weird, Simon, because you always said you didn't think Django was even in his top 5. Leonardo DiCaprio is fucking insane in that movie.
He is great.
Insanely racist.
He is great, Matt, and I just don't like watching him. That whole movie turns me off for some reason. I don't know why.
Jamie Foxx is great in it.
I don't like it.
The German from Inglourious Bastards is, I mean, first of all, he's incredible in Inglourious Bastards. That opening scene
is incredible.
Is staggering.
Where he's walking over
and he has
with
the milk.
Yeah,
dude, get out of here.
Something else.
And it's just, he also ultra violent, ultra dialogue, and ultra change history.
Simon,
But
the scene in Django where he goes in and he shoots the fucking sheriff in front of the pub, and then he's like, "Can you go get the other?" That's such a good scene.
I like Django. I find two things about it. One, it's an hour too long. There is a point
probably get down
where
with that.
I think it ends.
can probably get down with that.
And then it's like he goes on a whole new adventure. And I find that, like, I don't know. I find maybe each scene is a little too long, and then I start getting sick of DiCaprio, whereas if they had kept it a little shorter, I could cherish it more. I don't know, man. I find the whole thing a bore.
I also think being white, it's tough watching those movies.
And, but
Like
what I was...
12 Years a Slave.
You don't like Hateful Eight, which is like one of my
I really like
favorites.
Hateful Eight. I just didn't think it was... I didn't think it was in my top 3 Quentin Tarantino movies.
It's slow.
It's definitely in my top 3.
I find it very slow,
or top
too.
4, anyways.
Again, I will give him credit in that he shot that on 100mm film, which is so staggeringly more expensive than he could have shot it. But he wanted that like super letterbox. You know, he just
It's
has
a
this
great
aesthetic.
feel. It is a great feel. You are totally transported into that movie.
But again, I bet if you saw that in 100mm IMAX, it would be like a way different experience.
I'm sure.
Way different.
I'm sure.
But that's my problem too with those movies is like, you should be able to make a movie that looks and feels the same at my house as it does in the theater. I know that that's never, you can't recreate. I just mean like I can't watch a 100mm movie the same way on my screen as I could in a theater. At least I don't believe you
Is that a technology that's barring that?
Yeah, well, it's like IMAX. Like you can't watch an IMAX at home. You know what I mean? It's
going to be cool when our rooms become IMAXs.
yeah.
We're just
Or
watching totally.
it's not even that. You just put on a pair of glasses and you feel
it
like
just-
you're 100 feet back and it's IMAX.
Yeah, I mean, you're wearing the glasses. It's like if you're in 3D or, virtual reality, but you still touch your face and you feel the glasses, it takes you totally out of that. That's why you need to be immersed.
I'm sure I know your answer already, but neither of you guys ever seen the movie Brainstorm?
No, I don't think so.
It's Christopher Walken, 1983. And it's very interesting because the concept is he's a scientist with this other female scientist. They've created basically Neuralink,
Yeah.
where you can put this thing on your head and you can record any experience.
That's like Strange Days.
This is 1983 though.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So, yeah. Same with Lawnmower Man. When was that?
90s.
Okay.
Stephen King.
So you can put this thing on your head and you can experience whatever, the taste, the smell, not like you're looking through a screen. It's actually in your
That's weird. That is
consciousness.
exactly Strange Days. That's fucked.
This is the original.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. Well, someone might have done it before that. You never know.
Maybe. But the visual effects in this are insane. Like you cannot believe it's 83.
Really?
And plot spoiler, at one point the female scientist has a heart attack and presses record. So they
You
now
can
have a
feel-
tape of death.
Yeah.
And he experiences what it's like to die. It's really, and I think it might be the inspiration for Elon's Neuralink.
Come on. Like I said, in Strange Days, there's a scene where the guy puts the thing on the girl's head and then rapes her. So she's experiencing.
Okay, they just stole this movie.
It sounds like it,
No,
yeah.
this has child abuse in it, sex, eating. Like you could experience going on a bobsled or skiing, but not like you're looking at it.
No, you're in it.
You're
Yeah.
doing it. So
I would actually suggest everyone goes and watch Strange Days. There's the opening scene is fucking incredible. It's this POV of like a bank robbery, and the whole thing is like a.
they just ripped off Brainstorm, and it
sounds like
and
it.
it's Young Walken.
Who
But with
was in Strange Days? It sounds
Ralph
familiar.
Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes and Angela, not Lansbury.
Ralph
Yes,
Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes.
My
whatever.
uncle did
Call
the
him Ralph Fiennes.
wardrobe for that movie.
Not Angela Lansbury. Who's the black chick? Lansbury. Angela
Bassett.
Yes. She was in it. Her and Ralph Fiennes.
But it's sort of like
Rafe.
my roommate was saying that the guy who invented walkie-talkies invented it because he saw the communicator on Star Trek.
Yeah, isn't that weird when
It-
life imitates art?
And so that's why I'm thinking, I bet you Elon Musk have seen Brainstorm. Well,
I would agree if he wasn't. He got that idea from like fucking the mothership or something.
You know what though, Kamar? It makes sense. We've come up with. You see people do this all the time. Like Ali G did it back in the day, where he was pitching ideas to someone and he pulled out a skateboard, And they were like, what's this? He's like, it's a hoverboard. And they were like, well, it doesn't hover. And he goes, that's where you lot come in. But you know what I mean? So like a lot of people have these great ideas that they're never going to be able to pull
But
off.
it's like the imagination plants the seeds, and then 20 years later
Precisely.
it becomes reality.
Yeah.
But you know that a lot of people say that Gene Roddenberry, some people say that Gene Roddenberry
Yes, he was part of the
like
Men in Black. He was
privy-
around the table.
He was privy to this,
council.
something 8 or whatever, Majestic 8 or 12. And he was there as they were setting up the rules of our federation.
Well, that'd be even crazier. But it's just the whole thing that if it can be imagined, it becomes more possible. So this will happen one day.
Or engineered, as you know.
All I was retorting is, you like, as long as you feel the glasses, you feel the glasses. But
Yeah,
if
no.
you're in the head, you're in the head. You don't feel anything. Or you could feel what it's like to catch a pass in an NFL game or something.
The question is this, though. Let me ask you this.
It.
Once we can do that, is anyone going to get anything done?
Well, this is the simulation. This is the whole.
That's what I'm saying. Like, think about like porn. They think porn right now is just ruining young people. So imagine if you can just
I think they've
strap.
confirmed that it's ruining.
So imagine if you can just strap in, and now you're not just jerking off to fucking these girls.
Well,
You're in there fucking this
You are
girl.
talking about the Matrix. You are talking
Yeah.
about what we're saying is coming up. Like,
Yeah.
this is it, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Is then
That's
nothing
where
gets
we're
done.
going to get there. But nothing needs to get done because everybody just survives in this fucking
With their-
make-believe
with their feed
world
tube.
as they get giant, like in that fucking Disney movie.
And
but the
everyone's
feed
happier
tube, who
than
pays for the
ever
feed
could
tube?
do
You know what I
in their
mean?
regular life.
Wall-E. Yeah.
It's Wally, you fucking weirdo.
It's Wall-E.
Yes, I know there's a dash, but it's Wally.
I'm not going to argue with you. Anyways.
Well, you will argue with him.
Not about this, I will.
It's your prerogative.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was interesting
it is
that
my prerogative.
he was talking about how
I don't think you know what prerogative means.
I don't. I just know Bobby Brown says it. Television was a cultural glue for us. I'm worried about our generations exactly, but like everyone watched Three's Company or whatever.
Yeah,
Just
for you and I.
for you and I, maybe.
That still exists. It's just on YouTube.
But there's
now
a
it's the Nelk Boys.
Okay, so this is the change. This is the new consensus for young people is on the internet, not on these traditional things.
But before television, it was radio for our parents. And before radio for them, it was the newspaper. Like, it's just an evolution.
But keep in mind, Kamara, there's certain things that, like, sports is a good example.
It's the last of the glue, I'd say.
Well, I'm just saying, but those are things that the eyes on it, like they might not know how many people tuned in on television, or they might know only how many people tuned in on TV, but you don't know how many people stream that now. Like, I can't imagine the numbers for the World Cup and the Euros now that it's so accessible versus like 25 years ago when you didn't have an internet. You had to only watch it on TV.
I just find if I watch TV, they're spending so much money, going so outrageous, because I think they're losing.
What are
watchers.
you watching where people are spending so much money going outrageous?
There's these crazy not late night, but like primetime game shows. Like Will Arnett shows one, Ellen's showing one, and they just do great. Like they slime people. Like it's so over the top.
Have you seen that Lego game show, Simon?
I haven't watched them. I've only seen commercials, and I can't believe it's on. But it just seems to me desperate to get back viewers that they're never going to get back.
They build Lego?
That's it.
Just different
Just
competitions
massive
with Lego?
yeah,
or they have like one thing they have to build each time?
I can't. I haven't seen it.
I'm going to have to watch it.
I
Thank
knew
you,
you were
man.
going to.
What, you don't even know. Don't
NBC,
worry
I'm
about
going to
it.
say. Maybe ABC. One of the CBs.
Yeah.
Or BC, sorry.
There was a lot of one-upmanship, I think, on Quentin Tarantino's part, especially when it came to Sam Kinison.
Well, didn't you find that there was almost like this shift when, right at the start there, when Tarantino said, yeah, I was thinking of being a comedian. And then, because after that, Joe like asked him about Bruce Lee.
I didn't know. This is the weird thing. I didn't know how to react at first because I was like, does this mean that Quentin Tarantino listens to Joe Rogan? Because it seemed like an odd...
He listens to Joe Rogan.
Because it seemed like an odd pull.
There were a lot of I knows, which we know the person saying, yeah, Joe, I've heard you say this 5 times.
No, but he's also said, I heard you talk to this person.
I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confusing episodes. I don't know.
I mean, either way, that in particular, when it came up, I just sat there and I was like, was he really there? I mean, why would he make it up? But it just seemed too perfect for Joe. Like the guy that
you think he's lying
the
about
guy
scenes?
the guy that you revere. I saw him years before you. I don't know.
No. You're saying that Tarantino was lying?
No, I'm just saying it was all like too
No
perfect.
way.
No, I just don't think Joe realized that Tarantino even was like at the Comedy Store ever.
But it
so-
makes sense in the sense of the zeitgeist that he
Totally.
saw Andrew Dice Clay, who I've said blew my mind. I know if anyone watches this now, they're like, come on, what do you see here? You've got to put it in the context of the time where everyone's doing what they're doing, and this one guy is being super rude, super misogynistic, and people are loving it. You know
Well,
what
I
I
have
mean?
memories of my dad after my parents got divorced when he was like single and swinging, like laughing his ass off to Dice Clay, like just watching special after special. My dad would die laughing.
We do BTs beside 7-Eleven and like listen on a Walkman and just die and then say the nursery rhymes over and over again to each other.
I know, but then you go back and you can't listen to that now. It's horseshit. You know what I mean?
Well, his
So-
impressions are still amazing.
No, but I mean the whole shtick, like.
I know what Simon's saying.
No, it's not timeless.
I know what Simon's saying. Like, you could go back and watch Delirious right now, and other than the serious homophobic shit, it's still absolutely
The
fucking
jokes are hilarious. The jokes are well crafted. They're funny. These jokes aren't funny. And that's why I disagree with this whole, like, he's just a guy who caught lightning in a bottle, right? Kind of place and time for the.
Well, he was the first person to be canceled too. His movie got pulled. He got banned from MTV. Like,
I mean,
which helped him because you're still like, oh, Dice.
he made Ford Fairlane. That was like the fucking biggest flop of all time.
Well, he got pulled from theaters because he got banned.
Oh. But
It was an amazing
It wasn't
movie.
a good movie.
But there were some funny scenes in it.
I remember watching it, like, because I liked Dice Clay because I was a stupid kid who liked fucking saying.
But didn't he just play Dice?
Jack and
Didn't
Jill
he play
went up the
Dice
hill.
Clay in that movie?
No, he was kind of dicey.
No,
I
he was
think.
the Dice man. He was Andrew Dice Clay. He did all the lines. He was Ford Fairlane.
He was
but
Ford Fairlane.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But he played the Dice Man. Like, he just renamed it, which is
he was still smoking cigarettes.
yeah, to me, which is not a good look.
He wasn't doing this. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Like, Simon takes one thing.
The whole point is Sam Kinison and Dice Clay are like the inspiration for Quentin Tarantino to now follow his passion.
It's very cool.
It's just the way it is.
It's cool that, like Kamar was saying, they were in the zeitgeist at the same time. Tarantino's coming up as these guys are kind of finishing off their run, and it's just interesting.
and thank God, because, quote, I was 2 steps away from being an incel. Came out of Tarantino's mouth.
Yeah.
So thank God someone helped him inspired to put his positive energy. Could you imagine Sam Kinison and Jim Carrey being best friends?
Dude, imagine being in a room with those two coked up. The energy. Like, you just wouldn't be able to get a word in edgewise.
I wish I could do impressions. I want to do Sam going to Jim. You got to drop the impressions.
Yeah.
There's not just, you can't do that. And Sam Kinison died a horrible, tragic death, and Jim Carrey went on.
Jim
Like,
Carrey was the first actor to make $20 million a movie.
It's like ground zero shit, it feels like. Then they talked about the Travolta revival. We already did that. The Death Proof stunts. There's an interesting scene in Death Proof. Have you seen it?
I've seen it. I don't really remember it all that
But there's a
well.
scene. I just watched it for the first time today. I'd never seen it before, where Rose McGowan is a character in it.
Yeah.
And she shits on another girl who has a billboard, and she's like, "Who knows who she did to get that?"
So that's against Harvey, you think? Is that?
Well, Rose McGowan is one of the biggest.
Yeah,
Oh,
she was
that's
like-
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
At that time, she was in that position, and I'm not saying so.
That's
like,
a great
she's
pull,
victim.
Kamar.
It was
That's
just
a great pull.
It was just so eerie.
You think that she got shat on by Weinstein?
I don't know. All I know is that's a Quentin Tarantino movie. We know he is so into his movies. Nothing in his movies just a throwaway line. It was just very interesting, and I think he raped her, or people would accuse whatever. I don't know if it's rape or she blew him to get a role or whatever. But to put that in the movie, it gave me the heaves just knowing what I know.
See, I gotta say too, I gave her shit for not, and everyone was like, "Well, what's she supposed to do? She's gonna lose her career." I was like, I think she rode the wave, and then used this as. But hold on, she knew Quentin Tarantino and him were close, and then she still did Death Proof like, what was that, 10 years ago?
What
Well,
are
this
you?
all before this came out.
What are you saying though? I think I'm misunderstanding. What happened? What?
You weren't listening. In the movie Death Proof,
Yeah.
she shits on what, a billboard? Is that what you said?
There's a girl who's a star fucker,
Yeah.
or supposed to be a star fucker who has billboards, who wants to start a record company,
Right.
And she's like, who knows who she did to get that billboard,
Okay.
and that's just a line, but everything's for a reason. So was Tarantino putting that in her character because it happened to her? It's
Gotcha.
just
Okay.
It's weird.
So
when
do you think it's, hold on, do you think it's Tarantino slighting Rose McGowan?
or Harvey?
It seems like more of a slight at Rose. Make her say the line that she's only there because she fucking...
Anybody else, I would not say anything, but knowing how invested he is in the movie, there's no reason for that line to be in this movie.
No.
It has nothing to do with
It's
anything.
interesting. It's interesting.
You'd have to go back and watch it. She's talking to
Very
Kurt Russell.
interesting. Very
Well, it's one or the other. It's either a fuck you for her to Weinstein, or it's a fuck you from
That
Tarantino to Rose McGowan.
I was able to form the actual what the intention was, but just
And maybe at this point, he's still like siding with Harvey. You know, maybe not enough has come out at that point.
Well,
and
and
he's like backing up his boy.
Let me put my tinfoil hat on. Maybe at that point, Rose is having a tough time getting jobs, and she goes to Harvey and is like, you either put me in this new Tarantino movie or I go public.
it could be a myriad of things. But
I just...
if I had Netflix on my phone, I would have screen recorded it because it popped out to me.
Your phone won't do that.
If you're watching
sure.
Netflix,
Yeah, I think so.
I think it will. When he sold True Romance, he bought a Chevy Geo.
Turn that to him.
Go
man.
fuck yourself,
He
Simon.
wants to quit on top. I don't believe that, but I think that is a responsible thing to do. Like he could make two really Death Proof aside bad movies, and it could tarnish everything he does. You know what I mean?
I doubt it. You know what I will say, though? Simon brought up something interesting. When he said that his extended cut of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would only be slightly over 3 hours, Django's like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Joe
Django's
thought there was a
really long.
20-hour cut out there.
Well, that's obscenely long. I don't buy that. 20 hours might be like... I can't even...
Well, he categorically said there wasn't.
Yeah.
So
But I have a feeling he could do a 5-hour cut of any one of his movies.
I'm sure.
Great that we started talking about this because I felt Tarantino is so much more deeper into Tom O'Neill and all that stuff. Joe thought that he was going to be telling Quentin about something, and I listened to it twice on 3 times. I didn't hear as much, but in normal speed, it sounded like Tino was almost disgusted with Joe's sort of.
Did you just call him Tino?
Yeah, Tarantino.
No, I like it. You guys, it's like you guys are buddies.
I'm trying to big time him,
My boy Tino.
but it almost seemed like Joe was going to share what he knew about Tom O'Neill's book, and then Tarantino was like, "What are you talking about? This, the Bugatti, la 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 la." Like he was trying to say Blue Beam, and like Tarantino was like, "Yeah, that's child stuff," because he went so far to say that he doesn't know if Manson initiated the Tate murders.
Yeah, he thought Tex. he
He's
thought
way
Tex
more
did it.
invested.
Oh, no. It was very interesting. It was all very interesting, man.
Because I felt like Joe was kept trying to get his point of higher ground. You know what I mean? But it was Tarantino's show.
I gotta say this: if he comes out with that podcast, that's gonna be a fucking movie nerd's wet dream,
It might be mine.
dude. I have a feeling they're gonna go so like it'll be
Too deep?
yeah, and that's not a knock at you at all. That's like a
No.
like I think you'd have to be the deepest kind of film student.
I find like all him talking about the stunts and Zoe Bell, who was Uma Thurman's stunt double, but then she went to Death Proof and was the actress. And now that I know that there's a little wire on her jeans, I have to see the movie. So anything they say, I'm just that I'm a sheep in that way that I'll want to see it.
It's so true. I would love to watch. Like if they would give me the director's cut almost, and then we watch the movie. Fuck, that would be cool, man.
I think it could only be good. I understand what you say, they'll nerd out too much, but he says something later on about when people go to his movies, subtextual criticism And that's someone else reading something into something and making a statement. He said, there's no problem with that. You can see whatever you want in these movies, but if you ask me directly, like I'll tell you what I was trying to get across or do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel he has no time for subtext. It's which we get right here, the whole Bruce Lee thing. Like he does not like Linda Lee at all. He said, I don't dislike Bruce Lee. I felt he did not like Bruce Lee.
I think he just thought I think he thought the point he was making was so valid that how could anybody argue with him?
Because none of us know Cliff killed people in the Philippines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like he didn't show his work to get there.
Come on, what did you
Cliff killed Tarantino's mother with his bare hands. You didn't know that, but now you do.
I didn't get a vibe about how he felt about Bruce Lee, but I'm with you. He really dislikes Linda Lee.
I believe he said fuck Linda Lee at one point, which is usually what you say.
Well,
if
there
you don't
was
dislike someone.
obviously some fucking animosity there, like
Clearly.
behind the scenes.
Well, what it boils down to is he loves David Carradine,
Yeah.
who I think his reputation has been tarnished because he died jerking off.
auto asphyxiation.
I will give him credit, though, because he was like, listen, if you're in Bruce Lee's family, I can understand you taking exception to me doing this. I get that. But he was like, if you're anyone else,
Suck
go
it in.
kick rocks.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck
And
out of
he
here.
said
I don't
that
know.
a bunch of times. I thought that was
We used a
great.
bunch of different ones. Go
Yeah.
kick sand, kick rock. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, he was just like, I don't have time for how you feel about
Yeah.
what I did to Bruce Lee. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's really tarnished Bruce Lee. I think it's more like, yeah, okay, this stuntman could fight Bruce Lee, the greatest fighter of all time, but he's the greatest movie fighter of all time, right?
Can I tell you the only part of that where I'll agree that maybe Tarantino went a little like unnecessary is they just made him look douchey. They could have got that whole scene done the exact same way. The guy could have been like too pompous and everything, but without making like they made him look like a
Yeah, but also keep in mind,
shitty version of Bruce Lee, which I thought was
but also at the end of the movie, we find out that like the things that happened didn't end up happening. You know what I mean? It's in an alternate universe, realistically.
Well, the thing is, I think it's Dragon, right?
What do you mean it's Dragon?
Is a Bruce Lee story we all see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we watch that, and then it becomes in our head, this is Bruce Lee, this cool guy. I always liked him because apparently he had to smoke hash because he's too intense to calm down. But we have a biopic, liberties taken, of who he is. You know what I mean? None of us were around when Bruce Lee was the biggest star in the world. Is not out of the realm of possibility that he was a little pompous. And that's not a slight against him.
What do you mean alternate? What are you saying?
Well, they don't kill Sharon Tate at the end of the movie.
Oh, he rewrites.
None of it
history.
actually
That's what I'm
happened.
saying.
Yeah,
So
okay.
like you can at the end of the movie, even if you're like, oh, I can't believe what they did to Bruce Lee, you can go, oh wait, it's a movie, and like none of what happened in this film is based on reality. As you can see by the end of the film, because we know what happened based
Well,
on
they
history.
do they call him Bruce Lee
I did not do my
in the
research.
movie?
I mean, I think it's fucking so heavily implied.
I
like,
know, but do they call him Bruce Lee?
That's interesting.
Well, hold
Maybe
on.
they don't have the right to use him.
Does
like
it even matter at this point? Because Quentin Tarantino made it very clear that it was Bruce. I get what you're saying.
It doesn't matter, but it does matter, you know?
Well,
We don't have the answers,
He's
so.
trying to get Linda Lee sued.
Well, I'm sure she's
She's
suing
making
him.
Warrior, and he's the double back to the guy from Warner Studio. And Warner put out a book. He knows too much for his opinion to be just like out of the air. You know what I mean? I think he's had to deal with a lot of criticism, and he's had enough. And he was sort of like, I'll let this slide, but this is out of control. Like,
I think he also made it clear by stating that like he was like, I was at Sundance or Cannes in like 1990 with like all these other directors, and we all thought we'd be. He's a heavy hitter. He's been around for a long fucking time in Hollywood. I think Tarantino probably is up there in the power.
if he comes to you, you want to say a movie, say how much, or when can you get it? I don't want to be super rich, but I'd love to go to film festivals every year, Rich. Have you guys ever been to the film festival?
Toronto.
TIFF?
Yeah.
And what's that like?
I mean, it's just a regular theater where they show movies.
For a week, you're going to movies every week, like the full experience?
That's if you have I didn't have a pass like
Okay,
that. Like I went to see. I've seen a movie at TIFF, and my aunt threw an after party for White Oleander, where like Pierce Brosnan, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sean Penn was there. Robin
Well,
Wright.
exactly.
Penn.
At these film festivals, there's going to be actors. There's going to be after parties.
Yes, you're gonna rub elbows with people for sure.
Obviously, I want to go to Sundance, which I don't even know if it is what it was, because Reservoir Dogs like hit at Sundance, and of course, cons. I would love to go to cons.
Yeah, of course.
On a budget, but you know,
On a budget,
you
you're
don't mean like
hilarious.
looking over the fence. You actually want to have a pass and go to these movies. That's before I die. I'd love to be that successful.
I mean, I will say this: the interesting thing about going to those is seeing a movie that then doesn't hit theaters for quite some time.
Yeah, well, the whole film, it's cool. It's cool, right? And you can't just be anyone and go to those. Industry person or whatever. I guess you could be
Toronto,
a nerd.
I think in
Cinephile
Toronto
save
you
up.
can buy.
It's like $500 for a pass or whatever.
I don't know. I think you can just buy some individual tickets for certain movies, but I don't remember.
And again, the film festival is where you will guarantee that experience of going to movies not knowing anything.
That's very true.
You're gonna know this guy's a hype director or whatever, but you should. There's no promotion. There's no commercials. There's no trailers.
I mean, you never know. Going in there might be a poster, maybe.
That's not gonna. But
But I mean, right? You could be like Brad Pitt's in this. Oh shit! I'm going to see. At least you get something.
Yeah, very interesting. He talks about big TV shows. If a TV show hits, we know this Cosby Show, Seinfeld, or whatever, and Joe tries to slip in Lost. He's
Yeah, I
like
caught
Lost,
that,
and
yeah.
I thought Tarantino was like, yes, like Lost, but I don't think he has any love for Lost. I think that's why I don't like him.
No, I just couldn't see. I could see him hating Lost. It's like
I think he hated Lost. That's what I'm saying.
It's network television. But again, it was like a guilty pleasure of mine. I'm not sitting here like I'm proud that.
Yeah, like Lost really fucked around as well. The way they I don't know, there just wasn't enough info given for each episode. It's a trick of the networks. It's to extend things longer than they have to be so they get more fucking bang for their buck.
If you go back now, but you're going back, you still enjoy it.
I finished it. I mean, I'll say this,
Holes, are
Simon.
there more holes?
It's there's a lot of stuff in Lost that leads me to believe that like J.J. Abrams had like a 5-season plan. Like truly, because there's too much. I don't know.
I think sometimes watching it, Matt, because I've watched it many times, that sometimes he has no plan.
And he just gets lucky?
No, that there are 17 different fucking routes that he could possibly be following. He sees which ones hit well. Oh, the polar bears hit well. We'll expand on that. But the black smoke didn't hit. You know what I mean?
I get it, but just there's little things that are left in. There's, I don't know.
Like example, four-toed man.
Yeah.
Statue.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was going to be a huge part of the show.
Yeah.
And then people weren't interested in like the ancient civilization part. They wanted I don't even know, Matt. The smoke monster, you know?
I disagree there. I think they didn't have enough time I don't think they had enough time left in the show to go back that far. They gave you, what they did on Lost was they were like, listen, ancient Egyptians were here and knew this place had some sort of power and tried to harness it. We don't know what happened to them. And now you're left with Jacob and his brother and his mom.
Yeah, well, listen, instead of making the last season a split season and making us have half of it all to just prove all of that, Matt, to just make it so that they're in heaven, like, it's stupid. They could have avoided all of that and just given me all ancient Egypt for the second half of that last season. Anyways,
Listen, save this for Lost and Found.
Lost and Found. Thank you, Matt.
Oh, the new podcast. That's
No,
amazing.
we're not
What I
doing
want
it.
to ask you, though, just
This
quick.
was the first episode.
It's a simple answer. Was J.J. Abrams when he did Lost?
No.
So Lost made him.
Hold on, there's no way he had done nothing before that. That's impossible. They gave him it was the most expensive pilot.
Agreed, but he wasn't the JJ. Just
No.
let me find out his
Listen, was he,
filmography. for
Kamar,
him.
was he J.J. Abrams?
No.
I doubt it. No, that was,
That's all I need to know.
I believe Lost was what really,
Now I'm really
Which
interested.
gives him more
to
credibility in
know.
what he made than just a crazy, egotistical, indulging oneself. You know what I mean?
I believe, like, listen, for them, I don't know.
I don't know. I've never seen the show, so I can't really.
Love or hate Lost, the web they weave in the storytelling is insane.
Well, obviously,
And
you
it's
guys
super intricate.
talk about it for 10
Yeah.
minutes
Oh,
on
dude,
a
we
podcast
could- yeah.
about Quentin Tarantino. No, they mention it briefly. He's anti-CGI,
He's anti a lot of stuff, actually.
last of the purists, wants to see what you can get on film and what can do it.
Doesn't like anything digital either. Like, still wants to shoot only on film.
Which I appreciate.
I'll tell you
sorry.
why I find it very odd. When you shoot on film, you don't know what you've gotten till you look at the dailies. Like, and that the amount of cost right there is staggering in the sense that, like, not only the film costs a lot of money, but with digital, you can look back right away. You can see if you nailed the fucking composition, if you nailed the lighting. Like,
I understand that, but look what he's accomplished with the girl that took him to the dance.
sure, but here's my point, Kamar, is you can say like, I like film. I'm an old school guy, but he's like staunchly, I've heard him say to like young filmmakers, like, if you use digital, let people use whatever they're going to use. Like,
someone is going to make a movie who their whole life has said, fuck Tarantino.
yeah, probably.
That's
Yeah.
inevitable. Dusk Till Dawn.
Matt, I'm sorry. Just hold on. Did you know that there's something called Lost Missing Pieces? It's a
Yeah.
TV miniseries, 13 never before seen stories taken
Yeah.
from lost flashbacks.
Yes.
I've never seen that.
All that was the in between seasons. They would do these like online digital,
I know what I know what they are. Yes, yes.
right?
yes,
So
yeah,
some of them
yeah.
would be like extra Dharma shit.
The best was the thing the bonus they show you at the end. You know what? Lost and Found. Lost and Found.
This guy's hilarious.
Love
How
it. No, plug the new podcast.
Oh,
How about
anyways,
this? How
that
about
was
this?
their first thing, Maddie.
What?
That was pretty much his first.
Was it? Okay,
was his
very
first
interesting.
directing gig. He did 2 episodes of Felicity before that, but he only directed 3 episodes of Lost. You
Yeah,
know-
but he was the showrunner, the
he was
producer, the
everything.
writer. Like,
you know, he also directed 1 episode of The Office.
Tarantino.
I think I did know that. J.J.
No,
Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
How about this?
What if he's on next week?
What are your top 3 Tarantino films? No order. You don't have to give an order. Just what are
Well,
your top
did he
3?
write or direct? Like, there's a 9 to choose from, or
Okay, let's.
anything he's been involved with.
No. We would say, how about writing or directing? It's got to be. Well, I know Simon, it won't be, but for me, it's got to be True Romance, Reservoir Dogs, and Pulp Fiction.
It's True Romance, Reservoir Dogs, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Wow. Simon's going to be Hateful Eight.
I like Inglourious Bastards.
These are your top 3.
Yeah, Inglourious Bastards.
Hateful Eight.
No, I said that might be top 4.
Oh.
Inglourious Bastards.
So we now know if it doesn't make it, it's the 4th slot.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Really, I've only watched it like 3 times, but it might be one of my faves.
Just Rick when he's hungover.
I know, he's
and
amazing.
blowing the lines. And
And I just love that it ties into Manson. Like, that really works for me.
it would have been Pulp Fiction before Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And I think you have to put Pulp Fiction in there just because it's so, like, it really is
Iconic.
amazing. Yeah.
I feel like once you watch
Shot
it 20
Marvin in the
times,
face.
once you watch it 20 times, you almost like, I could have done this.
Hateful Eight, I love. Yeah, I love Hateful Eight.
No, there's no point where I watch Pulp Fiction. I'm like, I could have done this.
No, but you know it so well. You know what I mean? Like Samuel L. Jackson. Last time I watched it, his speech wasn't as cool as before. It was like walking out of the theater like bad motherfucker. Like
Oh, I still love
I
that
strike
speech.
down with vengeance upon thee. Like it sort of gets tired only because
Great
I've exhausted
vengeance
it.
and furious anger. Those who attempt to poison my brother. I just think that everything in that movie is perfect.
It's perfect. It is a perfect movie,
Go ahead.
and it was in my top 3.
Until Once Upon a Time.
I can't explain how important True Romance is to me, and Reservoir Dogs. And Reservoir Dogs, one of the reasons it's so important, this is what I want to bring up, is the music. Like the beginning, that's one of the best starts of a movie that you don't know what you're going to see. And I felt that was the biggest crime of this podcast.
They didn't talk about the
They
music.
didn't talk about music at all.
Still a great fucking podcast.
But I mean, even in all the soundtracks to all the movies are amazing. I think True Romance, well, he didn't direct it, but it's Hans Zimmerman, I think. And It's Stephen Wright is the voice in Reservoir Dogs and all the songs in Jesus Christ, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown. Like they all add so much to it. I wish there were just anything about that. That could be another hour talking about the music, but I don't think Joe's such an audiophile. What I was trying to say before is, what's so funny?
Nothing. J.J. Abrams, you know what episode he directed?
Which one?
Oh, shit. Sorry. No, my bad.
No,
My bad.
you said 10 minutes ago, lost and found, drop it, and then went back to your phone and just been looking at JJ.
No,
Abrams.
this is the Office now.
How rude. I see that.
He directed Cocktails. It's the episode Michael, Dwight, and Jim and Karen attend a cocktail party at CFO David Wallace's house where Michael and Jan make their relationship public. Karen makes Jim uncomfortable by pointing out all her ex-boyfriends in attendance, and Dwight inspects the home. Meanwhile, the rest of the office go to the bar, and Pam tries to be more honest with Roy. I thought it was
Sick synopsis.
I thought it was the episode where they go to Robert California's house for that party.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that one is fucking hilarious.
What's
Olivia
hilarious is you
marching
being stuck in
powder.
a rabbit hole.
Anyways, whatever. Move on. Quentin Tarantino, very important fucking part of my life.
Oh, yeah.
Like big in my rearing.
Did you hear what I said about they didn't talk at all about any of this music or the song choices?
No, I kind of heard that. I love the music in Tarantino movies, obviously. Super important. He did such a great job.
I just feel that if anything was just not
Yeah.
brought up, that was it.
Yeah. My son, I don't know if I told you, huge Tarantino fan, not because of me. Found
Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah, you told
That
me about
hurts.
that.
No,
Yeah.
found Tarantino on his own. That's the best, man. That shows you.
I would
that,
love to
like-
be the person to get someone into Tarantino.
Yeah, at the same time, like sometimes your kids fight you on things just because you're telling them. So I like that he found this on his own.
It's just so interesting. Like I wonder if like 18-year-olds right now are going back.
My son's 18, 17.
Yeah, okay, so they are.
It's
yeah.
almost even a generation more if you don't even know who these actors are. They might have a huge resurgence. You know what I mean? Because no one was big names in a lot of these movies when I saw them.
Well, Reservoir Dogs, it was fucking Chris Penn. I mean, I got Roth. Roth was
I
kind
had
of...
never seen Buscemi before. I'd never seen any of them
Yeah.
before.
Had Brad Pitt ever been in a Tarantino? No way. That was his first, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and True Romance, but not really.
Yeah.
He might have been in Jackie Brown.
I don't think he was in Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown was not a good movie.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I didn't love Jackie Brown
It was
either.
an okay movie, but like,
Bridget Fonda was at her height of hotness.
yeah, I remember watching it and being very disappointed. I went back and watched it later in my life to try and like give it its just due, and it didn't hit for me.
It's above Death Proof.
It's above Death Proof. Death Proof.
I've been
yes.
trying to get this out. Dusk Till Dawn. You
Okay.
both have seen it?
I have. Yep.
Fantastic.
Why? That's a Tarantino? No, he was in that.
He was in it, but what he was talking about is he's a horrible person in it.
Yeah.
But somehow, Clooney caring for him makes you like have this endearment towards this horrible person.
That's like a guilty pleasure movie because I know it's horrible, and yet I'd watch it again today.
And you're going to do the movie game on it today.
Very good.
Dusk Till Dawn.
It's the JREE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon to rack their brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JREE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
Thanks, Tyler. It's the movie game where Simon and Matt go head to head to find out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make it, and how much it made it at the box office. This week we're doing Dusk Till Dawn, directed by Robert Rodriguez, screenplay by Quentin Tarantino.
From Dusk Till Dawn? Or Dusk Till Dawn?
From Dusk Till
From
Dawn.
Dusk
Pardon
Till
me.
Dawn.
Pardon me.
Two different movies.
There is a Dusk Till Dawn,
No, I'm just making sure.
starring Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Juliette Lewis, Cheech Marin, Fred Williamson, and Salma Hayek when she was
It's uber hot.
Top 10 women in the world.
Juliette Lewis, huge Scientologist.
She used to be married to a pro skater.
Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Luke
What pro
Rockhold?
skater?
Steve Barra, the guy that owns the barracks.
Is he a Scientologist?
That's a good question.
Did you know Luke Rockhold is an amazing skater?
I'm sorry, the fucking
UFC
the pretty
fighter.
UFC
Yeah.
fighter is a good skater.
Can skate pools without a helmet.
What?
Okay,
Yes.
shut the
I
fuck
have to
up.
see
Yes,
this.
I saw it on Instagram the other day. He's like shredding.
I have to see
It's
this.
crazy.
Is it Steve Barra? Is that his name?
Yeah, Steve Barra. Yeah,
Thank you.
Berra. Okay,
Yeah,
just making
got
sure.
it.
He shreds, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Like for me, if you could skate pools and like ollie over coping, you're a really good skater.
Oh yeah.
If you can skate a pool, you're a good skater. Period.
That's it. And he's like,
No?
he
I mean,
did,
I can pump around a pool. I can't get over the coping like
he did a
Kamara's.
method.
That's
like,
what I mean. If you can,
Yeah, wait, he did a grab in the
Yes,
air. Get the
yes.
fuck out of
It's
here.
crazy.
Luke fucking Rockhold.
And it says him. I'm like, he can't be that Luke Rockhold.
Okay, now I got to do some
Some
fucking
guys
research.
have
No
all
way.
the luck.
You know what? No, but he's a total moron. Like, yeah, he's hot. He's a great fighter. Glass chin. He can skate. That's great. But like to talk to, you should see him in interviews. It's
You can't have it all.
well, there you go. But you're like some guys.
Well, he has all the. I'd rather be dumber if I could be more successful.
Listen, would I rather be Luke Rockhold than me? 10 times out of 10.
Merci.
if I may,
Yeah.
prior to the launch of the Barracks website, Berra explained, Berra, B-E-R-R-A, the impact of Scientology upon his life. Well, it's just helped me as an individual.
Yeah, that makes sense,
Scientology has
see?
enabled me to really look at who I am and what I am doing and put myself in check if I get too crazed.
There you go.
Have you guys
Cancel.
had a chance to?
I haven't written a year down. No.
Excellent.
Oh, no.
I might
sorry,
play the
I
fucking
was
movie game song
in
again.
The rabbit hole.
So
this guy's pulling out
shocked.
carrots all over the place.
Well, all of a sudden, I'm like, well, holy shit. Then did they make the barracks? You know what I mean? Like, is that
Did
where all
Scientology
that money
pay
come
for it?
from? Is
No.
that, dude? What are you saying, Matt? You just say categorically no?
Dude, Eric Costin owns the other half. He's been sponsored by Nike for like 15 or 20 years. He's got tons of cash. Steve Barra was an actor also for a while. He
Simon,
has cash.
What are you suggesting?
Nothing.
That Scientology
No,
built
no,
a
go
skate
on.
park. That's his
I'm
weird
suggesting
conspiracy.
that they've like implanted themselves really slyly into like somewhere where I had no idea they were.
Huh.
And
Do you have a year ready for Dust Till Dawn?
no, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. Dusk Till Dawn. When would I have seen that?
I wish I could whistle that perfectly.
I'm just going to put
My
that.
life would be so
Kamar,
much better.
I'll take this home eventually, and I'll put the whistle on the buttons.
Yeah, my only concern is all those YouTube dollars we're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I got a year.
I have 98.
I have 94.
1996. Better luck next time, gentlemen.
Literally right in between us, Simon.
Yeah.
Oh, it always is. I don't know if you guys know that.
All right. Budget and a box office from Dusk Till Dawn.
This is one of the coolest, fun vampire movies there ever's been. And listeners, let us know what your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie is, and post your top 3 on the Instagram or on the Reddit. Starting to get the discussions going. Super cool. Let us know if I would love to hear anyone who listens to the show who's never seen Quentin Tarantino before. That'd be a weird thing. And if you haven't, there's so much you get to see. See what you like. I've never made it through the Hateful Eight, full disclosure.
Oh, wow. You don't know what you're missing.
I keep falling asleep.
Well, the end of the movie's terrific. Anyways, so you don't even know the twist, Kamar?
No.
Son of a bee.
Maybe I'll do that tonight. Maybe we'll get through tonight.
Go ahead, Simon.
I'm going to go with 45 mil to make. Kamar just gave away his hand. And 184 gross.
I have 41.9 and 126.4.
1996 it came out. The budget was $19 million.
Oh my God, damn it.
and it made $59.3 million.
Oh,
Sweet
wow.
Jesus.
We were so far off.
I think like 1990. This is just about the time that movies started getting crazy budgets.
Yeah, but I'm thinking
like
it had
Titanic.
Clint, Clooney, Keitel,
no,
Selma
hold on.
Hayek.
I have True Lies right here in 1994. It cost $92 million. I have Tin Cup, 1999. It cost $35 million. I have Blade here. Why? This is why I write them down, so that I can...
Well, I really enjoy you referencing this.
Yeah.
But the super movie, like 19 million is a lot of movies.
Yeah, but
A lot of
George
monies.
Clooney in 1996, is that like... That's peak George Clooney. That's post-ER George
But
Clooney.
It's not peak George Clooney, but it's there. He's
It's heartthrob, cover of Time
I
magazine.
think you have to see it.
but he's also
as-
doing From Dusk Till Dawn. So
I think you have to see it as some directors, actors want to work with more than they want to make the money and will believe in
Sure,
the project
fair, yeah.
more than
why? Who was the
paycheck.
director? of
Robert
this movie?
Rodriguez,
Oh, right. Okay.
who's a really good director.
And that's why Tarantino did it. I'm sure.
Well, he wrote the screenplay.
Tarantino wrote this.
And they're friends, I'm pretty sure.
That's what I mean. They're buds.
And that's the movie game brought to you by us.
We
Well,
stumped
I
that
think
one
like
up.
this wasn't mentioned, but I think John Travolta took points on Pulp Fiction, which turned out to be a really smart move
Why would he have?
because they couldn't pay him.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they had a ton of money. Again, he had only done Reservoir Dogs.
He
and-
was so happy to be on screen.
I wonder-
he didn't do
I wonder if he
Reservoir
sucks
Dogs. Do you
Tarantino's
mean
dick.
John Travolta? Who are you talking about?
I said John Travolta. Yeah,
He wasn't in Reservoir Dogs.
I said Quentin Tarantino had just done Reservoir
Oh,
Dogs.
I
It wasn't
see.
like he was
Gotcha,
getting
gotcha.
$400 million a movie where he could.
But I wonder if he like sends Tarantino a Christmas card every year.
Who knows?
Well, he literally resurrected his career.
Yeah.
I mean, Scientology probably would have done that anyways, but
Ooh, that's interesting. Tarantino's got to be involved in Scientology.
Let's keep in mind too,
Works with enough actors.
they never worked together again. And Tarantino clearly, I mean, he's worked with Leo twice.
actors like him and stuff. Yeah, that's a very interesting observation. Side note,
We got to be done here. We're an hour
we
and
gotta
40
be
minutes
done.
here. We got to
Holy
move on.
shit.
Yeah.
But there's going to be nothing about the next one.
he
so.
dated Sofia Coppola.
Weird.
That's such a weird thing. Did you meet Francis? What does he think of your movies? Quick,
Did you ever have lunch with Nick?
something. Just something like that. Like I said, the music. And Conan is from Texas. Would you ever have guessed that?
No.
Me
Probably
neither.
not.
Oh, Death Proof is made in Austin, which makes me want to go to Austin even more than I want to. And last but not least, this is just a random fact I should have done. Jim Norton used to open for Andrew Dice Clay on the road. And whenever they went to Dunkin' Donuts or something, Clay made Jim Norton go in the Dunkin' Donuts first and go, "You are about to experience greatness." And we were like, what the fuck? And then
Only at
Andrew Dice
Dunkin'
Clay walks
Donuts?
in. No, wherever they were.
Okay.
All the locations. A McDonald's, whatever it may
That's
be.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Good news, guys. Tarantino not a Scientologist. But interesting, L. Ron Hubbard did not want John Travolta to do Pulp Fiction.
L. Ron Hubbard did not want Travolta to do Pulp Fiction.
I guess he was still alive at that point.
Weird pull. Okay, can we rate this episode? We'll start with you, Simon.
I will give this episode a 4.1.
I was going to come in and give it a 4, but I guess I'm going to give it a 4.5.
4.5. And if they talked about a couple song choices, music, it's a slam dunk 5.
I mean, they did mention music. He mentioned picking songs, listening to his records, blah, blah, blah.
I find it interesting that in closing, we didn't talk about it. I found it very interesting that when they go to make a movie, you write down a list of like all the possible, and that's the only pool that you can then pull from. Like they'll run it down.
The songs?
No, the
the
actors.
actors.
Remember? Anyway. All right, we're going to pay a bill, take a break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Thank you to BetterHelp. Don't forget to go check them out. Kamar, can I get a name and a number?
1676, Jesse Griffith.
Can I get a color check over there?
It's red.
It's red. It's red. For listeners, if you're new, we're not great at covering these hunting ones. I will say this though, like we had a hunter on, what was it, last week or the week before, that we all agreed was a decent one. We all took some stuff away from it.
I think it was something to be with the bears had been constantly mentioned week after week after week, and it seemed like a overriding.
Yeah, and the bear grease or whatever it was.
There's no pig grease.
This episode was just like one of the worst 3 hours of my life. 2.5, whatever the fuck. It seemed like 9 hours.
It was 3 hours. First of all, how was it 3 hours?
I have no idea.
It's crazy. It's too. You know what?
And Simon made a good point. It's not even really a hunting podcast.
It was a cooking podcast.
Because he's a chef. But I mean, there was a lot of hunting in it.
A lot of boar hunting. And I mean boar.
Boring? Yeah.
Bore.
Boom! This guy's on fire.
Yeah. I mean, this episode
It was very pig-centric.
This was really bad. This was not my cup of tea.
Did you guys know that pigs have no problem eating rattlesnakes?
That was interesting. And that
Because-
he believes that was probably the only interesting thing in this, that they believe that rattlesnakes in Texas rattle less because of pigs. And that's all I got out of this episode.
I mean, that's an amazing fact.
if it's
is.
true, but he couldn't substantiate it. Keep that in mind.
There's a lot of things you can substantiate.
This was pure hearsay.
He only ate pigs. Everything that Joe asked him, he's like, have you ever eaten this? Nope, never tried that, but I do like pigs.
I was wondering why there isn't like a pork burger.
There is Harvey's.
There's no pork burger.
Harvey's is pretty much a pork burger.
No, but there is no pork burger, is
Okay,
what Kamar's
fine.
saying.
There's
There's a
chicken burgers, beef
Yeah.
burger.
There's hamburgers with bacon on it, but there is no pork burger. That's because not very good.
Do you guys like ribs?
Yeah, love ribs.
No.
You don't like ribs?
No. Too
No
much
way.
work.
Too much work.
Yeah.
What kind of
Bone.
ribs are you eating?
Oh,
That's
you got to
so
eat
much
around a
work.
bone? Get out of here.
It
Same with
falls
chicken.
right
If it falls off the bone, no,
Listen,
it's
same with
just-
chicken wings. I don't fuck with chicken wings.
You don't fuck with chicken wings.
No.
Ever?
Again, just what
You're
am I
a
doing
very
here?
lazy individual.
Sure.
Well, like, we're not talking like we're sending you out to work in the fucking coal mine. We're asking you to eat
They-
meat
I get
off
it.
a bone.
Ribs are messy and wings are messy. I would have said that you're sort of a clean freak.
Nope.
But if it's actually the physical task of eating it is too much for you, yeah.
Like when this guy, I'm the opposite of this guy. When this guy was like, yeah, I want to pluck all the feathers myself. That's like an extra form. I was like, everything you mentioned in this is insane to me. The driving an hour and a half to shoot doves, the shooting of the doves, the plucking of
Just
the doves.
the eating of the doves is odd, but it's just because we're used to doves being a peaceful bird, and really they're just pigeons.
Like that's why I would never go hunting. I'd love to go target shooting. I'll do that fucking once a week if you want, but like I just killed this thing and I'm at this euphoric high and now you want me to fucking cut this thing up right here?
I mean, the
And
only
then
way
trek
I'm
it back?
doing
Ugh.
that is if I'm living in the woods and I need it to eat. And then I'll do it gladly. I will hunt it, skin it, pluck it.
Well, what I drew from this is most of the thing that I think the authorities should look into it. There's some guy in Texas that jerks pigs off after they're dead.
That's gross.
I mean, he wasn't hurting me. That was my only thought there.
Why are they jerking pigs off after they're dead?
They
They
that
think it
helps
makes like
tenderize the
yeah.
meat or something.
Yeah. Well,
That-
tenderizes that part of the meat for sure.
Kelly, come on.
Dude, that guy just likes jerking off pigs.
Yeah,
and
that's
he
what-
no, dead
formulated
pigs,
dead
pigs.
pigs, and he formulated a whole fucking
Yeah.
fable around
If he's
it.
jerking off a live pig, whatever. That's the dolphin thing. If you jerked off a pig before he killed it, I think that's nice. You know, one last go. But to jerk off a dead pig is, I don't
You
know.
have a knife to its throat. Like
I don't know.
legend has it, if you use your mouth, it makes it tender.
Have you guys
more tender?
Have you guys ever used a sous vide?
I think I've eaten sous vide. I've never done it myself.
I've also eaten sous vide and never done it myself.
A friend of mine has one, and he cooked it out. It's very interesting, right? Because you put in the bag,
Yeah.
you can take a steak, a pork chop, whatever, have it cooking perfectly all day.
In water, which is very odd.
Well, yeah, and then you take it out, and then you can sear it in 5 seconds and have a perfectly cooked steak. It almost looks like a
The weird thing to me,
Cuisinart that you just stick on a little bucket.
the weird thing to
I've
me,
seen it
Okay.
before.
the weird thing to me is it's not very hard to bang out a well cooked steak on the barbecue or
This
Simon's
is way
pan
more
style.
tender. Way more tender.
I agree.
It's a totally different thing.
I get it, but it's not. I don't. Again, I just said all the stuff
Yeah,
I said.
I mean, you won't even
There's-
take the time to
Yeah,
eat
yeah,
meat
what are we
off
talking
a
about?
bone.
Yeah.
The
There
sous vide
is
was
no
made for you.
fucking way this guy's
yeah.
putting meat in a bag
Drop
and
in the
letting
water
it
and
boil
no,
all day.
drop in the water, walk away. It
It's
was
not
made
just
for you.
drop it in water.
That's
and walk
way
away.
too much. Listen,
So he's a crock pot guy.
the second you said boil water, that's way too much.
No, you
I'm
don't boil
also
the
with
water.
this. I'm also
you just
with
have to put
this.
the water there, and it does all the work.
I'm also with this guy though. I don't want to cook with plastic. Plain and simple.
Yeah,
There
I
is.
mean, I'm not into it, but I would eat it if somebody made it for me for sure. I have no problem with that. That's a lot of work.
But do you
that's
think
a
you
lot
would-
more work than eating ribs.
What, sous vide?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
man.
way more. Oh, I know. What are you, nuts?
I think in the vein, if you're preparing a bunch of food for people, that it's a great way to get perfect steaks. And
And
Sure,
if
listen,
you're
I
like out in the
not expensive.
wild, sous vide might come in handy, man, because you know you don't have a grill and shit.
we all agree there's nothing like
No.
cooking over a fire.
Yeah,
Oh, you got to
fire's-
start a fire. You can't.
Can't do
Yeah,
that.
no, I'm out. No, fire's the best.
There
for
is
sure.
something cooking, the crackle, and it seems like you're really resourceful. Using the elements and stuff to, I mean, even if it's hot dogs or steaks.
I mean,
or whatever.
listen, starting a fire with a lighter and then eating a piece of butchered meat that I didn't kill. Yeah, I feel like I've really done something there.
Really out there, the bushman. Stress makes meat taste bad.
Yeah, we knew that though.
Did we?
Yeah. Or I knew that anyways. Like you don't want an animal to, that's why you want to clean kill it. If you like shoot
dead.
it and then it runs around, it's
Gets all
like
tense,
super tense and
releases
stressed and the
bad
muscles
energy.
get all polluted with the blood or something. I don't know.
I was just trying to have some filler to
Yeah, I'm
carry
sorry,
this through.
but I did
I was
know
just
that.
going to say, all right, well, let's rate it.
Did you know that stress made meat taste bad?
I didn't care about anything in this episode. There was nothing other than the things we've mentioned that piqued my, nothing.
Have you ever had the pig buried in the sand at a luau?
No.
No,
I
have had pig on a spit.
I have too, and it's amazing.
Incredible.
Especially the head when it gets all crunchy and crispy.
Yeah, it's good. I'm a fan of like bacon. I'm a fan of ribs. I'm a
Listen,
fan
pulled pork
of
is fucking great.
Pulled pork.
What I didn't know, I eat this all the time. And I'm sure I don't eat it like classic. I'm sure I don't eat it the way they would get it in Texas, but I didn't know barbacoa was like tongue and anus and like all sorts of.
I don't think that's what we're getting when we.
That's what
order
I said,
barbacoa.
obviously.
And if we are, I'm never ordering.
And
that
the old
again.
guys show up early to get the eyes.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah.
But I guess that makes sense. There's only two eyes. It's like the testicles. They're very valuable
Yeah.
parts of the animal.
Prairie oysters.
Prairie oysters. Yeah.
Honestly, folks, this episode was really. just-
Remember the movie The Great Outdoors?
Yes.
With John Candy and Dan Aykroyd.
One of my favorite scenes. I've
And,
referenced
yeah,
on this before.
They eat the sheep balls or whatever.
No, but when the shotgun blows the bear's ass fur off,
Yeah.
and he's got big butt.
Well, when they're hunting the bat, that's also a very iconic scene.
you want to do another movie game to try to
No.
supplement this one?
John Candy.
Yeah, that's all I
yeah,
got.
maybe we should. The last one was such a disaster.
Have you seen The Great Outdoors?
Yeah. When I was.
We got nothing else to do, man.
Okay, then you fucking do the movie game.
Yes.
Get a pen and a pad of paper.
Fantastic.
Good.
I'll just write down.
I like it.
Oh.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon to rack the brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
All right, you're getting the old
actually-
two for folks. You're getting the old two for this time.
Matt, take her away.
Yeah, I'm taking it away this time. So we're doing a second movie game. This time it's going to be Simon v. Kamar because they're both old. And the movie, the film is The Great Outdoors, starring John Candy. Is it Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
it doesn't say Dan Aykroyd.
Rest in
anywhere
peace,
here.
John Candy.
Weird, yeah, rest in peace, John.
Is it not? They're the two main characters. They're like
Well, it says Dan Aykroyd on the poster, and he's on the poster, but when you're reading the synopsis here, anyway, none of the other people you'll know, so it doesn't matter. No point in saying their names. Do you guys have a year ready?
I do.
I do.
What year?
1992.
1984.
It is 1988. Oh, literally in between.
You guys make it look so easy.
Yeah, do we? Exactly. You guys were right in between. All right, so now you guys are going to need to pull the budget and the box office for me.
What was the year? I'm sorry, 1988.
88. Yes.
88.
June 17th, 1988.
It's a Gemini.
U.S. release. It's a
Oh
Gemini.
my God. He is his mother's son.
He is, yes.
Okay, well, what makes it a little different? But
That in my head it makes it different, but I'm just gonna die on the sword that I wrote down.
okay, go ahead, Kamar.
I said it costs $20 million to make and made $60 million.
And I said it cost $28 million to make, and it made $79 million.
This is crazy. The budget is literally right in between both of you. The budget was $24 million, and the box office was $43.4. So it didn't even double its money. Not terrible return, though. Made some money.
Wow, you guys make it look so easy. It's very hard. And the pressure of being up here. I applaud you guys.
All right, there you go.
Fucking hilarious.
That's
Okay,
it.
now let's rate the episode because I can't. Let's just act like this didn't happen. We'll just rate it and we'll move on.
I feel terrible because here's
This guy was a nice guy.
Here's this guy.
Nice guy.
Super
Salt of the earth. Salt of the
Nicest
earth.
guy.
Heart of
Great
gold.
guy.
Really good guy.
Great guy. I rate him a
So
5.
good. So good.
I rate this guy a 5.
This episode was fucking trash. It was a fucking pig fire spit roast.
We've got to get in touch with Steve Ranella and say, cut it out, bud.
Yeah, enough.
Keep them on your cast.
There you go.
Yeah, I give this episode a 0.5. This guy's great, though. Such a nice
Yeah,
guy.
I bet
he's
he's
a
a
wonderful
great cook.
human being.
Bet he's a
Probably a
great
great cook.
But yeah, this episode sucked. I want to give it even less than a 0.5, a 0.43.
Well, 0.5 is the lowest on my scale, so
I'll give it a 1.5. The one thing I admitted is that what he does is puts together a thing where you go out, you hunt, you eat. I would like to do that. Like, what he's set up is a cool idea.
I'm sure we can find
full
you that
experience.
somewhere in Ontario. Come on.
Absolutely. I didn't have to hear this podcast, but him saying that exists is planting the seed.
When's your birthday?
Seek that out. I don't.
Did you listen to this and then go and try and hunt squirrels?
No, this is before this happened.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Matrix moment.
Serendipity.
Kamara's like, I'm just going to eat this squirrel. It's all right that I shoot it.
All right, let's move on.
Make a little pair of mittens.
1677.
Tim Dillon.
Timothy Dillon.
I should roll a joint. I
It's
should roll and smoke a
It's
joint.
amazing for me to remember when Tim Dillon was a guest on LOS, Legion Skanks. Like, I can still remember him once in a while being on there, just talking about comedy. They talk about Rogan as a goal to be and bigger comics. And now that he's arrived, I'm so happy that he's had the episodes he's had to be comfortable to come out the way he did in this. Because this was, if it was his first time on, I don't know if he'd had the guts to push back against Joe the way he did.
Okay, well, tell us all the times he pushed back so we can discuss them.
Well, first of all, do you guys drink coffee?
I don't.
I don't either.
I do drink coffee.
I've never had a full cup
don't
of
feel like
coffee
I'm
in my
addicted.
life. I'm addicted to caffeine, though.
Me
Coca-Cola.
too, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I have a
Form of Red Bull.
Coca-Cola
Red
issue.
Bull, yeah. I would love to stop drinking Red Bull, but I'm tired all the time.
Oh, my God. I literally, it's fucking staggering. I would love to stop drinking Coke. I'm getting fat from all the sugar, and it's really bumming
But
me
I
out.
should be
can drink
drinking,
Coke Zero.
if nothing else, I should be drinking the sugar-free Red Bull. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
What am I even doing?
Yeah.
Because that stuff
I don't care
sucks.
about the sugar.
It tastes so different. It's gross.
Does it?
Yeah.
No,
Okay, well, I'm going to give it a shot.
It's such a small can.
This
get
stuff
it
tastes
down.
pretty shitty anyways, so it's
cough
like,
syrup, cold cough syrup.
I made myself like it. But I'm
Red
going
Bull's
to
like drinking piss and batteries.
I'm going to tell you guys something right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a guy.
Do you have a Red Bull in there?
Yeah.
Can I have one?
Yeah. I'm a guy who has an addictive personality.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Like, I'm willing to take that on myself. Mm-hmm. Okay. But believe me when I tell you this, Red Bull has something in it that's addictive. Like
Yeah, caffeine.
No, the same way nicotine is
Taurine.
addictive. Taurine must be very addictive.
Well, sugar's addictive too. Everything in it's addictive.
It's a different. You're not listening to me.
People always ask me growing up why I never did any other drugs. I have like the most addictive personality.
That's exactly what Tim said
Yeah.
when it started off. But you guys never had a coffee phase?
I've never drank a full. Okay, hold on.
That's
you know what
hard.
happened last time?
That hurts. No, water bottle's way easier to throw.
What?
A nice spiral.
Yeah.
Live action.
Well,
Coffee.
I've never had a cup of coffee in my life.
And you've never were a coffee drinker, Simon?
Kamar, I was the type where like hungover, I would drink a Coke in the morning. Like, but you know what I mean? Like that's how much. No, I just meant it was
It's the
my.
same. It's the same thing, just a different delivery system.
That's why I'm saying to you is I'm not sitting here like, oh, I never had a coffee. I was gross with Coke.
I drink tea in the morning, but I'm with Matt. I've never I couldn't drink a whole cup of coffee, and like Jesse has like tried to make me drink like, you know, espressos and cappuccinos, and I've tried like, what's the one where you mix the chocolate in? Mocha.
Mochaccino.
It doesn't work for me.
Tea in the morning will almost always make me nauseous.
Nauseous.
I don't know if it's the caffeine, but on an empty stomach, if I drink a full tea, oh my God.
But a Coke, no problem.
And you
Maybe
drink-
it's my body is just like, we know this. We are well aware of this.
This seems like it's too good for you in some way, and I'm going to reject.
It's almost like tea is like putting diesel in a non-diesel car.
But also putting the tea bag in the cup. That's way
Too much
too
work.
much work
Oh
for
my God,
you.
what are we
man.
doing here? Yeah, like I
We've got
can't
a
be
theme.
bothered. Yeah.
You drink your black tea with a little bit of milk and sugar.
Correct.
No, black
You don't drink it, though.
tea. I just don't drink it
That's
in
why
the
it's
morning.
making you sick.
Why?
Because you're drinking it just pure like that.
A lot of tannins.
So what do you think the milk and the sugar are gonna help?
Do you ever fuck
I
with the
think it
herbal tea?
calms it down.
Chamomile.
No, it's
mint
usually just
tea.
Earl Grey.
Anyways, doesn't matter.
I love a good tea.
Oh, I love a
Rubios.
good tea. I think that's the British influence.
Proper.
Yeah.
Ditto. I like
tough
coffee.
it's tough for me to say no to a good tea.
Smoking is too easy to do. Of all the ways you can abuse yourself, I think that was true what he said. Like, you can't do cocaine in front of your friends or whatever, or opioids or anything. Smoking is just too easy and should be illegal. Or, I don't know. I sound like a...
It is very
hard liberal.
it is very easy to give up. Like if you're I was talking to somebody about this the other day. If you're a heroin addict and you decide you want to do heroin, it's probably going to take you like an hour-ish at least to procure, you know, that gives you a lot of time to like think about what you're doing. If you want to get a pack of cigarettes, like if I decide right now that I'm quitting, I'm smoking again, I have a cigarette in my mouth in 3 minutes.
It's just
4
too
minutes.
damn easy. And that's why Tim has relapsed.
I mean, keep in mind, we've done everything. Like, so for our American listeners in our country, cigarette packs now don't have anything on them, do they? It's just the warning.
Giant warning, and they have to be behind.
Okay, so the cigarette.
cover.
I was just gonna say, when you go into a store, you can't see cigarettes anywhere. They're not visible. They're behind like a non-see-through flap there's no branding on the cigarette itself. Zero branding on the cigarette.
Same as weed. It's all that same fucking.
Yeah, but I mean, we roll joints, so who gives a fuck? But I'm just saying, it's very it's different here than it is. Same. Australia did the same thing. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, they're very expensive there as well. Highly taxed.
But they also
Which
have the
is-
warnings all over them and the no.
But the high tax, all that has to be put towards all the people are going to die of emphysema coming down the road.
Well, they do that because we get public health.
That's what I was gonna say. We have no choice but to do
go
that.
and
Yeah.
pay for.
Or you have to put your down
Well,
payment.
no,
on
but
your-
this is what I mean.
Yeah.
That's how that works. It's different in different places because they don't have free health care.
And Kamar, I know what you're like. The problem with cigarettes is this: is if early on the advertising of cigarettes hadn't been so prevalent, it wouldn't be as big a problem now. Because I don't think we need to outlaw cigarettes. I think I'll say this: like, I had a cigarette the other day with you. You didn't have one. I had one.
I did have one.
Oh, you did have one. Okay,
I have a cigarette every now and again.
that's fine.
I'm not-
I just didn't want to throw you. I didn't think you
No,
had
no,
one.
but I don't go running out to the store to buy a pack of cigarettes. Like
My point is, Kamar, 15 years ago, if I wanted a cigarette, they were very accessible. Everyone I knew around me had them.
and cheap.
And cheap, sure. Now, like, it's not, you don't find a lot of people smoking, I find. Maybe it's because I'm not at bars so much.
I just think now with marijuana, CBDs, there could be so many more alternatives.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you can smoke weed legally, why would you smoke cigarettes? It's crazy to me.
Well, the psychoactive effects.
because you're
obviously.
addicted to it and you're not
understand,
getting
but-
high. It's just a stress reliever. Like I can think of lots of reasons.
What I'm saying, though, is if you wanted to quit smoking cigarettes, now that weed's legal, I don't think it's that hard.
Well, even more than that with the Juul. Like that changes the whole fucking game.
Yeah, but you're still taking a nicotine. So I think if you really wanted to get nicotine out of your life and cigarettes in general, I think
just somehow to make it more difficult. It's just the easiest thing I think to do.
cigarettes, yeah. I mean, booze, I think, is easier.
Oh, you can go to the cigarette store or
I mean,
convenience store
listen, you're right.
24 hours a day.
Sure, okay. But in the States, you can get booze, I'm pretty sure, 24 hours a day at a convenience store.
They're both very easy. Everything else, because they're legal. Like, this is a no-brainer.
Booze, if you go to work drunk, you're going to lose your job. If you smoke at work, you're not going to lose your job.
No,
It
you're
just-
probably right, yeah.
It's the easiest, socially acceptable way to harm yourself.
I mean, I think, again, too, where you live, when I lived in Vancouver, there's nothing socially acceptable about smoking.
No. Though I think the West Coast, California, all those are non-smoking.
Like, I remember my first week in Vancouver, I was walking on the street smoking a cigarette, and this woman with her carriage, like pushing her kid in a carriage, walked across the street and was like, like making a big scene about. I was like, lady, what are we doing here?
But you're old enough to remember when bars we
course.
smoked in.
Dude, I remember my
It's
first.
kinda cool.
I remember my first time at Babylon. Walk in, it was like filled with smoke. Natalie was behind the bar, pouring beer with a cigarette dangling from her mouth. Like it was.
My kind of bar. It may. I think Joe has to have some more sensitivity when they're just throwing around Range Rover and Escalade, the brand new like.
We're struggling, Joe. Half the country's fucking homeless.
It just was it used at least? Like, no, I really look forward to when I get a private jet to get in a like. It's just what am I going to do? That's the life he's living.
I love when I take my car and load it onto my private jet and then fly it to a different city just to know what it's like to drive my Mustang in, like enough.
He may be, unfortunately, becoming unrelatable.
We were just talking about this on the ride over here. Like,
Old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be.
I don't know if it was.
We've got to get better, or else we're just going to lose touch with him.
I don't know if it was the switch to Spotify, but especially in this episode, I just kept saying, no, Joe, sit down and let the adults talk, because he wants to chime in on everything and he gives his same old take and it's just fucking boring. But let's get there because I want to fucking call him out on a bunch of shit.
Yes,
So Joe or
oh yeah,
Kamar?
no,
Joe.
Oh, okay.
Joe.
Couple things.
But maybe Kamar too. You never know.
The K-pop fan that transitioned into Korean.
That was one of the most obscene things I've ever seen.
Mental illness. Like that's all that can be said. There's no accepting this or like, oh, we've come so far. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's where I feel like we've stepped back. Where 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, that person would have been deadpan, just like you need some issue. You have some issues that you want to work out.
Here's a subscription to BetterHelp.
It wasn't like here's 1 million subscribers to your TikTok, and it's fucking crazy. It's absolutely obscene. There should be no eyes on these people. None. This shouldn't be something that we're celebrating.
I think that should be offensive. That's like someone getting blackface surgery.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it isn't. I mean, okay, obviously mental illness, so it'd be horrible for the whole world to pile on this person, but...
No, but I'm not saying we need to pile on. Like what I just said.
I don't know what the alternative is. Send them help or whatever, but there should be just a general concern for this person and their mental health. Of course, Rachel Dolezal was completely supportive.
Obviously.
That's just great.
But I mean, again, we said this like 2 years ago, like this is the slippery slope you go down. I said this about the compos. You end up with this, like when you're trying to fight your fight, then someone comes along and is like, well, you can't fight for that unless you're fighting for this. Cause you know what I mean? And then you just,
Also,
next thing you know,
the people who fight the most have the most fucking dirt.
well, that's
skeletons in
usually,
the closet
the
also
other
seems-
case. Yeah.
Doth protest too much.
I'm an alien. I admit it.
Wow.
We would just move on anyway.
Slow on the draw.
No.
Transition.
Go on.
You identify as an
Well,
alien.
couldn't I? I mean,
Get some surgery, get some antennas.
Do you not
Change
remember
your
the
eyes?
do you
South?
not think that'll be a thing if like aliens been proved to be true? There will be people who want to become that race.
Do you not remember the South Park episode where Randy wants to become a dolphin? Oh no, it's not Randy. It's Stan's dad, the Jew.
I don't watch South Park very much.
You really need to. He goes and has dolphoplasty or something. He has like a dorsal fin. It's fucking unreal.
Then Tim talked about the lesbian festival where they all like to go to the woods and hooked up, and people with penises are like, "What the fuck? I'm a woman just because of a penis." I think that's the positive discrimination we were talking about. Like, lines need to be drawn. What I think the problem is, it's easier to say whatever to all these things than to push back, especially like publicly or whatever, because you're going to bring on more hate. You're a Nazi, you're a Trump supporter, whatever, if you try to criticize some of these woke things, which is, it's a weird position just to accept it, even though you disagree with it, and then these things keep happening.
It is true though. Listen, without it, no matter what your viewpoint is, you're afraid to voice it.
I mean, to what gain? Like, you're not going to actually make change.
No. This is what I mean. You're only harming yourself. So why would you?
And then let this go down the road.
But I see what you're saying. Even though you disagree, You can't say anything.
Just you just say whatever, and this how it happens.
And then that's how culture shifts.
Now, I think if there's a thing Joe said that might get picked up on, he said this woke ideology coming from universities is infecting society. That seems like pretty big in fighting words, right?
Okay.
We'll see. That's my call for the week coming up.
That was the part that made you go, "Oh, Joe."
Pause. Just the actual term saying infecting.
Okay.
Like all these people are infecting.
He's
like a
always
virus.
talked mad shit about the left universities.
Let's keep in mind, too, that, there's a good chance that in 50 years we're going to sound, if someone ever listened back to this, that we're going to sound like...
Neanderthals?
No, like those racists from the 50s or 40s that even progressives, if you go back far enough, were like dropping the N-bomb because it was just like socially acceptable. And it wasn't, you can't see the future ahead of you. There's a good chance that even us being saying this person's mentally ill, right? There's a chance that 50 years from now, it'll be like, can you believe these bigots were saying that?
I may be mentally ill, first of all, but yes, I hope that. And there's a record of my position before everything went to shit.
But again, my point is, Kamar, is everyone thinks everything's always going to shit. Every generation has said that forever. There's never been a generation that's looked at the generation after them and been like, nope, I think they're getting it right. It's always the same thing.
Well, there was that guy on Lex Friedman who said in 100 years we'll destroy ourselves. The probability of it.
Listen, the problem is the fucking ocean's on fire again. So we're definitely going to destroy ourselves.
That was a little weird. Eh?
We all think we're different. We all say, oh no, right? Our generation is the generation that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, and then we all get old. And
yeah, it's just everybody thinks everybody else sucks.
But mental illness goes both ways. When Tim Dillon is talking about sitting in a Bentley with the woman and her is going, oh, we're in a fascist society now. Because she was complaining about Trump. And she was able to see herself as a victim. Because Trump got elected. Which is, I think that's mental illness on the other end. When you're owning a Bentley and you are a TV executive.
She didn't own a Bentley. She was the
She rented the
secretary.
Bentley?
They were anyways, maybe I'm mistaking the story.
Either way, Kamar, there's people on the other side too, like his aunt, who's Trump is still president, still has his the keys
mental
to
illness is everywhere.
Yeah, it's not.
Now, the only reason I'm suspect of January 6th is because they are still talking about it. They could easily have their inquests and do everything, and it comes out that they convict Trump, but it doesn't have to be covered every day in the news. That's what makes me go, when's the change? With the possible, we know there's agent provocateurs. We know this happens.
Oh, we know it happens, so we know it's...
But there's 200,000 people there. All you need is 500 people who are doing stuff, and the rest are just going along with it. It's not an organized thing.
Sure, we did this, but the other side of the coin, too, is it could have just happened just as easily.
The other thing is it could have been both.
But even then, Kamar, like he said, if cops are letting people in at that point, it's not a very hard thing for these guys to
Well, it depends if they are just mega guys you think they're helping the cause, or they are instructed to. Because it just, some of it points to powers that be wanting to make Trump look bad.
This is my whole thing, though. When you hear Trump is the president and the government did this to make Trump look bad, I'm confused.
It's just like the government possibly staged an attack so they could go to war with another country.
Okay,
You're talking about 9/11?
I'm okay.
We're getting there.
With you thinking that somebody planned that or helped it in some way.
Didn't stop it or do the right steps to control it.
Sure. What's your problem with that?
I just think it's more likely than not that there were just fucking a bunch of riled up fucking Trump supporters that didn't need a lot. I don't think they needed a lot of agent provocateurs down there. That's my point. These people were riled up and the president then said, march down there and show these people what's what.
Do you think this was set up by, you don't think it was set up by Trump?
Trump wanted them to attack the Capitol so he might go to jail? No, I don't think so.
You think it was set up by the left?
let happen by the left, possibly. I couldn't say what the powers be, but they know the FBI, the CIA are reporting now. We knew this was going to happen.
So I'm confused, though. The CIA and the FBI are left-leaning organizations. Is that where we're at now?
Well, they were anti-Trump organizations. For the
Okay,
last
that's
4
fine.
years.
But
They're not necessarily left. We just, to Kamar's point, anti-Trump has become left, right? Because he's right, but he's not even right.
He's left.
He's just Trump.
He's just an asshole. And we've gone from the Arab Spring, where everyone was rah, 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 overthrow your government.
Okay.
Over there. Then that changed to ISIS, to now it's domestic terrorism. Have you noticed that transition?
Okay.
Right? Before ISIS, it was all Egypt and everything, the Arab Spring covering it. We're so excited.
what are we talking about? It's all. What do you
Yeah,
mean right now?
where are we going here?
Are you talking about the media? Like, what are we talking
The
about?
Middle East isn't a narrative anymore. The narrative is now domestic terrorism in America. It's the biggest threat to America.
Okay.
It's
Don't you
actually aliens, I think, but we'll get there.
But that's not in the news. I'm just saying the boogeyman was the governments that the people in the Arab countries were fighting against.
Yeah.
Then all that switched to ISIS. Trump's administration got rid of ISIS. They're out of Afghanistan, and now they're fearful of their own country.
But ISIS
This is a narrative.
but ISIS has, or the Taliban has retaken Afghanistan this week.
Yeah. What the news is telling you is a decided narrative by the CIA, by big corporations. We sort of agree on that. They're not actually telling the truth.
Who is I'm just, you say they're still talking about January 6th.
No, they've moved past January 6th. Anyone involved with that is trying to destroy their country. You didn't hear about the report? It was just the other day of like a militia of men they pulled over and then they ran in the woods with all their guns.
No, they were on the I-95. They took over a chunk of the I-95 in Massachusetts yesterday,
It's
wasn't it?
crazy.
It was an armed militia within the U.S.
Now, they may have
They had
been
a
going to
standoff with
overthrow
the
a
cops.
country, or they were just going to do target practice. I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to defend them. But the enemy now is Americans of America.
Well, I
In the
mean,
news.
Kamar, you got to understand that, like, if you have people within your country that are taking up parts of the highway armed, having standoffs with the cops, that's not something that you can have, right?
That's law enforcement can take care of that. But one side of the news is painting half their country as our biggest enemy, where before it was ISIS or the Taliban.
But how is it half the country? I'm curious.
Well, half the country voted for Trump.
So you're saying that you're saying that the news is saying that anyone that voted for Trump is a domestic terrorist.
MSNBC, CNN, NBC, all them, yes. That's what they say.
That everyone who
You have
voted
to-
for
you have
Trump
to
is a domestic
Fear
terrorist.
your neighbor. They're the biggest threat to us. It's
You know,
true. It's true.
I haven't
it's
been
true.
paying enough attention to.
This is the thing: is you hate. This is what I don't get, and I've said this time and time again. You hate these news corporations, but you tend to watch them a lot.
What are they saying? And what do they all agree on? And then based on that, what is the actual truth?
But how does that help you?
I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying: is you watch this news, it infuriates you. You feel like they're lying to you. You don't have to watch it.
Well, you know they've come out and said that like someone like Rachel Maddow cannot be considered news.
I don't, because I don't watch the news.
Well, I watch Jimmy Dore, and he watches the news.
Okay.
And she makes like $40 million a year, and people believe her and make decisions and vote based on stuff that entertainment is telling them. It's just tragic.
Rachel Maddow only makes $40,000 a year.
40 billion.
$40,000 an episode.
Oh, okay. Thanks. There you go.
40 grand a year. She's just out there struggling.
It's like, then she would be telling the truth.
We interestingly found out why Joe went to Spotify.
Because he was afraid of.
No, he
YouTube?
was being actively demonetized by YouTube. And like they never talked about this on the episode or when we were listening, to my memory, saying, oh, that got demonetized or whatever. This was all going behind the scenes. Jamie was saying that video just got demonetized. So maybe he wasn't making as much money as we thought.
Here's the weird thing that I don't fucking understand is someone like Joe Rogan, he's the perfect example. He has enough clout and money and people he knows with money. Why can't they create an alternative to YouTube?
I think it's just the ultimate gamble. That's what David Dobrik was going to do. And then I'm sure he fucked it up. But if a conspiracy theorist would say someone who didn't want you to leave their platform because you're such a big creator to do your own thing, well, guess what? You're going to get canceled.
Because like if Trump starts it can't be him, right? Like, but I'm saying Joe Rogan's the perfect. Go ahead, Simon.
I was just going to say a sharing platform for the people.
Yeah. Now again, you still have copyright, and I mean copyright's a whole other issue. But you know what I will say?
You're
is,
still going to get sued if you put that.
Yeah.
So.
What I will say is this. This is very interesting. This is kind of off topic, but it has to do with the copyrights and stuff. KSI came out this week and was like, no one is ever going to get a copyright strike from me ever again. Never, ever.
He will let anyone. Well, of course.
He was like, if you're on YouTube, I don't care what platform you're on, use my shit. He's like, I'm done with this. There's enough for all of us to eat. This is crazy.
That's a scarcity mentality.
Yes. He was like, you can all go nuts. And then Jake Paul responded, I actually really agree with this. I like this. I'm going to start doing this. Everyone should do this. We don't need the starving mentality, which... Of course, KSI then responded, "Shut up, you dumb cunt." Which was
they're trying to get a fight down.
I know they are, but my point is I think this. I would like to see that from more people moving forward because it is like when you see that dude riding the longboard drinking cranberry juice, and you hear that their sales went up 6,000% for the next 3 weeks.
It only did well for Fleetwood Mac.
That's what I'm saying on a song that's 40 years old. Like, why would you not let people?
You know what? That would be like the irony, the sweet irony if like these Facebook, TikTok, internet stars somehow use that to like shift to a platform where fucking they weren't controlled by.
The thing is, that's two different
these
discussions.
hidden faces,
I get it.
You know?
Copyright strike is one thing.
I get it. Yeah.
YouTube demonetizing is a indirect censorship.
I understand.
If we were doing this and making money on YouTube,
Yeah.
and we found out every time we said this, we made no money, we would stop saying it. I think. I don't think we would.
I guess it depended on what it was.
I don't know.
If it was something stupid and it didn't affect like our viewpoints, then we would figure out a way around it. And if it was like something that you believed in, I guess you would just keep getting demonetized.
The weird thing for me is that like none of these, very few of these people rely solely on YouTube. So like, I get it. If you're getting the occasional fucking video pulled, that obviously sucks, especially if it's getting millions of views, but you have a podcast, you have fucking this, that, the next, they all have sponsorships. Like, I don't know. It seems.
Just saying, Joe sort of said this. I think this was the straw that broke his back.
I get it.
If he wasn't getting demonetized, he maybe would have stayed.
But censorship is a weird one for me because you're not actually being censored. Unless the video gets...
It's indirect
I get it, but hold on. But
or self-censorship.
Well, I mean, again, it is and it isn't, because if they can legitimately say sponsors don't want to work with anyone mentioning these hot, you know...
That's an interesting point, except this week I saw an LG fridge commercial.
Yeah.
And it had a ODB song. And him actually singing.
Yeah.
So I guess after a while you can have a crack at it. Like, it's just...
I understand what you're saying, but I mean that, you know...
I believe the products will go to wherever the eyeballs are. More so than what the right side to look on is. I think. I don't know, though.
I mean, listen, you'd think with advertising, just money talks. I'm with you. You
Eyeballs,
wouldn't think they would.
eyeballs,
you wouldn't think they
eyeballs.
would give a shit about what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, I mean, look at podcasts, right?
Let's keep in mind too, we don't know how Google's a piece of shit company. There's a good chance that when they demonetize you, there's still ads running on your video and they're collecting the money.
Probably. They're a total piece of shit.
That's more likely.
No, he said that again in this.
That's more likely the scenario.
The band, when he decided to leave Spotify, demonetized episodes, all of a sudden got monetized, and they tried to make as much money as they could before he walked out the door.
So it shows you that it ain't
what I'm
shit.
saying, yeah.
Man. It's all a joke.
It really came out, and I guess it's like integrity versus money.
But that's
It's just a weird, but I want to say this real quick. It's a weird, because I keep hearing this word censorship about all these fucking companies, and it seems weird to me because the radio and television were never free. You never got like, you might have felt like you were getting the real deal or the news or whatever, but it was all paid for by ads. It was always bought and sold. There was no free anything. Maybe for a small period of time, you could argue there was at the beginning of television, but like it went away super quick. And I find that most of these platforms are run by massive corporations that are run on tons of money. And whenever, this is the problem too, whenever you have let's say right now, the three of us thought up the alternative to YouTube. And let's say by this time next year, we had 1 trillion views. What do you think would happen? Google would obviously come to us and they'd say, we're going to give you guys $6 billion.
And we'd sell
And the
out
three,
so fast
and the three
that it
of
would
us,
make your head
the three of us would
spin.
just be like, by my math, that's $2 billion each,
I would
and
be the
I'm
fucking
out of
Kool-Aid
here.
guy through
Yeah,
the wall.
dude, listen. I'd love to think that I wouldn't. I would. They would throw so much money at me that, without a doubt, right away, I would take that money.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
And that's what it throws the whole like if
But say there was UBI and we didn't have to worry about money, maybe you could keep your integrity. I don't know.
but it's a public it's that argument, right? Like this is a private farm. Right? That's why you need a public forum, because the self-censorship, like Joe said, will always exist and they'll always have this control. And not only is it control, it's the sneakiest kind of control, because nobody's saying why they're not saying the thing.
Like I said, though, if you're being demonetized, to me, that's not quite censorship.
No,
It's if they're taking...
It's
isn't-
the self-censorship.
It's
It's what Joe was saying.
Yeah,
You
I
are
understand.
going to
It's a shove.
self-censor yourself
fair to call it
because
censorship.
you want to make money. It's the same thing. They're strong-arming you.
It isn't,
They're-
though, because you could... Listen, if you're really out there just for truth and money has nothing to do... But hear me out, Simon.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would argue, listen, if you really
But-
just want to get the truth out there, it shouldn't even be about money.
But
right?
nobody is. The point is, Matt, like let's say you're a truther, okay? And you think it's your job in the world to tell the truth. You're still a human being who has to make money.
Yeah.
And unless you were trying to monetize what you're doing, you're probably like a fucking dum-dum. You know what I mean? Everybody is trying to do that. It doesn't make you a sellout. It
I
makes
understand,
you
but hear me out. Like, Joe is a perfect example of, like, we even know that he's probably censored himself on Spotify. So I don't think that's gone.
Well, according to his words that we heard in this, no. He said everything's changed. since
We've
they come
each
here.
called him on it probably twice at least since he moved there.
Oh,
But I don't-
speaking of, okay, go ahead.
I don't think he didn't ask Ethan Suplee about Scientology because he was afraid he was going to get taken
No,
down
agreed.
or censored.
No, I agree. I
He
think
just
that was
didn't
like
wanna make it uncomfortable
I understand that.
environment.
I'm not saying
That's
that.
different.
That's different. I totally agree. I'm not talking about that at
How
all.
often is Spotify stopping him? And how often are we running into a situation just like this? And just humor me
Well,
for a second.
okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say they can't. I mean, first of all, they can't take money away from him, right? So all they could do is say we're going to pull this episode.
You can
or-
go back to
that's
YouTube.
the only choice right there. They can't say like we're going to demonetize you because the checks are rolling in.
I kind of get the
The
feeling.
bag has been got.
I kind of get the feeling too that Joe got stocks or part of Spotify in the deal. You
These
know what I
companies
mean?
almost always give you stocks.
So
that's
I think
almost
it's
always
in his
how
best
it rolls.
interest to just have the whole thing run smoothly. And if his thing is causing friction, then it's probably, you know what I mean? He's a team player. Well, who knows? Anyways, I was thinking about this though. So Joe has Christopher Mellon on, right? Mm-hmm. And they fail to talk. You guys remember Christopher Mellon? He was the guy
Yeah.
who worked for To the Stars Academy, and they failed to mention that he worked to the Stars Academy. Because I've really started, I mean, I've been saying this for a long time, but this idea that both him and Luis Elizondo were both guys who worked for the U.S. government who were working, what's his name? Tom DeLonge. That would make sense then if he was to come on Rogan and they really were government assets. There would be things that they just weren't allowed to talk about or weren't able to talk about.
Well, I
or-
felt Mellon self-censored.
But
during
that's
that
not
episode sort of
Spotify
thing.
censoring.
No, again, I'm giving you another reason why they could be censoring, you know?
Talking points approved or not approved.
Again, it could be coming from multiple different directions telling Joe what he can and can't
But that
ask.
censorship at two could that censorship as well could be like not Chris Kyle. Who was his name? Luttrell. You know what I mean? Just getting
Sprewell?
drunk. No, the sniper or the guy alone in Afghanistan. What the fuck was his name? Lone survivor.
Chris Kyle.
No, not Chris
no.
Kyle. Luttrell.
Marcus
Luttrell.
Marcus Luttrell. Sorry,
That's what I said.
sorry.
He, him
Two
getting
bags in a boat, don't make a vote.
him getting drunk and then going to the bathroom and maybe his wife pulling him aside or him deciding, you know what, I've probably said too much myself, like That's
Oh,
not.
how that just ended. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like,
very
I don't think that
interesting.
was Spotify or censorship either. I think that was just self-censorship in the way, like, I probably just should stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
It just, like I said at the very beginning, Tim Dillon has become an entity that Joe talks to him, not talks down to him, and he doesn't, you know what I mean? So this stuff comes out. I was thinking that I bet you Tim and Meghan McCain are more similar than they think. You know, she's leaving The View. He's like, I'd love to interview her, but she hates him. But I bet you that, you know what I mean?
And
I bet
Joe
you they
was
more.
like,
They're odd couple, like best of
I'll
friends at the
set
end.
that up so you can dress up like Meghan McCain and interview
Well,
her.
I don't think she'd go for that, but I
That would be a great
even
talk
though he
show.
made fun of her, I bet you they're way more similar than different.
Imagine it was called the Meghan McCain's talk show, and it was him dressed up, and she just played along. It was the two of them.
They could, like, sit like it was a mirror.
That would be great, giving like
Yeah. The back
different
and
points
forth.
of
Yeah.
view, but they're actually the same point of view.
And even though it's dog shit, The View is sort of a podcast. Like, it's the highest end of where a podcast could go, right?
Oh my
How
god!
long are each episode?
I think it's an hour.
Okay, I guess, yeah,
you
you're
sit
right.
around
Yeah,
and
it's
talk
just
about
five
it,
people.
but it's
Yeah.
a studio.
What did he say? Where he was like, and it's so ironic because, what did he say? Fuck, he said something.
Because half
so
of them
funny.
look like trannies.
Yeah,
Oh, he
Yeah.
went harder than Payne against The View. Yeah. Which,
And women.
Thank-
Said some fucking hilarious shit
and
about
that's
women.
again why Joe loves him, why we all love him, is at least you're gay. You know what I mean? You might be a white guy, but you're gay, so you've got a chance to talk shit about people.
He brought up such an interesting point that he was like, you know, it wasn't that long ago that, like, I was a minority who was in, like, a group that was hated on. And now all of a sudden, the quick change to just, like, shut up, white man. You know what I mean? Like, he went from, like, gay people used to be people that had it very, you know, it wasn't easy. You couldn't get married. You couldn't be openly gay. Like,
I think he gets grouped in there, though, because he's got influence.
yeah, but
If he's just fat Tim working at Tim Hortons
Maybe.
or whatever, people would still feel sorry for him. Or
I mean, his viewpoints-
He's still marginalized.
yeah, I mean, his view. Dude, I saw Milo the other day.
is he still straight?
No, I can't even go there. I can't.
First
talk
of all,
about it.
he's on this show. He's got like a blonde mohawk.
It's a mullet.
A mullet, sorry, mohawk mullet, kind of, I guess. At the
Mohawk,
bottom of the screen,
mohawk.
Simon, this is what it says. It says Milo Yiannopoulos, former sodomite.
Reformed.
Reformed sodomite. Thank you.
What network?
No,
There must have been Fox.
It's too much. It's too much. I don't know.
I honestly was just like, this is fucking wild.
Sodomite is a crazy word. man.
I was like, what am I looking at
It
here?
sounds so biblical.
It is. It's.
It
No,
is.
but
It
just-
is biblical. Sodom and Gomorrah.
It just
I know, but seeing it on screen too, I was like, this is so aggressive. Former sodomite, like that makes gays just sound like
and
the
to
worst
have
human.
this whole village named after butt fucking, like it just seems
He
weird.
has. I know. I was a fan, but it's like you have no integrity. You have nothing. He'll just do what. Like I hope it's a master plan. He's doing well, and there's rhyme to reason to it. But it
You just hope it's the
What are
longest
you
con.
What is he talking
breaks
about?
my
Milo.
brain.
Oh, Milo, Jesus!
It just breaks my brain.
You know what? Milo was such an who even cares?
He's even more of an asshole
He's
now.
a fucking dipshit.
Now,
He's even more of an asshole.
do
now.
they establish how Building 7 caught on fire?
No, but Joe seems to have. I gotta say this: from his early days of like no YouTube views to now, he seems to have really changed his tune quite a good deal.
Joe needs to just kind of sit down sometimes when the adults are talking about things. You know.
Well, we're getting into those waters now.
Yeah,
Simon.
he doesn't. He is not the fucking. He doesn't know everything about everything.
I mean, he knows a lot. Obviously,
He doesn't
has
get
people
the
on.
last word on everything just
No,
because it's his podcast.
It's his tone is the problem.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe
He's
sure.
speaking way too authoritative about things because
I'm with Tim. Tower 7 to me. I don't know that we'll ever get the answer.
that was a Matrix moment for me when he said that the Florida collapse now throws a wrench in the truthers. Now I said it as a joke. He was saying it actually seriously
Yeah.
that the building pancaked. But Tim, first time, would not have been a pushback. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think he sort of succumbed and go with Joe, but he totally
Wasn't
pushed
this like
back.
his fifth time on?
He still doesn't really push back. He
Well, wait a second. With the airplane into the Pentagon,
oh, that was great because that's a missile. Come on, we all looked at it. It's obviously
there's
a
no
missile.
way something can fly 6 inches off the ground.
Okay, yeah.
Well, hold on. There's not only that. There's no way that Afghani trained.
One-time pilots do a loop.
This is what I'm saying. There's no fucking way these yahoos pulled off a maneuver that fucking Fravor probably couldn't pull off.
This is the most important building in the United States.
And no cameras. One camera caught it. Like, get the fuck out.
But
this is the thing.
Guys,
hold on.
They have fucking satellites on this thing all the time.
Here's my thing. I'm always a big proponent of, like, don't mistake coincidence for whatever the fucking saying is.
Incompetence?
You know what I mean? Well, there's that too. No, but like when all the things start piling up, all the coincidences start piling up, like you just gotta.
But wait, let's just back up because I really want to come back to this missile hitting the Pentagon.
We're still on Building 7?
I also want to come back to Building 7, but
this is the question.
The other plane. No, just hold on a second.
Sure.
The other plane that got hijacked. You know that one?
That crashed in Pennsylvania?
That got shot down
into
by the
Pentagon
U.S.
Or shot down.
Before the Pentagon. That got shot down. Yeah, it got fucking shot down. There was no. Then they make movies about taking over the plane. Like,
they made that movie in like a year and a half too. It came out in like 2002.
Really quick turnaround when
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino takes 9 months just to write a script.
You do not have to be a conspiracy theorist to like work that one out. You know what I mean? It's so fucking
I
obvious.
think you have to.
I will say this too.
Or you take the mainstream narrative.
Dude, the mainstream narrative treats people like they are actual retarded people.
I want to say this too. It seems odd to me that a hijacker, unless they're all locked in the cockpit, but it seems odd that they would let anyone make a phone call.
Yeah, because it didn't happen, Matt.
Well, here's my other thing, Simon. Just hear me out because I'm just playing out many scenarios here. Maybe the plane they shot. Maybe they shoot down a plane full of Americans because they know it's heading for the Pentagon.
223
Hold on,
Americans.
because they know it's heading for the Pentagon, and then to explain it, they then
Or the White
clear
House.
out. They then clear out the Pentagon, and then hit it with a ballistic missile.
Which misses a plane and hits the Pentagon.
No. What I'm saying
No,
is
that's-
they've killed Americans, but they can't have that on their hands, right? So they then launch a missile at the Pentagon, just saying, "Listen, this is a casualty. Whatever. We're going to repair the Pentagon. We'll ensure that no one's in there." And then they hit it with their own ballistic. I mean, I'm putting on your tinfoil hat now.
Them hitting it with the ballistic missile, that's just part of the fucking charade, right?
I mean, listen, I don't believe
yourself after you shoot the guy.
I don't believe
All
for a
cops do
second.
that.
I never believed for a second that a plane hit the Pentagon. It just didn't. It didn't look like a 747.
Well, there's
hit
no
that building.
plane.
I'm with
that too.
I'm with Tim Dillon. Like, just show me one other camera angle. That's all I want.
Or a better resolution at the Pentagon.
Well, now that's what Jamie's saying. Jamie was like, "Listen, Joe." He's like, "I get that it was 20 years ago, but we're talking about the United States government.
They're gonna have
and
better cameras
on the
They're gonna have
Pentagon.
better cameras.
We're not talking about fucking Yaggy's fucking convenience store down the street. Like, they're gonna have the highest resolution cameras.
At least.
Matt
Yeah.
and Kamar, what these fucking dum-dums are telling you is that if you want to break into the Pentagon and not get caught on camera, go anywhere but that one chunk of ground on the east side of the building.
There's no other
Because there
cameras.
are no
Well,
other
no.
fucking
No,
cameras.
after 9/11, I'm sure they revamped their security measures, and it's not that easy now.
What I'm saying,
It's
though, is
unbelievable. It's
anytime
unbelievable.
up until that point, no other part of that building was monitored.
Can't believe
Like,
it.
the right wall
Can't believe
was
it.
not
But
monitored.
hold on, let's talk about the
guards
fact.
fell asleep.
Let's talk about the fact that Joe used to be like very open-minded to conspiracies.
Absolutely.
And Tim is like, look at this video. Like, there's no part of this video that looks like a plane hitting
He
the
sounded
Pentagon.
disingenuous.
And
calling
Joe was
that what we saw a
and
plane.
Joe the whole time was just like, "What are you talking about? That definitely looks like a plane. I see a plane." Like,
Well, what he should have said is, Jamie, pull up a 737.
Was Joe
It's a big plane.
Has Joe ever been open to like a 9/11?
Yes. Back when Eddie Bravo days.
Yeah. Okay.
Guaranteed.
Okay. No.
He's completely changed.
I'm just checking.
don't forget if you go to YouTube right now and look at like the hottest debates on Joe Rogan ever, one of them is him and that guy who was like 9/11 could never have been an inside job. They never. And Joe goes off about Tower 7.
Right.
And I mean goes fucking
Yes.
off
In the
about
paint.
Tower 7.
In the paint.
The there are narratives that the powers that be, air quotes, I'm sure are willing to like go back on in time. You know, like they'll change their stance on aliens. They'll just figure out a new direction to run. They're never going back on. They're never going to come out and tell you, "Oh yeah, we shot that plane. We flew that missile."
The only way that happens.
That's going to the great, the end of
just
time.
to say that Donald Rumsfeld just died, so
he took it to the
someone's
grave.
gone.
You would need
Dick Cheney. There's only a few people possibly, but
But Cheney will. He doesn't even have a beating heart in his chest.
sorry,
He'll definitely take it to the grave.
yeah,
he's just a head in a jar, man.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But what I'm trying to say is the only thing that would change my mind about your statement is if a huge dump about JFK came out. This is exactly what happened. Which I don't think that's going to happen. So yes, I agree.
And again, that's like a narrative. Like, can they cannot have themselves turning on their own people.
No.
They
Can I say
never
there's-
come out with that
Because
narrative.
then trust
Can
is
I-
lost forever.
Ever.
Can I say though, there's a small difference just in that the digital file keeping in 2001 and leading up to it is far different. Like they could
There's
have
a lot more evidence. is
Yeah,
what
they
I'm
could
trying
have
to say.
absolutely shredded every. You know what I mean? Like because back then everything was paper. I'm just saying it was more possible for them back then to wipe the slate clean on JFK, so to speak. Plus everyone dying, being that it's so long ago. Now I just think with the digital footprint of a lot of stuff, I think it would be harder. That's all I'm saying, Kamar. I'm not saying impossible.
But
In
I'm
the
saying
year
unless
two-
that comes out, nothing else is ever coming out.
In the year 2000, did satellites exist?
Yeah, of course.
Well, there. Need I say more? And you know how they? Well,
what does that mean?
It means
Yes, you
it
need
means
to say
that
more.
The Pentagon was obviously constantly being covered by a satellite, like to make sure.
Which can see a guy's cigarette pack.
And you know how we always say that the government is 20, 30 years beyond what they're showing us? Like, of course, in the year 2000, they were able to fucking monitor that thing completely. They know what flew in.
Listen, whenever
They know.
They
Listen,
launched it.
when 87 cameras are all coincidentally off at one of the most high security buildings in the world, it's like when a cop turns his body camera off.
It's
Like
an-
that to me is like that's the first sign of like
Guilty.
something's going wrong here. Like
It's an Epstein situation.
Yes.
Yeah. They fucking suicided that plane.
If that came out, that might give me hope.
I mean, again, I agree with you. They're never ever going to admit if they did it. They're never going to admit that they killed
It makes a house of card completely crumble.
They're never going to admit they killed Epstein?
Americans.
Oh.
No. Epstein's different. I'm talking about if they shot that plane down knowing
Never.
it's- even the narrative of it was heading for the White House or it was I don't think there's any building that they could point out where they could justify shooting down a plane.
Joe
full
used
of,
to mention Operation Northwoods every episode. Like he's completely transitioned, but not showed his work on why he's changed his mind.
Well, the Building 7 thing is... Well, let's not even get into Building 6.
No,
Like...
I know nothing about it. I've hung my hat on Building 7, and because I always thought until this Florida thing is it doesn't matter how heavy a building is, it's going to fall a bit, but the force doesn't change.
I went
Pushing down on it.
Dude, I went to Ground Zero 3 or 4 years after it happened, and like the building's directly adjacent to whatever the two towers that came down, 1 and 2 or 5 and 6, whatever the fuck they were. They still had a ton of damage. Like you could still see them putting up like panes of glass and like. I just was thinking, I was like, this building was literally right fucking beside a building that came down. Like one of the biggest buildings in the world that came down. This thing's fine. Like I know it's 4 years.
Controlled demolition is what you're trying to get to.
I don't know how
That's
a
the
building.
easiest way for it not to affect.
I
other
don't know how a
buildings.
building like a block away catches fire in the middle and then implodes on itself. Like no building ever has before.
Well, a building that had a lot of financial
The,
records in it. That's the other thing.
Everybody, I mean, almost everybody at this point thinks there's something hinky about 9/11. Like maybe you're not willing to go so far as saying like
You have to at least listen. It stinks of Cheney knowing,
It's-
at least knowing all about it happening.
They were running drills.
I know.
Like, come on.
And they're all Saudis.
There's so much hinky going on.
Well, there's all that too that Tim brought up. The fact
Oh,
that
Tim
they
was
they
pushing
flew
back.
as soon as the only planes that flew after 9/11 were high-level U.S. officials and the fucking Saudis that they flew back over immediately, which is that's scary as fuck.
They had just anyways.
When every plane gets grounded except for you flying high level Saudis out of your country, oof.
Well, and
it
then
just
you go back
reeks.
to Osama bin Laden
Oh, I
and
know.
how they
Yeah,
built
listen.
him up as a guy who was fighting their enemy. Like, it's all so fucking obvious.
But the thing is, it's like I said, we have no idea what chic wealth is.
No.
So that makes everything change.
I've always said that when people are like, well, Jeff Bezos, I'm like, dude, Putin
On
could have
paper.
triple what.
What I was getting at before, though, was everybody believes some sort of version of 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
There are still some fucking crazy ass conspiracies out there about 9/11.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Like, I mean, I know Kamar's heard them because he's an avid listener of Sam Tripoli's podcast. But, like, people have varying degrees of...
But this now is where mental illness comes in, because now you can just keep
Like,
looking for strings to
the
pull.
planes were holograms. Have you ever heard that one? The planes hitting the buildings?
No.
Planes were holograms. High power...
The planes are holograms. Has to
Destruction lasers. That's how they brought down the buildings. Like, there's...
be, those two might be the wildest piece of bullshit.
I'm not
ever.
even giving you the best ones. There are
Yeah,
better
yeah.
ones. I can't think of
But
them.
I bet-
There's one woman who believes that 9/11 never happened.
Cool.
Like, period. I don't know. She has some weird...
But half of those are probably from the FBI or the CIA, because you guys think this, flood more, and now everything loses credibility.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Who did that?
I mean,
Was that Chico?
yeah, listen, 9/11 reeks.
And Joe is
Not to mention, too, like, this is the weirdest.
flip-flopped.
This is the weirdest thing is, so, let's just say the higher ups know what's going to happen. Do they know exactly, do you think they understand the level of carnage? Do you think they know the buildings are going to come down?
Yes.
You do.
Yeah.
There's a guy out there excited for it.
Why?
Collateral damage.
What do you mean? You think they're just going to fly planes?
No,
and
because I'm
nothing's
wondering.
gonna happen?
Well, no, I'm just because I'm wondering, the visual of the planes going in, even if the towers don't come down,
Is
is
enough to
probably
start
is
legal
probably
war somewhere
enough
else.
to start everything. I wonder if they know deep down, this is going to take these, because 7 is different, right? Like, they can say, listen, we can just blow 7 up if we need to. There's going to be so much chaos and panic.
I hear what you're saying. I think the powers that be were willing that there was going to be a certain amount of collateral damage.
It's not that much, though.
But I just
3,000
think
people?
But no, it's not the people.
It's the visual.
It's the jumpers is a perfect example. And that's what makes me think, no one, I don't know that a human knows that we can plan for that. Maybe they can.
Or deep dark conspiracy,
No one jumped.
or
Holograms.
maybe, I don't know, they take a dead body and they throw it off the roof.
Yeah,
cadaver.
I just think that's so crass to the people that
So you're saying...
I do,
lose people that-
I do too, but we're talking about conspiracy.
You're saying-
I get it.
You know
Yeah, I get what you're
So
saying.
You
I
can't
just
get on your high horse
what
now.
yeah, you're right. What I'm saying though is I watched those people jump, and that to me was way crazier than watching the buildings come down.
That's the realness of the moment.
To me, watching people jump holding hands, knowing that they made a choice up there, it still shocks me to my core to
you're
this
saying,
day.
say the powers that be say, look, we'll throw in these planes in the buildings. Firemen will put it out. The buildings will be smoldering for weeks after.
There's no
we
way
start a
you
war.
could think that. How are firemen going to that easily put out fucking...
I don't know,
Firemen
but
ran into those buildings and
Yeah.
died.
No, but I'm
so-
saying they couldn't have thought that was going to be able to be kept under control.
I don't know, but I'm saying-
your
but-
collateral damage.
But Simon, what I'm saying is they might not know then that those planes flying in creates a fire, if this is what happened, creates a fire hot enough to topple the top and then
They all
bring
go,
the rest of
"Oops,
them down
did
like a
I
house of
do
cards.
that?"
I still think you're going to kill a ton of people. Do you know what I mean? What? No, if there's if you fly any sort of commercial airplane,
Of course, a
into
lot of people are going to
building
die.
like
That's not my
that,
point. My point was simply the visual I think they got more than they bargained for if they did plan it out.
I mean, maybe, yeah, sure. I guess
It worked out better than they could imagine.
Yeah, I assume. Because again, I think you want to create panic and chaos. And I think
But
For
that
the
was
next-
enough. They had to blow up the Pentagon and sing another
Well,
plane.
because you had to make it seem like it was an attack on all fronts. It wasn't enough just New York was under attack. It had to be
And like, think about it. How do 12 people attack the most powerful country in the world? Like, it's the most heinous
Money.
I get it. I
That's all I'm
understand.
saying. Chic wealth makes it all possible.
But wait, let me ask you a different question, okay?
Sure.
Because let me just play Diablo Avocado, which apparently is no longer ours.
Oh, it's ours.
I'm a guy, and no,
What is
I'm not doing this.
You're a you're a young
guy.
CIA.
No, I'm not
Okay.
even doing it that way. There's a guy, and
Yeah.
he decides, I want to fucking fly a plane into the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
Okay. Just saying, just dumb old fucking Doug. Doug wants to fly a plane into World Trade Center. This is pre 9/11, obviously. What? He gets on the plane. There are no air marshals.
Well, there weren't. Hold on. There was no air marshal. That was a post 9/11 thing.
Yeah, I know. So I'm saying.
Okay, sorry. I thought
there
yeah.
are no
Homeland Security
There are
measure.
no air marshals.
Okay, fair
Okay,
enough.
Nobody's expecting anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, really, I've seen this myself when I used to fly. I've seen into the cockpit because the
the door used to be wide fucking open.
sometimes the door is open, but often it would be closed. But then the head stewardess would go and talk to the pilot, and they'd get into like a 10-minute conversation.
Dude, I remember they let kids up there.
I bum rush that, not me, Doug. Doug bum rushes that cockpit, gets into the cockpit, okay? Mm-hmm. Look, like, you could figure out. You could fly that plane. It's not that fucking hard. That part to me is not crazy that 14 guys could hijack
No, it's
a
really
plane.
hard. It's really, really hard to fly a plane.
It's also really hard to hijack
It's
a
easy
plane.
to take it off and put it on a runway, but it's hard to fly into something specifically. They're not maneuverable.
Okay, how about this? He takes the Doug,
Yeah, let's
takes
hold on.
the
Let's-
pilot
hold on.
hostage,
Okay, sure.
gets him to fly to New York.
Pilots
he's
never.
gonna
No
land at-
American pilots doing that.
He's going to be shot to death.
Gun to your
first?
head,
No.
you
Yes.
just had a new kid.
No,
I
these
don't know.
guys are not.
He's gonna die anyway.
Not everybody is Sully Sullenberger.
No, you're missing my
know?
point. You have a gun to your head. They're telling you die this way or die this way.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You
Yeah.
you're going to die. You're gonna do the right thing. You already know your fate. There's
Why
no
would
fucking
you fly
choice.
it
Yeah.
in? Yeah. But maybe you say you're not. You can land us at JFK.
Just
and
hold on.
then you bump them off, and you fucking take control of the
Flying the
wheel.
planes is the craziest skill move.
Let's back up to what Kamar said here. We're not flying a plane is one thing. Like flying a single engine Cessna or a fucking
a little more maneuverable.
water plane. Like that's where you start, dude. Flying a 747. That's like 10,000 hours shit. Like they don't just let.
Yeah, for sure. To learning the takeoff and but the actually being in the air and taking the stick and turning. Come on, guys.
I think you can
Listen,
easily turn this way and turn too
You
much.
doubted me. You doubted that I could kick
Okay,
the field
Simon, listen.
goal.
I
Don't
agree.
doubt that Doug could fucking control a jet plane.
Simon, I probably agree with you. If we played, like Microsoft has a flight simulator that's incredible. I bet if we played it right now, one of us could probably easily maneuver a building into
All
like
of
the
these
fucking
guys
par-
went to flight school, presumably.
Yes, I'm not like I'm just saying, you know,
I don't know how we got this. That part is
I'm
not
just saying,
so crazy.
listen,
to
I
me.
know now it's a weird, now sitting, 20 years later, it's an easy narrative, but it's crazy that at the time, the U.S. couldn't, like the people of the U.S. couldn't sit back and go, hold on.
You're
I get that we were attacked, but this was 14 people.
And
This
people
wasn't-
did do that, and people said you can't talk about that. That's taboo. These
Yeah.
people just died. Like,
Well, it's also the authorities came out and said, we know who did it so quickly. Everything's able to shift from questioning it happening to knowing, oh, now we got to go after Osama bin Laden.
'Cause, I mean, keep in mind,
Oh,
even-
this guy's been on the radar all this time.
I'm pretty sure even
allegedly.
Bernie voted to go to war.
it's true because nobody blamed Bush because right away he was like, "We're gonna get revenge. We're gonna,
Well,
There's no
and keep
time
in mind too, this guy looked like an inept fucking previous cokehead. Next thing you know, he's down there with his jacket on, helping firefighters. Like he looks like the golden
I
pony.
mean, he's such a putz. He's reading the book right when it to the kids
yeah,
there.
and when it was
Everything's weird.
totally
It's all weird.
totally off topic too. Can you fucking believe that they pulled people out of the wreckage
Of the plane.
of the building? Like that there were people on like the bottom floor that like days later got pulled. That's always shocking
I
to
find
me.
that hard to believe with what's going on in Florida right now.
Live people.
Yes.
In an underground parking garage.
There were firefighters on the first floor. There's a firefighter on the first floor when it came
Survived.
down that survived. Yeah.
I can't believe that.
A lot of people drowned to death
From the water.
from them putting the fire out. That's unreal.
Dude, that is the scariest shit. The just things that you depend on, you know? You never think. It's like when that bridge collapsed in Montreal and the people got crushed going under the underpass. These are things you take for granted, like driving down a highway and going under a bridge.
Yeah.
Of course, that piece of rock is not going to fall onto my head and kill me.
6 million
This
ways to
shit
die.
happens,
Choose
man.
one. Yeah, man.
Did you see that mudslide in Japan?
That was fucking shocking. It rained for 96 hours straight.
Dude,
Japan and the water. The water disasters over there. It's fucking...
Mudslides and
I watched-
avalanches, those are bad ways to go, man.
Dude, I was watching videos of the tsunami the other day. Holy
Never gets old. That's
Holy
power.
fucking shit.
Which one? The Japanese or the
Japanese
Indonesian?
one. The Japanese one is so shocking because everyone in Japan has a camera. So
Things that are moving should be moving the way they're moving.
it's the speed at which everything is, hey, we're cool, to everything's fucked up. Like, even there's people in the street who just have no clue that street's about to be 20 feet deep and have like a tanker boat. Like,
And the debris that's in the
it's
water.
fucked.
Like, it would be one thing if it was just nice, clean water. And
Kamar,
you're white water your way down.
watching all the giant boats come down and like hit a bridge and then get sucked under. It's fucking
Horrible way to die.
staggering.
None of us have ever been in a moment either, I'm going to assume, where you've been like, well, nobody can help me. You know, like if there's a problem, maybe the government's going to step in. Maybe nobody can help you. Like Mother Nature has totally taken over
Yeah.
at that point.
This is your
There's no
end of
wall
days.
they can make. There's nobody swooping in to save you. There's nothing, like, short of fucking Superman.
Let's try to get this back on track. There's a North Korean girl coming on that was just on Lex
Yeah, he
Friedman.
mentioned that, yeah.
That's going to be a heavy podcast.
Yes. That's
Does he
gonna be-
get any people first anymore?
Yes,
Joe?
he does. Yeah. I think they pass each other.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
gets
for
bigger
sure.
people, but even Marin got him first. I don't know.
I want you to keep track from now on when he pulls anybody, where that person has been first.
I think we're reading too much in because there's scheduling, and he's not here when he's here, so it may just happen that way. But I'll try to do that, Simon. And Lex likes Putin. Would you guys say Putin is transparent? Like,
No.
he is what he is.
Not at all.
No.
No, he's the least. I mean, listen, I'll agree with that statement. He is what he is, but he's also not. Like, he plays it up like he's a voted in president of a country when that is absolutely categorically not the case.
I suppose, but I think he's like, you know what I'm doing here.
What do
guys.
you mean by that? He wasn't vote. Oh no, of course he wasn't voted in. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Now, did
He,
you guys
first of all,
know?
he poisoned his fucking his opposition and then sent him to jail for like 10 years.
Well, do they vote in Russia?
But did you know that guy is a crazy, like, right-wing racist nationalist?
Who?
Navalny.
Oh no.
His opponent.
Oh no.
So it's sort of weird, like,
They poke fun at
they're
it.
Russian. They're all racist.
They
or-
poke fun
you
at
know
it
what I mean?
on Veep, actually.
Putin.
No, that whole scenario where the other guy, the poisoned guy, is actually like you
Another
feel
evil.
bad for him, but he's a whole other evil.
So we don't know what we know. We know what we think we know. You know what I mean? And I trust Lex, and the fact that he doesn't think Putin's horrible, I think he just is what he is,
Well-
and that's what we got to be the leader of Russia. Got to be a douchebag or a strong-armed dictator.
To Matt's point, like, yeah, some things you know, most things you don't know.
Most things you don't know. That's what I think.
There's so much about Putin that you don't know. You think you know, but you don't know.
But I'm saying, if Putin wasn't in power, there could be someone who was worse for the world in power.
I mean,
you
there
know-
could be, or there could be somebody better. Like,
There could be. It's just like sort of Gaddafi.
I just don't think he's so transparent.
Gaddafi or Saddam Hussein.
I just think you're looking at different, like, I think most people look at Russia as like a first world country, like a developed country, you know what I mean? That probably shouldn't have a dictator, or at least I look at Russia as a developed country. I know some parts of it are very rural.
These countries, again, to Matt's point, what I think he's saying is these countries that play such a big role in like world politics, they should be diplomatically run. Otherwise, we just have tyrants with giant voices in how the world functions. And then you just end up with like World War II scenarios.
But it's like, what's worse, a tyrant or a puppet dictator that the Americans put in?
I understand what you're saying. Those aren't the only two alternatives.
It seems as in our world it is.
I would just say this, Kamar. Listen, if Russia had what I considered a legit election and they voted Putin in, then fucking if that's what the people want, I have absolutely no problem. I just don't feel like
I'm just saying I'm with Lex on this one.
that is Lex's contention that if that vote were to happen, they would vote Putin in. And that might be very well be the case. We have no idea what the fucking sentiment in Russia is.
I get it. I just 96%. No one likes anyone 96%. You know what I mean? Like that's
a bit much.
They might very well know in Russia that this is
our guy.
This is how we want our country run. We like that. Who fucking knows, man?
Hear
we
me
are
out.
people who
Hear
are
me
led
out.
astray by the narrative. They want us to feel that Russia is shit.
No. I'm not saying that. Just hear me out. I'm saying you have to think about it either way. 4% of the population, like think about people that live in rural areas. They usually vote differently than people in cities. So I would have a tough time believing that anywhere, just fucking man spreading at me.
What a flex.
Yeah, just shoves his dick at me. Simon's pantless, just for everyone listening.
Go ahead.
No, I can't remember what
His flex threw you right
I know,
off,
your
man.
big bulge just threw me right.
Anyways, maybe time will tell. Putin was better than we thought he was, or whatever.
I mean, listen, I also understand what you're saying. Maybe Putin dies tomorrow and the next guy in is 10 times worse.
Or
Like,
maybe he isn't like Simon said.
We're all naive to think that.
I
mean, listen,
we know what we know.
we also
there
thought
you
like,
go.
oh, they'll take Saddam Hussein out and that place will be a fucking a
This is what I'm
haven
saying.
overnight.
This is what I'm saying. Saddam and Gaddafi were the worst people, but they were with the iron
Holding
fist,
a region
keeping shit
together somehow, yeah.
Exactly. So we don't know what we know.
But we also don't know, when you hear, I don't know, it's tough.
We don't know.
And
don't
we
know,
know
yeah.
that
We
the
don't
other
know.
way doesn't work, where the U.S. goes in and tries to put somebody into power. Because look how many times that's become a total fucking disaster, a la 9/11. You
Every
know what
single
I mean?
time.
South America.
It's never
Yeah,
worked.
So no, I mean it must have worked somewhere.
No, I think it has a 0% success rate, if I had to imagine.
They can't be playing the
Have you
same
seen the
game
footage of
over
Biden
and
saying,
over.
Could you imagine if America interfered in another country's election?
Yeah, I also found it ridiculous that he was like, why do you guys want AK-47s? He said what I said. If the government wanted to come kill you, we'd come kill you. I was like, you're the president. I was like,
Did
you're the...
he really say that?
Yes. I was like, you're the president, right? Like,
No,
what
he
is
does not
happening?
know he's the president.
Yeah, but he clearly might not.
No, dude, that's hilarious though. I like that. Like, let's just not beat around the bush anymore.
Okay,
you know
listen,
what
I guess
mean?
I'll give you that. That seemed like
He's
a
more like Putin. He's more
seemed like a
Putin.
senile statement to me. I
It's
was
like, you
Putin
think
would
we're
say.
watching you?
We
Yeah,
are.
we are. Driver's license, bitches.
Yeah.
Like,
we're watching you, Kyle. He points into the camera.
So do you guys
no,
believe?
but that's so good, man. That's so good that he just, we'll just come out and kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they will.
That's what he said. Honestly, he was like, what do you guys want so many guns for? If we wanted to come kill you, we'd come kill you. What?
And what's hilarious too is that's like fucking gasoline, man. All those people are like, yeah, buy more guns,
Yeah. Dude, we had a listener.
Second Amendment. This is exactly what it's for. We never thought it would come into play, but he just said they're coming for us.
We had a listener. I was going back and forth with him. He was obviously hates me. He was like, I didn't want the fucking bailout money. It was forced on me. And I was like, forced on you sounds like it was forced at gunpoint. He was like, well, okay, it wasn't forced on me. It was put in my bank account.
Hyperbole.
And I was like, okay, it was put in your bank account. Fine. He was like, I bought more guns. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, again, if you don't like the money, you could have donated it. You bought guns with it. That's fine. That's your prerogative. I don't care. I
You
mean,
know what was forced on me?
what?
That U2 song by Apple. That was
no,
forced
it was
on
an
me.
album.
Whatever it was.
Did they make you listen to it?
Well, they put it on my phone.
Well,
That was the biggest.
Nobody,
were all
nobody
right.
talks about that.
I
What
do
a
a joke about
bitch
it.
move.
Kamar,
that
do you know
is.
that that's the Euro song? It's a U2 song. That annoying fucking oh, it's driving me
I don't know
nuts.
because I never heard it, but
Haven't you been
U2
watching the
was a
Euros?
huge band. No, I did not know that it's a U2 song.
Okay, yeah.
U2 had an all right reputation. They did that move with Apple. They're
Yeah.
persona non grata.
douchebags. Get to your next point.
Do you guys believe Joe is completely out of crypto? Because he said he sold all his Bitcoin and gave it to fallen forgotten soldiers. No, what was Justin Wren's
Fight for the Forgotten.
Fight for the Forgotten? He cashed out all his Bitcoin, gave it to them, and he has nothing to do with crypto, he said.
I believe him if you said it.
You see, again, I don't want to be the fucking whistler in the back deck, but
You are.
that
Yes,
is
here
a
we are.
narrative that, the powers that be, they don't want that. And now all of a sudden he's going against it. It worries me, man. It really does.
Worries you.
Yeah. It worries me.
He's
that-
controlled opposition now.
I don't even know. I don't know. It doesn't really worry me, but he leaves a lot of breadcrumbs for somebody to follow if they were trying to make a case against Joe Rogan.
Spidey senses.
Maybe Joe was a young CIA agent trying to make his druthers.
God, this would be he would be the most decorated officer in that fucking division.
He started
Because this is the greatest. You're not even going out to get guys. You're like, I can do this better myself.
I found a better way.
So when does it start though?
he started his training at Backwoods Performing Session with Ryan.
No, as soon as he gets into
Taekwondo. Why do they go after him for Taekwondo? Because they're like, this guy can fight, and it would have to be once he started doing comedy.
No, his handler was the guy who tried to molest him when he was fishing.
That's going way back.
That's
man.
when it started, man. Get him young.
Well, no,
couldn't jerk him off, so he got him to be a CIA
His
agent.
handler is obviously the fucking guy he drove around who lost his license that nobody knows about. The funniest dude he knows.
Think about it too.
Fugazi.
Hold on, think about it too. He was a limo driver. That's good cover early on, right? You have flexible hours. You can also drive high-profile people around, listen in.
It would be a real pimp move to run your own op as the subject.
Listen, he's just the most brazen. That's how he made it to the top.
If that's the case, I have no doubt in my mind that he is the one who orchestrated Winds of Change. That's got to be the same dude, just fucking shifting gears. Come on.
But hey, man, the guy can write a good song. I was blaring that yesterday in my house.
Imagine there was only one good agent in the whole fucking CIA, and he was just running all the good ops.
You know what the best question is? Do you think someone at the CIA has the gold record hanging on their wall? Right?
Probably.
They have a writing credit on it. There's some high level CIA agent has a Winds of Change platinum
that'd be so
record.
stupid if you just Wikipedia Winds of Change and it's there.
Dude, imagine you finally get invited to Joe's Texas house and you walk inside and
He's
has
got the platinum
gold
plaque.
record.
Although it'd also be cool if he bought one.
Dude, that's when your brain just explodes. And you're like, oh, fuck, I just came into fucking Epstein's mansion.
Joe has no wife. It's just a bunch of Filipino boys. John McAfee was right. It's just midgets.
John McAfee was
It's
right.
nothing but midgets.
Imagine.
He stole my 2 dwarves.
Dude, imagine. He's been collecting dwarves for his secret island.
Yeah. And they live off elk meat.
It's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They've all got these antlers. They're these weird Oompa Loompas.
Yeah.
God, this went far, man.
We're
far
going
down
deep.
a rabbit
We're going
hole.
deep, bro.
Okay, Kamar, what's up?
There's quite a bit to do. So do we know who Banksy is?
So what they were talking about, the band, I believe it's the Chemical Brothers. They believe that he is one of the Chemical Brothers.
I think I may have heard that.
Because the tours...
We've been through this theory before.
Well, that's fine. I'm
Fat
just
Boy Slim?
I'm just reiterating it for I'm pretty sure it was the Chemical Brothers, because I think they had tour dates that coincided with a lot of his famous pieces in certain cities.
Who are the ones who wore the helmets?
Daft Punk, the Frenchmen.
Yeah.
They were French, so I think
broke
they
up?
know Banksy is from this certain part of
England.
Yeah.
People have to know who he is, though, right?
You would think locals.
Somebody
Right?
definitely knows who he is. Whoever did the
Hold on.
movie Exit from the Gift Shop with him knows who he is.
I also think it's a team of people at this point. I don't think it's one lone wolf out there.
Right? Like they film him
Yeah.
in that movie.
Well,
Well, I
there-
guess they could just get a nobody to do that.
A
and
lot
not
of people
even
think
be
they did
him.
that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That would be.
Well, is Shepard
I take
Fairey a
it
team
back.
of people?
No.
Shepard Fairey to start was just Shepard Fairey.
And now he's a
then
team of
now
people.
But
he has-
now it's definitely Obey is a huge team.
Oh
of
yeah,
people.
and
have
when
to.
he's doing those giant
Those murals, it's
fucking-
more than one person
Oh,
doing
yeah,
that now.
yeah,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Banksy's not a brand. You can't buy a Banksy T-shirt. You could buy someone who
If you bought a
knocks off his
Banksy
art.
T-shirt, it's a knockoff.
It's
yeah.
a bootleg usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he might have done some for like his show in.
Keep in mind, he
you
does
know?
some weird shit though. Like he showed up in New York and sat. Maybe, again, it might not have been him. he had someone set up a booth along Central Park and sold original Banksies for $10. And
No way.
And
Yeah.
these artists are weird, man. Like, you know, Cause, obviously.
yeah, of course, Cause is sick.
So like that, this is a guy whose shit sells for so much.
Billions.
He never has to do shit. He doesn't do any clothes or anything, and then just decides, oh, I'm gonna do a capsule collection with fucking
Uniqlo.
Uniqlo. You know what I mean? Like, they're just fucking weird. Sometimes
what does that
money
mean?
talks.
What does that mean?
I think sometimes the money is just
No. All those words don't mean it. What's
Oh,
Uniqlo?
Uniqlo is a
like a
Chinese-
Japanese.
Is
Chinese?
it Japanese? Okay,
One of the two.
they're like H&M.
And so that guy is sort of like cool counterculture, and all of a sudden he's gone way mainstream.
No, but he's huge, Kamar. He's like
I don't
sells
know.
his pieces for millions and millions of dollars. All the like Pharrell, all those guys.
Cause got his start by taking out advertisements in New York bus stops and like adding these faces to like Kate Moss's.
He didn't take out. Oh, you mean take out like the glass and then do it?
Yeah, he would take out the glass,
Yeah,
take
yeah.
the poster, take it home, put it like draw his Cause head on
I
like.
don't think he would take it home.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think he did it like graffiti
Swizz
on the spot.
Swizz Beats and Alicia Keys have a 40-foot Cause statue in their house that I assume cost.
But they have
millions.
like in Japan or some.
They have a Cause museum.
They have like the most giant fucking Cause statues, these giant inflatable installations that float on the water. Like, the guy's massive.
And so there's no reason for him to go with this.
He
H&M.
has so much money. He was like, why would he do this capsule collection? I imagine that this company came to him and said, like, yeah, we'll give you $1 billion. You know, some ungodly amount of money.
I'm just trying to clarify for any listeners because
Yeah.
you guys sort of compacted
sorry,
that.
sorry,
and I have no
sorry,
idea what
sorry.
you're talking
No
about.
problem. Now you know how I feel
Simon?
when you talk about TikTok.
What do you think he's worth?
Cause?
Yeah,
Oh, fuck. I think he must be worth like $1 billion.
20 million.
That's it?
That's what it's. Well, I mean, again, this is according to the
cannot
internet.
be right. But anyways, we'll move on.
You make a lot of money.
I mean,
you
you know-
spend a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Do you know who Daniel
Patrick
Ashram
Ewing.
is?
Daniel Ashram. No.
He's an artist. No, okay,
Maybe I do. I don't know.
fair enough.
Okay. Do you know any other names in what I'm about to say?
Okay.
Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, Bear,
Yowie.
Yowie. Who's that?
Cucumba.
You're just making shit up now.
No. Yowie is one from Australia. Skunk ape. Wendigo. I'm sure I'll think of some more. But yeah, go on.
So Joe's completely out now.
What do you mean?
Well,
Yeah.
no. Tim brought it up, and Joe has now gone from. I think the last we heard about Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, whatever, he wanted to believe, but now it's over.
But he doesn't even stay up to date on things like,
He's not on the Yeti newsletter. Clearly,
you know what? I'm not, again, I have no problem if you want to say, I don't know. But he's so staunch against it that, again, it leads me to believe that he's like throwing people off
Unless
the
he's
track.
done actually way more research than you because he has way more resources, and now he's formed his opinion.
But we know he
Diablo avocado.
hasn't. We know he hasn't, Kamar, because he says he got all his information from doing his TV show.
He says.
well, have
what
you done a
he
TV show
does.
about Bigfoot?
No, I have
Okay,
not.
so Joe is slightly more informed than you, probably.
Sure, but the people who are willing to go on a TV show about Bigfoot
Yeah.
are going to be the ones who are like liars. So
I mean, Les Stroud
I've
believes it.
probably talked to as many credible Bigfoot people as Joe has. I just don't
He
think
just puts his hands
he's
up.
not an expert on Bigfoot. Not only is he not an expert, but he doesn't care.
Can I ask
so
you a
he
question?
doesn't stay up to date, but then he's willing to like talk like he's the authority on it.
I
I'm
ask-
done. I'm done with it.
What are your Bigfoot credentials? Because you said he's not an expert, so where would you put yourself on the God tier list of?
I'm just a guy who stays up to date with the most recent findings.
Okay,
Is
fair
that good
enough.
enough for you, Matt?
Yeah,
I know that people aren't saying that it came from Gigantopithecus anymore, but from a different species called Paranthropus. Does Joe know that? No, nor would he, because all he says is no, and then fucking goes and works out or something, or fucking eats a bunch of vitamins, takes a sauna. Who the fuck knows? Spends his money, talks to his CIA agent handler. I don't know, man.
I think Sasquatch is my favorite. name.
This fucking guy.
I know I don't do the research. I believe in you. There's nothing more like to bring you a Bigfoot or whatever. I'm keeping my mind open. Mocha.
Yeah.
Mocha, baby.
And again, like the arguments against Bigfoot at this point are laughable.
And for
Laughable.
sure.
Nobody can get a good video. Like, fuck off, man. Enough with these videos.
So would you not then also argue that the arguments for Bigfoot are laughable as well?
I mean, the things that
He has an invisibility cloak.
the things that
He lives in the tunnels beneath the
the
U.S.
things that I see lead me to believe that there may very well be another species of primate living on this planet. Or
Specifically in the Pacific Northwest, or it
Well,
could
that
just
was
be
his
anywhere.
biggest point.
Oh,
There's no bones.
It has they are all over different pockets.
Yeah.
Places where they are able to survive. I assume at one point, Matt, they would have been all over, but just like any other animal.
Dwindling population, obviously.
Well, man has a giant impact on pretty much everything we touch on this planet.
Yeah,
so I
it's
don't
true.
know why Bigfoot would be any different.
You're making just all the right arguments, Simon.
This is.
You know what? Yeah, I know you don't think so, and it annoys me, but we'll move on.
But I was going to bring this up in the post, Joe. But did you guys see what happened? And our prayers go to everyone there, Linton, BC.
Holy shit!
15-minute notice.
Three of the,
The
hottest,
forest fires.
3 of the hottest days on record in Canada in a row, and then the whole city burns to the ground.
But 15 minutes.
So I don't like that you brought in real life into this conversation.
Well, wait a
because
second.
that's
Wait
sad.
a second. There are forest fires all the time. How much evidence could that destroy?
That's what I was about to say. Like, how hard is it to incinerate bone? Not that hard, guys.
Sorry, I'm sorry I had to use real life to support your argument.
No. I'm going to have to, I had to now say,
So you're blaming forest fires on
No,
the
I think that's-
disintegration of Yeti bones?
Joe's main point was they'd find bones or something by now.
So let's talk about the bones, okay? If we're dealing with a species that is smart enough to know that it's in danger, which there are none except for us, is it too much to think that they control?
They're going to clean up their own bones after they die?
They
You're right.
bury the same way we bury our dead?
The crazy thing,
or burn our dead?
the crazy thing is
or
what level
whatever
of
we
consciousness
do?
they have. 'Cause
Come on, Matt. That's not that far a fucking stretch.
I'm
man.
with you. I was shaking my head. Yes, yeah.
I'm
I
with
believe
people
these.
from Middle Earth or another dimension. Yeti, Sasquatch.
Okay, if we want to talk
Abominable
about them being
snowman.
aliens,
See,
I'm willing to have that conversation.
I was just going to say, this
too.
goes back to the transgender thing. Simon has to get on board with whatever you're saying.
The
'cause his-
abominable snowman. Is that another word for Sasquatch?
That's another word for the Yeti, which lives only in Nepal. That's the only place the Yeti has ever been seen,
Been seen.
See?
or in the Himalayas, or wherever.
spoken
that
of as
is up
legend.
there. But so I'm not even sure that's the same species, Kamar. Those could be two totally different things. The same way, like maybe the swamp ape and Bigfoot are different things.
The swamp thing.
The
Comic
swamp
book?
ape. It's the Bigfoot they see down in Florida. There's actually one video I saw that's pretty fucking weird, man. Where it looks like it's a gorilla sitting there in the fucking swamp. Like, I don't know, he's like hitting the tree with something to get something out of the tree. It's very
But
interesting.
if you told me some guy from Florida dressed up to pretend to be a swamp monster, I'd be like, yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds about right, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On the regular. That
Yep.
sounds too weird.
that sounds about right.
Dude, did you know, this is totally side note, but speaking of Sasquatch, did you know that kangaroos will sit in the middle of a lake in hopes that you come in and then it will drown you?
Wow, that's a late.
Okay.
You're like a kangaroo
Right.
murderer.
Let's back up a second here because I want to make sure I got this right.
Yeah.
So, what is the kangaroo wearing? Like scuba equipment?
Nope. They can swim.
They're just holding their breath underwater.
No, it just sits there and it'll look at you. It just
Oh,
sits there and
I
bobs
see.
up staring at you.
They just don't like humans very much. Is that?
Or maybe you go to save it.
I read that if you went into that water, that kangaroo will definitively try to drown you and will probably succeed.
But who would?
Are kangaroos carnivores?
I don't know. It's a good
They're
question.
boxers. Who would?
Go into the water? No. Some drunk
If I saw
Aussie?
any animal in the water, like, hey, let me meet you on a
Yeah, even playing.
where I have
Yeah.
less advantage. I want to go to a kangaroo on the ground.
I wouldn't go near a kangaroo on the ground.
So
Get the shit
maybe
kicked out of
one
you.
kangaroo once fooled somebody or something to go in the water, and the rest of them thought it would work and they're waiting for it.
Maybe.
But this,
Oh, I like that. So you think they're trying to fool you? Like, oh no, I'm drowning, mate.
So-
Come on
Yes,
in and help.
That's exactly what it is.
So they're total.
Gotcha.
They're total vegetarians.
Okay.
So they wouldn't even be hunting fish or trying to lure another animal into the
Can you
water.
Google this while you're at it then?
So you're telling me that they just
Kangaroos.
want to kill humans?
We have a lot. There's still a lot, I think.
Okay, well, you
really?
guys
There's
start
still a
going
lot?
on, and I'll
Jesus.
find out about the
Well,
kangaroos.
we're talking about this thing because the UFO report came out,
Nice.
Can
That
we just
Joe doesn't want
glance
to talk
over this?
about anymore.
but Joe now thinks some of them are drones.
Yes.
He's driving me fucking crazy. Again, like sit down when the adults in the room are talking. You know,
Wow.
like, are you fucking kidding me? Is it also a hot air balloon?
Do you know what's weird? It
Do
feels
you
like
not think that the government knows the goddamn difference between, or not the whoever, military people who are swearing that they see what they see?
this feels full circle. It feels like Simon was not as deep into aliens until he got deep into Rogan, and now it's come to this weird spot where Joe is now not deep enough into it, and you have surpassed.
No,
The student has become the teacher.
he turned me on to a subject
Yeah.
to which I went headlong into,
Mm-hmm.
to which he did not do his due diligence.
Well, that's
Now
int-
he
whoa,
wants
whoa,
to
whoa,
talk
whoa, whoa,
about
whoa,
it.
whoa, whoa,
Now
whoa,
he
whoa,
wants
back
to
up,
talk
back up.
about
The
it.
guy who's had Bob Lazar on,
Back up.
Fravor.
This I've got to understand. Before Joe Rogan, BJ, you had no interest in aliens or anything like this?
No, of course I had
Okay,
interest,
okay.
but like not like I am now. Now
Yeah.
He
I
was able to
listen
bring people in the
podcasts.
forefront in the discussion.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Simon, like Simon BJ, as you said, I never heard him talk much about aliens. It was only once, especially once Tom DeLonge was on. I feel like that was the real tipping point for
But
you.
he was way more open-minded. He was still more caught up with JFK and 9/11.
We're talking about Joe or Simon?
Joe.
Okay, yeah. Kangaroos drowning people, Simon. That's
He
your-
never talked
There
about...
is only one known case of kangaroo killing a human. It occurred in
Interesting.
1936 when a hunter's two dogs attacked a roo, and the roo defended himself. Like I don't
Just
see.
look
any-
into the kangaroos drowning.
Yeah, I'm looking.
God damn it. Was I lied to by the internet? Wouldn't be the first time.
But there has to be something to the fact that the military instruments are measuring the speeds and the way these things are moving as something to be interested in. Because the biggest thing about this is that no one cares what I'm talking about or about the UFO news that the Pentagon has released. Is that because people have too many problems?
I'm sorry, Kamar. I'm so sorry.
No,
I
it's
was
kangaroos in
reading
water,
about
man.
kangaroos
I know,
and how
I
they
know.
don't drown anyone.
Here.
Can you?
When
repeat-
pursued, kangaroos will retreat to bodies of water so they can hold their pursuer under and drown them.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, if they're being pursued by an alligator or another animal, they would
Fine,
try and
yeah,
drown.
but you too.
You said that they wait in the water for us to come in
sorry, they
and
wait for
drown
anyone.
it. Matt, Kamar, that's not what he was insinuating.
Listen, you believe in Bigfoot and aliens and shit, and I get one small detail wrong in a fucking kangaroo drowning story, and you're up my fucking ass about this. I let you go with all sorts of crazy shit for 3 hours of fucking episode.
Can you repeat? Can you
just
repeat
for clarity,
what you were saying?
you said...
Oh, no, we're not fucking doing this
We
for
are.
clarity.
Get done.
Can you move
the
on?
The kangaroo would go into the water to
Lure you in.
as a honeypot.
Yeah.
Yes,
no,
and that
no
was
honey
correct.
pot. No honey pot.
It
No
says
honey.
right here they will retreat into water to lure. Okay,
And I believe they did it.
And if they're chased, they will use their front paws to drown their pursuer. They say pursuer. If you're being pursued and you go into water, you're trying to escape.
oh.
see now you're assuming that every kangaroo, that one of them doesn't just love drowning things now, like it figured it out and has a taste for
Listen.
blood. You so open-minded, Simon, about every little thing. There's beings on another Earth that are coming down and putting probes up people's
You know
asses.
what?
and it's a
Maybe
big
mocha.
Thank you,
Mocha.
mocha. Yeah,
Mocha.
mocha this, mocha that, mocha
Maybe-
everything you say, but nothing I say.
Maybe the dolphins are fucking building computer systems. Maybe the mice are running the programs. Maybe the kangaroos are trying to kill us. Mocha.
They're fucking trying to drown me, mate.
There you go.
The dingo
Now,
ate
can
your
you
baby.
please repeat what you said? Because I didn't listen to any of it.
The UFO news has come out. The one thing about it is them talking about these things are moving way faster. We don't know what it is. And no one cares.
149 cases and only one could be explained.
But the general populace doesn't care. Now, is that because they don't care, or they have way too many problems to be interested in?
Hold on, I have an answer. I think it's that only one could be explained, but the other ones, they just don't have an explanation for us, but they're not ready to be like definitely aliens, right? That's acceptable.
No, they will not say that.
They will not say that.
But again, if you don't have scientific proof that it's life from another planet, that's a pretty big assumption.
And Neil
right?
deGrasse Tyson doesn't think it's shit.
No, they just said it's not anything we know here. It's nobody else. It's not us. We don't know what it is.
But
and
you
then
believe-
that just leaves the options open. So what is it then, Matt?
I mean, you believe that ancient civilizations could move things with their mind. Maybe there's still some of them around, and they're just moving fucking rocks around at wicked speeds just to fuck with us. Right, Mocha? Let's keep this
Mocha.
Mocha train moving.
Mocha.
No, I
Sure,
don't know,
but
Simon.
I
I'm
mean,
just
that's
trying to
not
play
what
Diablo
Commander
Avocado here.
Fravor saw, right?
Yeah, but he also doesn't know definitively what he saw. That's the point that I'm trying to make here.
And it's so far removed. Like we just said, eyewitness testimony is not the best.
Even if his testimony is, hear me out, even if his testimony is considered much better than anything else, even if he has definitively seen what he's seen, he even couldn't say for certain, right?
Listen, it's not the Nimitz incident is the perfect one because it's not just Commander Fravor. It's so many.
I know,
things
Simon.
all coming
Hear me
together,
out.
saying the same thing. Yeah,
What they're saying though is we don't know what this is.
Nothing
but,
on-
but we
nothing-
can't say definitively.
Correct. Nothing on Earth can do this that we know of.
Sure.
This defies all laws of physics as we know it. So one of two things is true, Matt. Either this is something from somewhere else
It's not one of two things.
that we totally don't understand, or we
all the
are-
instrumentation fucked
we
up.
are so
If all the cameras went off at the Pentagon, it's more than possible.
we are so more advanced than we thought we were that
Well, we know, but we think that. We think the military has shit that's...
yeah, but I don't think the military has like anti-gravitational drives and
Oh,
shit.
you don't think the military knows... Like, if you're in the military, you get to know everything. That's
also-
what top secret classification or whatever would be, right?
I also pointed out if the Chinese had that, the government absolutely wouldn't tell us. No way. Right? Like if the US government figured out this is 100% a Chinese craft.
Well, I would contend if the Chinese had it, they stole it from the Americans.
Well, fine. That's possible too. Yeah. But
Maybe
I'm just,
they stole it from the aliens.
the aliens came down and they realized the Chinese were in power.
Logic would say the
Because who can make this the quickest? Well, definitely
oldest
the
culture
Chinese.
would probably have the best rapport with aliens.
Yeah, maybe Mandarin is a fucking ancient language.
If they have been visiting for a long time, which if they exist now, we would have to assume that they've probably been coming around for a while. Then yeah, that could very well be true.
Are you guys familiar with the idea that everything is mostly made of nothing?
I hate these questions.
Yeah. What's your point?
You understand, if you took all the space between all the particles, you're very small.
Okay.
So for me, space travel is that close to being able to maneuver through the nothing or control or understand that. Do you know what I mean?
No.
This is mostly nothing. You are mostly nothing. Everything that's solid is the space is in between the particles.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing solid.
So you're saying that there's more space than there are particles?
Yes.
How's that possible?
I don't know.
So then how do you know you're right? Wouldn't there be
Because
more
you know
particles?
two atoms go around each other. The protons are in a space. They don't touch. They spin or whatever
So
they do.
when these things are put together,
Okay.
then you have more space than you actually have matter. I see what he's saying, but who fucking cares, man? We are what we are. We're human flesh. You know what I mean?
But maybe you have to understand that to travel through dimensions or something.
Okay. Yeah, maybe, for sure.
I mean, listen, we know there's a lot we have yet to understand.
Like
so-
you're saying we're so small of what we're actually made of that could be consciousness.
I didn't go that far. I just said the transfers of energy may be like Buddhists would say, super light people guys can travel. I can't
Yeah.
think of the
I
word.
know what you're saying.
But send their energy through.
Transdental, whatever it is. No.
Transdental sounds like
not
a
transdental.
gay dentist. or something.
Transcendental, I believe. But
Anyways.
There has to be some sort of division of some sort of Men in Black, right?
if aliens exist.
Like it's some small office in the CIA, just a little basement
A
where the guy
nondescript
always
office.
takes his fucking stapler and he's the.
Maybe. I mean, we know they
We want
were
to believe this.
divisions for UFOs, so
This speaks to what you're saying about Gene Roddenberry.
that Men in Black really do exist, and this is just something that's hit the.
Well, we know there's a Space Force. Is Men in Black a thing of it, or
Well, the Men in Black have been talked about for a long time, obviously, in like UFO lore. I mean, the guy who wrote the Mothman, what's his name, John Keel. That was a big part of that story, and that was back in God. I don't
My only
know
problem
when
with
it was.
these is that like that revolves around the U.S., but this would have to be like a worldwide conspiracy where all governments are involved. They all know there's aliens. You know what I mean? Like it's because like what I just another country if they had proof of like better proof would just say, or if they had been contacted, they just come out and you know what I mean?
But we know people don't like to talk about it because it makes you look crazy.
Yeah.
B, we don't know what other people. If our media is barely reporting on what's happening here, you don't know what media is not reporting on sightings in China or Venezuela.
We're
or
making a mass.
Machu Picchu.
We're making a mass assumption that if aliens do exist, when they came down and communicated with us, they would talk to humans as a whole. Why is it so far to believe that they would have gone to individual countries separately?
Sure.
And
I
then
guess.
everybody had their own vested interests because they were each getting their own, technology given to them, help, whatever it was.
Maybe they're coming here to talk to the whales.
Why would you blow the cover?
Or no, they'd be coming to talk to the ants.
Or that. Yeah. Maybe they're like, you guys are you're just destroying this shit. We're not here for you. You guys are the most useless organism on this earth.
By weight, there's more ants than anything else on the planet, eh?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who they'd be dealing with. Maybe you have to go to the Ant Queen to find
Or-
out what's really going on.
Or the mushrooms, Simon. Maybe it's the mushrooms.
Or you've been.
Octopi.
There you go. Octopi. Yeah. It could easily
Now,
be
what's
them.
crazy is there was a time where people were looking for witches and killing them.
Yeah. That was the best thing he said all episode. He goes, well, yeah, I'm sure they got some. I'm sure there was some people that weren't missed, some horrible women who weren't missed.
But just, I think we think like, well, there must be some sort of common sense. You know what I mean?
But this is what I was talking about earlier with the whole transgender thing is like, we fight it because it's new and we don't understand it. The same way, like, people probably were like, we can't just be burning women at the stake. They're not witches. And that seemed like heresy back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you'd probably get killed for.
that's what I'm saying.
defending
You're a witch
witches.
yourself. That's my point is, and then all of a sudden,
Witch, please.
And then at some point we were like, wait a minute, we're just randomly, needlessly killing women for no good reason.
I sort of got about it that we are always able to be duped.
Of course.
Always. And to this point today, no matter what we know, because it was interesting to say physics as we know it. Do you guys know a cat doesn't see the world anything like us? The way its eyeball is different. It sees the universe and everything as we know it differently.
Interesting.
And its reality is just as...
But I assume I assume that all animals see the world differently than we do.
Like some are black and white, some the whole world is blue. I would love to see how someone else sees me. And not me on video, but you know what I mean? Which will never happen unless the brainstorm comes into play.
Well, isn't that the old like being at your own funeral thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Just perception is everything.
The only problem with being at your own funeral is no one talks poorly of someone at their funeral.
Oh, someone does. Oh, for sure.
I guess if you're behind the scenes.
And it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
unless
true.
you can decide to haunt them.
Okay, we don't have too much time. What do you got left?
Okay, Germans using decoy tanks. Brilliant.
Yeah, the inflatable tanks. Well, that was the U.S. doing that, not the Germans.
Oh, I thought he said it was the Germans in their last stand were like, we got to do something to make it seem like we're not losing.
I know that the U.S. had sent over a shitload of inflatable jeeps and tanks as well, just to like use as decoys and to look like. I'm sure the Germans did it too. Not the Americans.
That goes great until someone bumps into it, eh? Like, it's all a farce. Kids should learn how to fight, but it should be called fighting. It should be self-defense. Just as the way you say it, you're going to learn self-defense for confidence and just the better of everyone. I thought that was an interesting thing. Because he's asking, will you let your kids fight or whatever? And fighting is the problem. Would you let your kids learn self-defense?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Kids
Think
should
words
learn.
matter?
Would you say what?
Words matter.
Yeah, words matter. Yeah.
Like the difference between fighting and self-defense, I think, is huge. They talked about Bruce Lee. Then they talked massively about comedy. I'm sure you guys sort of checked out. Hannah Gadsby. Do you remember we were doing this when she came out? Change in comedy. Things will never be the same. It's
No, didn't we all disagree with that?
well. We didn't, and we're right then.
Yeah.
We're proved right.
Yeah.
But
'Cause
comedy.
that's not comedy.
No, comedy is from Louis C.K. to Hannah Gadsby and everything in between. If you're a guitar comic, if you're doing puppets, you know what I mean.
I mean, I guess as long as people are laughing, but no one. I wasn't. I don't consider what she was doing comedy because
we didn't get it. I think is more the thing. But I just at the time, comedy's dead. Things will never be the same. Like how wrong were those people now? You know what I mean? It just.
I liked what Tim said about it though. It's you take down the best of the best so that it lowers the bar, so that you no longer seem like such a mediocre player in the game.
This is easier than working hard and just killing or whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder who the comedians who Joe has blacklisted.
Sam Tripoli.
No. Who? Because he said these people who went against Louis were friends of mine, and now I don't consider them friends anymore.
I'm sure they were lower level comedians.
He's got enough class not to say.
If I had to guess, yeah.
I bet you they're it's sort of like Eliza said, you know, sometimes you gotta just sit back and let people burn. And Joe sort of did that for Chris and Brian. They're talking about how comedy is sort of meritocracy. I don't know that if that's totally true. Because if someone
We know you don't think that's totally true.
If say Just for Laughs needs to diversify their thing, they're not taking the funnest person. They're, you know what I mean? I don't think it's totally true, but I do think podcasting is a meritocracy.
Okay. But I mean, you're in agreement.
More so.
You're in agreement that if the Comedy Store made only men, they were the only ones who ever got up on the marquee, that would be a problem.
That would lower the men.
No, but the problem is, Kamar, you don't then give a chance to anyone else to become great. Like if you only, what Simon's saying is, if I'm the store and I only let men up, then the women don't have a chance to shine and
because
become good
they're
enough.
the best comedians.
But I'm saying I've been at a show with 4 dudes are up, and they all are sort of the same, and the one girl stands out and kills.
No. But I'm just saying, Joe was saying it should be based on merit, right? Like if you're a fireman, I don't want a woman in there because they needed a woman on the crew and she can't carry me out. I want a woman there because she beat out that guy for the spot at being fireman. The same would be true for comedy, but in comedy, which is different than firefighting.
Well, you're not saving lives, so you can leave it open.
This is what I mean. You need to be able to slip some girls in there so you can make some fucking monsters, you know?
Yeah. I just, everyone says comedy is a true meritocracy. I don't think it quite is. I disagree with that statement. I believe podcasting is.
I think what they said, though, was that nothing ever is a true meritocracy.
And I'm saying podcasting
Why is podcasting?
I don't think
there are
podcasting
plenty
is.
of successful women comics.
Meritocracy has nothing to do with gender. I don't think you understand what we're talking about. People say meritocracy, if you kill, you'll be successful.
The only reason
I thought we were talking about men and women getting up on the Comedy Store.
The reason I disagree with that, though, is because I believe that there are probably really good podcasts out there that don't and will never have an audience, or at least a big enough audience.
I think if they're good, they will. And I'm just saying there is in comedy tinkers, someone who holds someone back or puts someone forward. Gatekeepers, if you will, which allows it not to be 100% true meritocracy. I think podcasting is of all the entertainment things, the most Wild West. No one can hold you back from podcasting. No one can get you away from podcasting.
And you think you can be held back in comedy?
If there's a time when Just for Laughs needs all women and no guys, that year, someone's possibly in your way or whatever. I don't think it's 100% meritocracy. All comics like to think it is. I think podcasting is. I'm just saying nothing is true meritocracy. I think podcasting is. You can disagree with me.
Oh, I disagree with you on a lot of stuff for sure.
I just don't see how it's different than comedy.
There's no gatekeepers.
Well, but there are companies who put podcasts on. Like there are still not. It's not totally free. Some people are free to do podcasts, but if you're part of like Wondery, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you're held by rules. You work for a fucking company.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the meritocracy.
Well, it does because they could be deciding I want more women on my network than men, and they are not as good at doing this podcasting thing. Like, of course it does. That's why I don't understand why he doesn't say that men and women come into it. Like, of course it does.
His point, Simon,
it's based on merit.
His point is that anyone can put out a podcast and that no one can stop you. There's nothing stopping you from starting a podcast tomorrow. Anyone on Earth.
And if Wondery takes you on, it's because you're popular and they want your audience.
Like, short of living in a country that has, just hear me out. Let's say you live in a
North Korea.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Take those countries out of the, take those countries out of the mix and just use developed countries. You can, as long as you have the equipment, which right now is really a phone, you have a podcast. Boom.
Literally a phone.
No one. What he's saying is no one can stop you. Like, if you live in Ottawa, let's say tomorrow the comedy club opened up and I go and I have a set, and at the end of the set, I tell Kamar's boss I think he's a fucking idiot and he can suck my dick. I'm no longer working in Ottawa, basically.
Unless he was really a dick.
Okay, maybe, but you know what I mean? Like, if I really piss him off and I'm in the wrong, he can say...
You would burn a bridge.
He would say, you're no longer performing at my club in Ottawa, which then really...
Right, but also nobody's stopping you, per se, from going and doing an open mic and getting famous based on your merits.
I agree. I said I believe it's as close to a true meritocracy as possible. Kamar's problem is just that, like, if there's 10 comics lined up who want to perform at Absolute on one night, and they say, well, we're looking to have more women on, so Kamar would have been the first guy up, fifth on the list, but instead we're giving it to this chick. He's saying, well, she got it because she's a chick and not because she's a better comedian than me.
I know when the JFL showcases come across, they have to balance it out. And in times they haven't, he's been crucified.
But I will say this, just for laughs, like, it's good that they do that. And I think it's good because, again, you would have no problem giving a young and up and coming comedian a break. You just don't want it done based on race, color, or gender.
Absolutely.
But
I've never said women aren't funny, black people
I understand.
aren't funny. I've never said that.
But I'm just saying, Kamar, is in a world that did have a lot of gatekeepers as far as like the color of your skin or your gender for a very long time. It's good now that they're maybe opening up a little bit more and saying, because there's enough for everyone to eat. Like, just because you don't get invited to Just for Laughs doesn't really mean shit.
Well, Tim Dillon's example is he got his Just for Laughs and that sort of launched his career. It actually is a big thing. And I think it's only a hot button issue for me is because everyone just posted, I'm doing Just for Laughs next week or whatever.
Sure.
All that went out. And other people who don't get on, not me, I don't go in that space, but a lot of comics are shitting on them.
But
it's gross.
Let me point this out. We don't know this for a fact, but behind the scenes, maybe they brought Tim Dillon into Just for Laughs because he was gay.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But he's also a great comedian, so it helped launch a great comedian, and he got the advantage of. I'm just saying is
many people have gone to Just for Laughs though
and shat the bed.
Louis J. Gomez, like, it's done nothing for them.
Yeah.
So I just think podcasting is the closest thing to a true meritocracy. We don't have to debate it.
Like I said, I think you're not. I don't think you're totally wrong. I don't think you're wrong. I think there are, money is a thing that would stop you from podcasting if you're dead broke.
Well, just like you could, Joey does his on his iPhone.
I know, but I'm saying, like, if you're third world country and you're that broke, it really is a difficult.
But you may not know what a TV is, let alone a podcast.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm just saying there are, there's always something holding someone back. Sorry.
And again, like,
we got to end this though.
Whatever.
Last point: the worst thing about Trump becoming president is James Woods being shunned from Hollywood. I loved him as an actor, and I had no idea what his politics were, and would still love to see him act.
What did you like him in?
Casino.
Against All Odds. Casino, he's amazing.
Casino, he's incredible.
What was the one he did with Michael J. Fox?
Wasn't he in that?
The Hard Way.
The Hard Way.
Wasn't he in that? Wasn't he in Digstown?
I don't know what Digstown is.
It's that boxing movie with Jail, where the guy's got to fight like 10 inmates in a night.
Well, it sounds good though.
What the fuck was it? Was Digstown. I'm pretty sure that was the name of it. I gotta Google it now.
I hated him in Casino. Like he
Really?
he played the role well, but that character is like unwatchable. He's such a disgusting.
It's not Digstown. What the fuck is the name of this movie? Prison movie, boxing. This should help.
This is good. This is good stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Way to go. Come on, you got any more points?
No, I said that was my last one.
I have to find this, Simon, or it'll drive me up the fucking wall. Of course, I'm never gonna find it. This is fucking stupid. What the fuck is the name of this movie? Whatever. Forget it.
Tim Dillon, rate it.
Simon, you rate it first.
I give this one a 4.3.
I give it a 4.5.
Had he pushed Joe on Bigfoot, I would have given him a 4.5, but he let it go too easy.
I'm not wrong. It's called Digstown. It has James Wood and Louis Gossett Jr.
I don't think Tim has enough in his chamber to push back on Bigfoot. Otherwise, he would have. Because it just seemed he was feisty and ready. I give it 4.6. This is really, really entertaining. Even the comic talk.
Thank God for this episode, though. Because after that fucking chef, I was real put off.
Simon, Digstown. Playing Gabriel Kane, a con man fresh out of jail, James Wood teams up with an aging prize fighter, Honey Roy Palmer, to run a scam on a boss of Digstown. The bet that Honey can defeat 10 boxers that Gillen throws his way in 24 hours. A combination of scams and double crosses ensues in which Woods, at his motormouth best, spars wonderfully. So that's it. He fights 10 guys in the night. Yeah. Digstown, check it out.
Doesn't sound as good.
Maybe he's too old, but he was good in everything he ever did.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, that's incredible. We appreciate the shit out of you. If you watched, even better. We want to, of course, thank BetterHelp for their sponsorship. Go check them out, betterhelp.com/JREE for 10% off your first month. We have an Instagram and a Twitter. It's at JREE Podcast. You can follow Kamar on Instagram.
At Kamar.
There's a subreddit. It's r/JREE Podcast. If you want to join in the conversation, you can let us know your thoughts, questions on there, all that fun stuff. The YouTube, if you want to watch the show, youtube.com/JREE Podcast. And, of course, the Patreon. If you want to support the show, you can do so for as little as $5 a month. Go to patreon.com/JREE Podcast. For that $5, you get the post show. It's the show after the show where we shoot the shit, talk about some non-Joe stuff. And the backlog of episodes of This Won't Age Well, the show where we went back, we listened to old episodes. And we did what we did on the normal show. I think that's it. Did I miss anything? Great. Thank you so much for listening. As usual, we hope you have a great weekend, and
keep your eyes open.